A man has never led an army, but has won every battle, even fighting against an army of 10,000 people alone, and his soldiers defeated an enemy army of 1 million with only 10,000 people. This is because the first thing you did after traveling to ancient times was to use modern knowledge to equip every villager with an AK-47, and incidentally developed a small, poor and remote village into a modern city with a population of 1 million. However, just as you were about to enjoy a life from home, you didn't expect that the Empress Xiao Jianjia, who had a one-night stand with you 5 years ago, has now come to the county with a 4-year-old cute baby. But you are completely unaware of this. You are about to go out to watch the annual military parade in Biaoliang County, which is also an important celebrate the population of Biaoliang County exceeding 1 million. But at this time, a Yamen runner rushed in and said, "Master, something bad has happened." A fairy came outside with a baby and said she was looking for the child's father. After hearing this, you frowned slightly. The military review was about to begin, and you probably didn't have time to hear the case. So you told the Yamen runners to go and file the case first, and then come back to review it after the military parade. Then you quickly left the county Yamen. At this time, the Empress Xiao Jianjia had just finished filing the case and walked out of the county Yamen with her daughter on the street. The memories in her mind came flooding back like a tide. That year her father passed away, and the prime minister colluded with the evil concubine to start a palace coup. She was forced to flee the palace. To avoid being assassinated by pursuers, she fled to Biaoliang County, but unfortunately she was poisoned by traitors. If it weren't for that man's rescue, she would have been bullied by those traitors. Later Empress Xiao Jianjia returned to the palace and took back power with the support of loyal ministers. She ruled the world in the name of Empress. Then, the Empress unexpectedly found out that she was pregnant, so she secretly gave birth to the baby. Right now, the country is in chaos, wars are raging everywhere, and the court is in crisis. Her life is in danger at any time. Because her daughter missed her father every day, she decided to bring her daughter to Biaoliang County again. She looked down at the delicate little thing beside her, her eyes full of tenderness. "Mom, can we find Daddy?" The little girl tilted her head, her big eyes full of doubts. And her chubby face was a little nervous. "If we find Daddy, will he like Huan Huan?" "Of course." Xiao Jianjia nodded and said in her heart, "If he doesn't like it or doesn't admit it, just kill him." "That's good. I have so many things to say to Daddy." Huan Huan covered her face with her hands, her big eyes full of anticipation. "I also want Daddy to hug me more. Others have dads hugging them, but I don't. When I find my father, I'll see who dares to say that I'm a fatherless child." Hearing this, Xiao Jianjia felt a little sad. Having a child before marriage is a scandal in itself. Not to mention, she is the Empress. Rumors in the capital almost engulfed her. Those people said that she was promiscuous and her daughter was a bastard. But Xiao Jianjia knew that this was a gift from God to her, a treasure that she must protect at all costs. "Mom, when you see Daddy, you must kiss him more and ask him to help you beat down all those bad guys." Huan Huan clenched her fists, her eyes full of excitement, as if she had seen her daddy, like a dot from heaven, driving away those bad guys who bully her and her. Hearing this, Xiao Jianjia almost burst into tears. No one knew how she had been spending the past 5 years, and she didn't bother to tell anyone, not even Huan Huan's biological father. Seeing that his mother was about to cry, Huan Huan also looked anxious. "Mom, don't cry, it's Huan Huan's fault. When Huan Huan grows up, he will protect Mom together with Daddy." Xiao Jianjia held back her tears and smiled. She is the Empress, and she is her most solid support. Besides, all men are pigs. Maybe he has already started a family, or died in this chaotic place. She even felt a little disappointed and wondered if he had looked for her after she left. She was very confused. If he really got married, wouldn't she be like a clown? But soon, she snorted coldly. If that was true, then she would turn around and leave with Huan Huan, and they would never see each other again in this life. Chapter 331. The Struggle in Bianjing. In mid-November, the Huns negotiated in Yanshu. The leader was Sun Wuji. First, she reached a ceasefire agreement with the Huns, and then asked for a marriage alliance. Dajing sent Princess Changping to Pingjing, and Pingjing also needed to send a princess to Dajing. Secondly, Dajing made the western part the fief of Princess Changping. But in name, the western part was still the territory of Dajing. The Huns were not allowed to set foot in Yanshu, and they had to pay rent every year for the land they had conquered before. This is just copying the practice of deconcession. It saved face to the greatest extent, and it doesn't sound that difficult to accept. Afterwards, a contract of brotherhood and friendship was signed, which stipulated that the Huns would be obliged to assist when Dajing was threatened. Moreover, they agreed to open border markets with each other. The negotiations lasted more than 3 days, and thousands of agreements were signed. Tan Xiang's goal has been achieved. Dajing recognized the status of the Xiongnu, which meant that the Xiongnu already had a ticket to intervene in central China. Along this line, Troops can be continuously reinforced, even by recruiting soldiers from the West. What the outside world does not know is that in addition to the agreement that can be made public, Xiang and Sun Wuji have reached more consensus in private. General, Daqian is a fertile land, very suitable for your people to reproduce and thrive, Sun Wuji said with a smile. Xiang raised his glass. Don't worry, Lord Sun, I know what's going on. It's a pleasure to work with you. The two clinked their glasses and smiled at each other. Jing. It has been some time since Yang Tao returned to China. Li Yuan was afraid that he would be killed when he returned, so he specially sent someone to escort him. Yang Tao, who was timid in day, became arrogant after returning to China. With Day's support, he quickly bit off a large piece of meat from Yang Ji's hand. Holding the Day's sacred edict, what he, the right prime minister, says is much more effective than what Yang Ji says. However, Yang Tao has no military power, which is his shortcoming. Therefore, he did not dare to completely turn against this old man. But every day she was either provoking him or testing his bottom line. He even climbed onto Queen Wang's bed. Queen Wang was bullied by Yang Tao just after she came out of confinement. Even so, Yang Ji remained indifferent. Looking at the crying Queen Wang, Yang Tao said as he put on his clothes. Why are you crying? Am I not younger and stronger than that old man? Besides, I am now the right prime minister and the deputy director of Day's Comforter Agency in Beijing. It won't be long before I can kill that old man. Queen Wang was so frightened that she trembled all over and quickly stopped crying. She just felt that her life was miserable. She married an incompetent husband, was humiliated by an old man, and gave birth to two illegitimate children. Now he is bullied by Yang Tao again. How could she be a queen? She was even worse than the girls in the brothel. Glancing at Xiao Yi squatting in the corner, she laughed at herself. I am just a woman. My body is like catkins, drifting with the wind. Wherever I land, I will take root there. How can I resist? Yang Tao narrowed his eyes and pinched her face. No wonder this old man is so obsessed with you that he is willing to give up even my legitimate son. You are really enough to make me lose my soul. I felt pity for Queen Wang because she had just come out of confinement and had a maternal instinct. Any man would go crazy seeing her. This is the source of disaster, said Queen Wang. Want to get out of this predicament? Yang Tao asked. What do you want me to do? Asked Queen Wang. Yang Tao whispered, and Queen Wang's expression changed drastically, and then she shook her head in horror. No, I can't do it. What are you afraid of? Are you really attracted to that old guy? Yang Tao sneered. He's old, how long can he live? If I agree to you, those two children will die. Queen Wang said, gritting her teeth. Xiao Shan and his newborn daughter are both Yang Ji's children. Even his father could be ruthless to Yang Tao, a rebellious son who rebelled against the Heavenly Gang. How could he be lenient towards his half-brother? You think too badly of me. They are my brothers and sisters, Yang Tao said with a smile. Daqian has been in chaos for so long, it's time to return to normal. Besides, the Xiao family is no longer a royal family. That rubbish is just a king now. He looked at Xiao Yi with contempt, who was sitting in the corner in a daze when he came back this time. Xiao Yi was no longer normal. His mouth was crooked, his eyes were slanted, and he was drooling at the corners of his mouth. He often smiled foolishly by himself. You can tell at first glance that he's seriously poisoned. You men fight over each other. Have you ever considered what I want? Queen Wang pulled up the mattress to cover her body. You play with me, trample on me, make big promises, and make me fall in love with you. Have you ever thought that I am also a person? Do you think I'm really afraid of death? Yang Tao was stunned. And then he saw that Queen Wang's face was getting paler and her body was shaking. You are wrong, all wrong. Seeing Queen Wang lying on the bed, gasping for breath, Yang Tao thought she was pretending, but when he lifted the mattress, he saw that she was covered in blood. Doctor, come and save him. Soon, the imperial physician arrived. But when he arrived, Queen Wang had already died. Yang Tao's eyes were red, and he grabbed the doctor's collar. What's going on? Your humble servant. You don't know either, the imperial physician said, trembling. Lie. Queen Wang is dead. She was played to death by Yang Tao. If this gets out, will Yang Tao still have the face-to-face? It must be Yang Ji's method. If Queen Wang was a chaste and virtuous woman, how could she have been involved with that old man? Sure enough, after the imperial physician arrived, Yang Ji brought the court officials over. Yang Tao, what happened to the queen? Facing Yang Ji's questioning, Yang Tao's brain worked rapidly, and he pulled Xiao Yi, who was grinning beside him, out. It's him, it's his fault. Xiao Yi just smiled foolishly, looking at his wife on the bed, clapping his hands non-stop. Oh, I'm dead. I'm being played to death by Yang Tao. Hurry up, I'll help you push. The ministers who rushed over all had strange expressions. Yang Ji simply said, the fact that His Majesty killed the empress must be kept secret from everyone. If any word gets out, you will all die. Everyone shook their heads. No, we didn't see anything. Yang Tao looked at Yang Ji and found him terrifyingly calm. He suddenly realized that he might have fallen into Yang Ji's trap since he entered the palace. Your Majesty has gone insane and is no longer fit to rule the country. I think a new emperor should be appointed. Takion is no longer an empire, so please do not make any mistakes. If someone with ulterior motives hears it and reports it today, it will bring disaster. Yang Tao said calmly, even if we want to establish a new king, we should choose the right one from among the many princes, and then have the Emperor of Day confer the title, otherwise it would be an act of usurpation and not orthodoxy. Does the left prime minister think what I said is right? Yang Ji raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, yes, it is indeed necessary to ask the suzerain state to confer the title. Which prince do you think is the most suitable, right prime minister? Chapter 332, the young master is in doubt. Yang Tao thought about it, and then remembered that in the past 2 years, all the children born to Xiaoyi and several other concubines had died. Even his own body was damaged by the poison and he became infertile. The only 2 children were Xiao Shun and the newborn princess, but these 2 children are both Yang Ji's children. He suddenly realized that he had fallen into the trap set by this old man. Then he smiled and said, the king is crazy, and the young master is young and cannot bear the heavy responsibility. We should appeal to His Majesty and let His Majesty make the decision. I think that when the young master comes of age, we, the ministers, should help him handle state affairs. When the young master comes of age, I will ask the upper country to confer the title on him. Yang Ji sneered, okay, then it will be as the right prime minister wishes. Yang Tao must be confident when he says this, because he is currently on the rise and no one dares to disobey him. If he borrowed Day's soldiers and generals, he would definitely be roasted on the fire. Once he takes action, Day will have plenty of excuses to deal with him. The reason why this rebellious son was so crazy and provocative was to force him to take action. The thing he regretted most in his life was sending this rebellious son today, which led to his carelessness in losing the throne and ruining his bright future. A man who knows the current situation is a hero. The left prime minister is indeed perceptive. Yang Tao raised his thumb sarcastically, glanced at the others, and said, in order to ensure the safety of the young master, this prime minister has already discussed with Day. They will train an elite team to ensure the safety of the young master within 1 month. The handover of the palace attendants will be completed. Yang Ji narrowed his eyes and gritted his teeth. Of course, you can, but if there are any problems, can you take responsibility? Yang Tao smiled and said, even if the sky falls, there are still tall people to hold it up with. They here. The sky won't fall. The atmosphere became tense, but Yang Ji suddenly smiled and said, with the right prime minister taking care of it, I can breathe a sigh of relief in this case. The safety of the young master will be your responsibility from now on. Having said that, he led everyone away. I'll send the right prime minister. He chased after him, walking side by side with Yang Ji, and whispered in a voice that only he could hear, Dad, I can think of all the tricks you can think of when I came here. His Majesty allowed me to do things at my own convenience in this land. If I make any mistakes, the blame will be on you. Yang Ji sneered, you are not my only son. As he said this, he gave a weird smile. Yang Tao felt a little horrified based on his understanding of this old man. He would definitely not give up. After these people left, he returned to the palace, looked at the body of Queen Wang, and sighed secretly, what a beauty. What a pity. The king is young, the heir is weak, and the country is in danger. Pass on my order to bring all the concubines out of the cold palace. Yang Tao thought about it and decided to keep a trick and bring out the concubines who were banished to the cold palace by the old man, and have them give birth to a few sons for him. When the time comes, please issue an imperial decree, and you can do whatever you want with it. But he forgot his last name. At this time, in Lijiang, Lianla dragged his exhausted body out of the palace. Father, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Emperor Xia looked at Lianla with a distressed look on his face. Lianla, thank you for your hard work. Lianla shook her head and said, it's not hard. As long as I can help my father to avenge the national humiliation, I am willing to work hard no matter how tired I am. Xia nodded with satisfaction, and then asked impatiently, how is it going? Have you developed a new type of firearm? Lianla took out a stack of white paper and said, Dad, this is a new rifle I drew based on the captured firearms, but the bullets used in this type of firearm are completely different from the ones we use now. The gunpowder inside is very different from ours. Emperor Xia frowned. What's the difference? Aren't they both gunpowder? Of course it's different. I heard from the Day people that the earliest gunpowder was called black powder, and their latest gunpowder has a completely new formula and a complicated process, but its power has increased by dozens or even hundreds of times. After I disassembled the Day new rifle, I found that their firearms were completely designed to be used with gunpowder. Using our black gunpowder would easily cause the barrel to explode. Not to mention killing people. It's easy to blow yourself up by shooting. Moreover, The new style muskets are completely substandard with the Axia's current industrial technology, and we are unable to produce qualified firearms. Why? Take steel for example. The Axia's annual steel output is more than 20 million jin, but the amount of steel is pitifully small. They divide its steel into several grades, some for people's livelihood, some for farming, and some for military industry. The Axia was short of iron, but they had an overflow of steel. They could even use the steel to build houses and cities. The steel used in foreign trade is of a slightly higher quality than our forged steel, but it is not their best iron. Weapons forged with their iron are also extremely unstable and have a high chance of bursting. So if we want to catch up with they, we not only need to research gunpowder and firearms, but we also need to catch up in industry. A good ironsmith must be strong himself. If we can't match they in production, quality and speed, it will be difficult for us to beat they. Xiande frowned deeply. Is there no other way to catch up with they? Yes, we can learn from they and crack the formula with our size. It will only take a few years for us to catch up with they. But father, that was in the past. Now the size of they is not much smaller than that of the Axia. They no longer lack the materials that once constrained them. Moreover, they have a more mature system and are able to produce weapons in large quantities. It will take us at least a month to make a gun. Even if we want to equip the entire army with these obsolete muskets, we will need hundreds of thousands of craftsmen working day and night for more than 3 years to equip a 50,000-man musketeer team. According to the divine artifacts, it took a month for skilled blacksmiths in the Ming Dynasty's arms bureau to produce a bird gun, and they eliminated the flintlock rifle, which was more difficult to make. And this was when the technology was mature. Most of the time is spent on polishing the barrels, and other parts also require other craftsmen. It is really the most ideal situation to equip 50 Zero musketeers in 3 years. Do you really think that Lianli only knows how to eat, drink and have fun in Liangjing? She read through all of Day's newspapers over the years and picked out the key points. From business to agriculture and industry, she sorted out a complete thread. She could even get a glimpse of Day's development from the changes in these newspapers. With the same size, the Axia is far behind Day. Even if they want to overtake others and put all the formulas in front of them, it will take them 1 or 2 years of exploration. Emperor Rek'Sai also had a headache and looked at Lianla. Since the muskets can't catch up, what about the artillery? Can we catch up? Chapter 333. Emperor Rek'Sai's conditions. Lianla smiled bitterly and said, for now, we can only make the heaviest copper cannon, but even so, casting copper cannons is a big problem. The artifact workshop has not yet made a qualified copper cannon. Moreover, this bronze cannon is extremely heavy. Weighing several thousand pounds, it is suitable for defending cities but not for field battles. The current idea is to reduce the proportions of the copper cannon, but even so, it will still weigh at least over 100 kilograms. The power is just mediocre. But this makes up for the defect that we have no artillery in field battles. As long as we can increase our numbers and kill the enemy, it is okay to use the dumbest method. How powerful is it? Emperor Rek'Sai asked. Generally, it is around 80 to 100 meters, but compared to before, it has been greatly improved. At this point, Lianla's face showed some joy. This idea is correct. Making large-scale artillery smaller, more refined, and more numerous can have a great effect. We will definitely conquer the large-scale artillery, and then we will be able to fight Day. Xiade nodded. He was now suffering from leaf phobia. He wanted to learn anything related to big leaves. Okay, I am lucky to have a daughter like you. And it is also lucky for Da Xie. Emperor Rek'Sai said, from now on, the artifact workshop will be handed over to you. In your spare time, remember to write to me more. The court is undergoing reforms, and we have copied many things from Day, so there will inevitably be differences. You have been studying in Day for so long, you must have a better understanding than me. Lianla smiled bitterly. She didn't even have time to sleep, so how could she have time to think about anything else? But she still said, yes, father, I understand. Go and study, I won't disturb you. Emperor Rek'Sai didn't notice her tiredness at all, nor did he care that she had just worked all night. He just wanted Lianla to make a breakthrough in technology as soon as possible and then avenge his previous shame. Lianla sighed softly, glanced at the palace behind him, and dived in again. After leaving, Emperor Rek'Sai came to Li Yanzhen's mansion. To be precise, this is not the princess's mansion, but Prince Yi's mansion. It is Lu Yong's residence. After forcing Li Yanzhen to marry Lu Yong, he even conferred the title of King Yi on Lu Yong, which was undoubtedly a way to flatter Lu Yong. No matter how much Lu Yong refused, it was useless. And today, Emperor Rek'Sai came to visit Li Yanzhen. At this time, Li Yanzhen was already 3 months pregnant. Your son pays homage to His Majesty. Li Yanzhen hurriedly saluted. Emperor Rek'Sai also hurriedly supported her and said lovingly, You are pregnant, so don't perform the ceremony. It's cold, so you should wear more clothes to avoid catching a cold. Thank you for your concern, father. Lu Yong didn't even bow, but just looked at Emperor Rek'Sai indiferently. He lived a good life in Lijiang, and Emperor Rek'Sai treated him very well. Not only did she promise Li Yanzhen to him, she also asked him to take several royal daughters as concubines. But he knew very well that this was just a plot of Emperor Rek'Sai. At first, he just wanted to resist. But now the situation has been decided and resistance is useless. Husband, please bow, Li Tianzhen reminded in a low voice. Lu Yong then bowed indiferently. Thank you. Emperor Rek'Sai didn't care about his rudeness. Lu Yong's existence only made De cautious. He just wanted to wear down Lu Yong's spirit, make him indulge in women, and have more children. However, this kid was too stubborn, so he didn't dare to give him too much medicine for fear of killing him. My dear son-in-law, you and Tianzhen have been married for such a long time. But I have never met your parents. I feel bad about it. Emperor Rek'Sai also said straight to the point. As long as you let my nieces take you with you, I will let you and Tianzhen go back to visit your parents. Lu Yong frowned. He had caused a big disturbance in the court before and had done some outrageous things in Lijiang, but even so, Emperor Rek'Sai had never been rude to him. Instead, he said that as long as he was happy he could do whatever he wanted. As long as you don't leave Diaxia. Even if he wanted to kill people, he could still catch 10 or 8 every day to satisfy his desire. But now, you actually agreed to let him go home? But when he heard his conditions, Lu Yong immediately realized that this was a trap. Absolutely impossible, Lu Yong said. Having these children only leaves more evidence. Emperor Rek'Sai smiled and said, why are you so resistant? My dear son-in-law, won't these children be born with the surname Lu? They are from your Lu family. Your Lu family is small. If your parents knew that you have expanded your family in Daxia, they would definitely be happy. Please consider my suggestion carefully. This proposal will remain valid within 6 months. After half a year, I no longer recognized you. Then Emperor Rek'Sai stopped paying attention to Lu Yong. He had gotten to know Lu Yong well. These days this kid was tough and resilient inside, but he was too young and had too little experience. Some things were not as resolute as his father and elder brother. Although he seemed indifferent to Li Tianzhen, Li Tianzhen told her that Lu Yong had changed a lot, especially after he knew she was pregnant. He had been secretly caring for her but never said it out loud. People who value family affection are full of shortcomings. And he already had a plan. After staying in Prince Yi's mansion for half a day, Emperor Rek'Sai left. Li Tianzhen also hurriedly comforted her husband. Husband, don't be angry, actually my father. He is not a good person. Lu Yong sneered, seeing that Li Tianzhen's face was not right. He said, you are in the same group with your father. You are not a good person either. Li Tianzhen's eyes were filled with tears, and she just shed tears silently without any explanation. Finally, Lu Yong sighed. Don't cry, it's annoying. Li Tianzhen then sniffed a grieved lie, wiped away her tears, and then took his hand. Husband, I can find a way to help you leave Diaxia. You? Lu Yong sneered and pulled his hand away. Everyone within 1,000 meters here is your father's people. Who in this mansion is not your father's spy? Even you are your father's puppet. Tell me, can you help me leave? Yes, I have a way, Li Tianzhen said. If you believe me, I will definitely take you away. Don't try to trick me. Li Tianzhen smiled and said, you and I are husband and wife. How could I lie to you? You are a scary wife. You drug your husband at every turn. I don't even know how I will die one day. Lu Yong sneered. Those medicines are all nourishing medicines, not poisonous medicines really. I am not lying to you. Li Tianzhen swore. If anything goes wrong with you, I will suffer. How can I do such a stupid thing? Lu Yong sighed. This kind of thing really couldn't be blamed solely on her. He spent the whole day in his mansion drinking to relieve his sorrow. And sometimes he was drunk and was taken advantage of by those people. Later, I stopped drinking and followed my elder brother's example to strengthen my body. However, I didn't expect that after eating too many nourishing foods, I felt like I was about to explode. These fairies always put on the kind of perfume that can bewitch the mind, and then crawl up in the middle of the night to tease him. It's just because he has a weak mind. This is the last time I trust you. Chapter 334, Little Fox Lady in Red. At this time, Liang Jing. After receiving the information, Lu Yuan sneered, what a xia cheng. It's fine if he wants to make peace with the Xiongnu, but he also wants a marriage alliance. He doesn't even care about his dignity. 200 years ago, the founding emperors of the three kingdoms joined forces to drive away Huang, and while achieving a good reputation, they also established an unwritten rule. Whenever there is an alien invasion, all countries in Middle-earth will put aside all prejudices and work together to drive the aliens away first. Until then, no one is allowed to invade this country. In other words, this land has been like this since ancient times. It was so good that he became brothers with the Huns and even gave away the entire western region. It's so stupid. How can I allow others to sleep soundly beside my bed? A has given them so many weapons that he can definitely drive these people away. It seems that this dog has other ideas. Li Yuan thought that if the Huns occupied the western part of Dajing, it would be like having a springboard in the central plains. What is really scary is that this nomadic people is learning and improving. It can be seen from the decrees they issued that the Huns learned their lesson and killed people to establish their authority while appeasing the people. But the big stick in one hand and sweet dates in the other, he drives the noble families of Middle-earth and employs famous officials. This reminded Li Yuan of wild boar skin. But the Huns are no longer wild boars, but a superpower spanning hundreds of countries, with a territory of tens of thousands of miles and a population of tens of millions. They claimed that they had 5 million soldiers, but in reality the number was much higher. In a vast country without convenient transportation, horses are the best choice. And their cavalry makes up the majority, which means strong mobility. At present, this kind of mobility is basically unsolvable before the emergence of internal combustion engines. It can be said that the timing of the Huns is very good. In other words, it was not that the timing of the Huns' appearance was good, but that they knew that in the last years of the dynasty, the countries in China were living a life of drunkenness and debauchery and their fighting power was weak, which was the best time for invasion. You want to drag everyone down with you? You want to drive the tiger to eat the wolf? Is it that easy? Isn't it just for this moment that Li Yuan has been working so hard for? After the NIU heavy machine gun came out, all the Huns were garbage. Let this catfish stir up Middle-earth. He put the information aside and made up his mind. Wu Sun reminded him at this time. Your Majesty, it is late at night. It is time to go to bed. The Emperor and the Empress Dowager have repeatedly told us not to overwork you. Li Yuan nodded, and just as he was about to go to Wuyu Palace, Wu Sun reminded him, Your Majesty. Sister Wu said that concubine Xia's physical examination report has come out, and everything is fine. Please go to see a Changle Palace to sleep. In order to prevent the Emperor from favoring only one woman, the eunuchs and female officials had to remind the Emperor from time to time to avoid doting on the concubine too much. This was also their duty. Generally, if the Emperor slept with the same concubine for more than 5 consecutive days, he had to replace her. Except for the queen, of course. Li Yuan is very self-disciplined and most of the time, he rests by himself. Concubines were rarely allowed to sleep with him. Wan Huan is old enough now and has developed awareness of gender apart from playing with her. Li Yuan rarely sleeps with her now, or just put her to sleep and then leave. Okay, let's go to see a Changle Palace. It is called a palace, but in fact it is just a small courtyard. Li Yuan hasn't touched this woman since she came back. There are so many concubines in the harem that Li Yuan can't even remember the names of most of them. He is more accustomed to acquaintances and feels more at ease with them. When he entered the courtyard, he saw Wu Bing standing guard at the door. Your Majesty, concubine Xia has been cleansed and has been waiting for you for a long time. Li Yuan nodded. Sister Wu, it's getting late. You should go down and have a rest too. Wu Bing said meticulously, Wait for your Majesty to rest, I will go and rest. Seeing that she insisted, Li Yuan did not force her. He entered the room and smelled a fragrance. Xia Ning was seen wearing a red veil. This scene actually made Li Yuan laugh. This woman. When the red veil was lifted, what came into view was an extremely delicate and young face. If Li Wuyu is the ceiling of pure desire, then Xia Ning is as pure as can be. Those innocent big eyes looking at Li Yuan made Li Yuan feel like he had committed a crime. An angelic face, a devilish figure, and this outfit, which man would not be confused? Why are you wearing this? Li Yuan asked. I asked Sister Wu to make the dress for me. Does it fit me? Xia Ning turned around and said. Brother Li Yuan, is it beautiful? It fits well and looks beautiful. Li Yuan nodded. And without being anxious, he went to take a bath. After a while of struggling, Li Yuan entered the sage time and took the ginseng soup handed to him by Wu Bing. Drink some, go to bed early, cover yourself with the mattress, don't catch a cold. December in Liangjing welcomed the third snowfall. Though it was snowing heavily outside, the room was warm as spring. The next day, after Li Yuan had trained himself, he received a letter from Bianjing. Chapter 335, The Weasel Pays New Year's Greetings to the Chicken. The letter was written by Yang Ji. And the content was very simple. The ruler of Daqian has lost his mind, the queen is dead, the young master is young, and is not of the Xiao family. I wish to lead the civil and military officials of Bianjing to open the gates and welcome the Holy King from now on. Daqian will be incorporated in today, and there will be no distinction between the two. I, your humble servant, wish to remain loyal to your Majesty forever, and my descendants will always serve your Majesty. After reading the letter, Li Yuan couldn't help laughing. It seems that Yang Tao has done a good job. He has forced this old man into a corner. he has no choice but to surrender and show his loyalty while he can still be of some use. Behind this letter, what is implied is Yang Ji's decisiveness and ruthlessness. He talked about surrendering, but he did not mention handing over the military power. He just kept saying, dedicated his loyalty. After being betrayed by Yang Tao, he still couldn't bear to give up the power in his hands. Li Yuan found Lao Lu and showed him the letter. Dad, what do you think? Let's talk slowly it's not the right time to swallow Bianjing now, Lu Qiushan said. It's good to have a large territory. But what they should do now is not to fight for territory. The Huns are coming. The larger the territory, the more weaknesses will be exposed. I think so too. Besides, we are the suzerain state. If we invade Bianjing, we will inevitably be criticized. Lu Qiushan heard the other meaning in his son's words, so he took the newspaper and said, with this letter, won't the front page of Liangjing Times be available tomorrow? Dad is wise, Li Yuan flattered him with a smile. No matter what, we have to do this 3 times of rejection and 3 times of concession. 1 letter is not enough. Wait for the 3rd time and let Yang Ji come to Bianjing in person to make the request. By then, it won't be too late to agree. Lu Qiushan stroked his jaw and said, but Da Qian is a mess, and the party disputes are too serious. The only way is to reshuffle the cards. I left a knife in Bianjing. Lu Qiushan understood immediately. Oh, it turns out to be Yang Tao. That guy is pretty good. The father and son chatted and decided on this matter. Once this matter goes through the process, it will no longer be something Yang Ji can influence. Even if Yang Ji regrets it, he still has the right Prime Minister Yang Tao. It would be appropriate to let Yang Tao clean up Bianjing from top to bottom. Your Majesty, the envoy of Diaxia requests to see you, Wu Sun reminded Lu Yuan in a low voice. Lu Yuan raised his eyebrows. Dad, I have something else to do, so I'll take my leave now. Lu Qiushan waved his hand and said, go ahead. By the way, Ling Zhi is also old enough to get married as her elder brother. You should also pay attention to her. Li Yuan touched his nose and said, Dad, Ling Zhi is only 17 years old. Isn't it too early? Is it too early? Your mother was 17 years old and you could already go out and catch chickens and dogs, Lu Qiushan said. Li Yuan felt somewhat helpless. Girls reach marriage age at the age of 16, but most girls are allowed to have children after the age of 13, and by the age of 16 or 17, they already have 2 or 3 children. This is also the pain of the times. The lifespan of ancient people was not short and the medical level was not low. It was difficult for ordinary people not to die young since they worked hard every day. People in their 30s or 40s can be called old men. Most of the long-lived people are from the landlord class and above. You think that people in ancient times developed early, but in fact, children from poor families have to grow up early, which reflects the country's labor shortage. If you don't get married when you reach the legal age, you are breaking the law. If there are no calves or horses, where will the horses come from to exploit? Therefore, the royal family must set an example. Which princess of the 3 kingdoms did not get married before she reached the age of 15? Xiao Yu and Li Baiyu both came to Liangjing after their engagement was broken off. They were both about to reach the age of marriage, a little younger than Lu Ling Zhi. Dad, wait a little longer, and let Ling Zhi choose the life she wants. Li Yuan was also in a difficult situation. Given the general environment, everyone had the stereotype that girls should get married and have children when they reached a certain age. Even the law set limits. Lu Qiushan said, that's my daughter. I would be happy even if she never gets married. Li Yuan nodded silently, and then he realized that Lu Qiushan was urging him to implement the day national law. Son, I'm leaving. When we arrived at Yangping Palace, Li Kunai had been waiting for a long time. He now resides in Bianjing. Your Majesty, your humble servant pays homage. Li Kunai knelt down and kowtowed hurriedly. Although day was not a grand court meeting or ceremony and kneeling was not allowed, Li Kunai still performed the ceremony meticulously. No need to be polite, stand up. Thank you, Your Majesty. Tell me, what do you want to see me for? Your Majesty, I would like to congratulate you, Li Kunai said with a smile. Where does happiness come from? Princess Tianzhen is pregnant, you're going to be an uncle. That's good news indeed, Li Yuan nodded calmly. My emperor said that the princess has been married to His Royal Highness Prince Yi for a long time, but she has never returned home to visit her parents. This is really wrong. Li Kunai paused when he said this. So he planned to let Prince Yi take His Royal Highness Princess back to Liangjing to visit her parents. Li Yuan said calmly, what conditions does Emperor Xi have to let him come back? Li Kunai secretly sighed, thinking that Li Yuan, at such a young age, could understand people's hearts so well. He couldn't help but say, my emperor treats His Highness as his own son, and he has found a wife for him and bought a house for him, without asking for anything in return. Free things are the most expensive. I never like eating for free, Li Yuan said. These people don't do anything without profit, so would they be so kind as to let Li Yong come back? Li Kunai looked embarrassed, and then said, there are no conditions. It's just that Deaxia's industry is weak. And I want the upper country to help support some industries. Our dynasty is willing to serve as a teacher to the country. Look, isn't it here? Li Yuan laughed, sarcastically. If you want to learn, ask Emperor Rexia to come to Liangjing to give him money and pay his respects to me as a disciple. I will teach you the zither. Li Kuni smiled bitterly. Your Majesty, you are joking. My emperor is in Liangjing. How can he move around casually? If your Majesty is willing, I am very happy to take my place. You are not qualified. Li Yuan waved his hand after learning about Li Kunai's intention. He had an idea in his mind, but this matter did need to be resolved. He established the country and became the best in the world. But his younger brother, the Prince of Day, was captured by Deaxia. Emperor Rexia was very cunning. He married his daughter off, conferred titles of nobility, and acquired property. He earned a lot of fame and made Day afraid to act rashly. He knew Lu Yang's personality, and that child would only make him feel constrained. Xiad is the real old silver coin. He knew that he couldn't keep Lu Yang, so he prepared to cash out. You can ask for money, just name a price. Your Majesty, you are joking. How can Deaxia ask for compensation from the upper country? Exia is a brother and a friendly country. We are brothers and sisters. Li Kunai shook his head. This means not agreeing to compensation. I can give some places back. How can we take back something that has been given away? Li Kunai shook his head again. Besides, Day has suffered a lot in Biamishu recently, which is conducive to clamping down on Day. Then what do you want? Lu Yuan said lightly. What you want is not important. We don't want the formula of Day gunpowder, weapon blueprints, etc. Your Majesty. Please rest assured. Li Kunai smiled. If possible, Deaxia would like to ask Day to build a blast furnace for smelting iron. Chapter 336, Selling the Cement Formula. Li Yuan laughed and pointed at Li Kunai. You don't want much. Li Kunai frowned slightly, and Li Yuan laughed. It was not a good thing. Your Majesty is unwilling? It's just an iron smelting blast furnace. Is it possible that His Royal Highness Yuang is not as good as a blast furnace for smelting iron? Li Kunai, you don't have to set a trap for me, and then turn around and run back to sow discord between me and Xiaoyan. He knows what kind of person I am as a brother. Li Yuan said lightly. Steel is an essential component for a country to be strong. Day's blast furnace is the basis for ensuring steel quality. Deaxia already has the formula for gunpowder. As long as the quality of steel production keeps up with Deaxia's national strength, it will be able to produce a large number of firearms in a few years. Even though these firearms are less powerful, they can kill people in large numbers. Moreover, he never looks down on others. There has never been a shortage of smart people in the land of Middle-earth. I can increase the total amount of exported steel and give preferential treatment on the price, said Lu Yuan. Your Majesty has misunderstood. We build blast furnaces only for the benefit of the people, not for making weapons, Li Kuli said. If your Majesty is unwilling to help Deaxia build blast furnaces, then can you help Deaxia build a cement plant? A little bit of cement can neither be eaten nor kill people. It is only used to build bridges and roads, and to build homes and protect cities. Doesn't your Majesty agree? He was able to dominate the world and resist the barbarians in the early stages, and cement played a major role in this. This is Day's paler industry. Last year, cement accounted for 11% of the export trade. This is because the export of large leaves is restricted. Otherwise the proportion would be even higher. Your Majesty, Deaxia only wants to live peacefully and protect its people and has no other thoughts. Li Kunai said again. Some time ago, the Xiongnu invaded Dajing, as if there was no one in the land. If the city of Dajing was as strong as that of Day, would the Huns still have a chance to take advantage? Your Majesty, please understand the weakness of our small country and be kind. Li Kunai knelt down again and kowtowed 3 times respectfully. Cement is a strategic material, but it is something that will be cracked sooner or later. For example, the mortar poured with glutinous rice is as strong as cement, but it is expensive. Yes, Lu Yuan nodded. Li Kunai was overjoyed. Your Majesty is so merciful. Deaxia will definitely remember your grace. The court gave 2 targets. One was the steel plant and the other was the cement plant. The former cast thatch, and the latter cast shields. If you can't get the spear, then make a shield. Build the city high to give people a greater sense of security. Li Yuan sneered in his heart. Since I have promised you, and don't do anything to me if you put any restrictions on Xiaoyang, I swear, I will send troops again. I would rather he die in Deaxia as a hero than return in disgrace. Li Kunai said hurriedly. I can guarantee with my life that I will never do that. Your life is worthless. And this kind of guarantee is not binding at all. Li Yuan waved his hand. Go down. Tell Emperor Rexia that I will personally send someone to Liangjing to bring him back. Yes, Your Majesty. I will take my leave. Busun. Kalzing Sangguan. Soon, Sing Sangwan arrived. He rose rapidly from the head of the Ministry of Industry to the Minister of Industry, and his title was also Guan Ni, I Hu. Your humble servant pays respect to His Majesty. Sangwan, you sort out the original formula of cement and give it to Envoy Xia. There are also differences in cement proportions. For example, there are differences between civilian and military use. The strongest ratio, with steel reinforcement, can withstand 105 m of love. Building an indestructible turtle shell is not a problem. Sing Sangwan was shocked. Your Majesty, that is a core secret. Don't worry about it, just give it to Envoy Xia. Li Yuan tapped his fingers on the table. Also, sell the cement formula to other countries secretly. Make sure you sell it quietly and have them sign a confidentiality agreement. Don't let it be exposed in a short time. Sing Sangwan was surprised and asked, Your Majesty, has the cement formula been leaked? No, Li Yuan shook his head. The treasury is empty, no way. I remember that several newly built treasuries are full of silver. There will be no shortage of silver in the next 10 years, Zheng Sangwan said in confusion. In short, this is a mission, and you have to sell it at a good price, Lu Yuan said. Although Zheng Sangwan was puzzled, he still said, Yes, Your Majesty, do you have any other instructions? How is my students' research going recently? Lu Yuan asked. Your Majesty, Zhu Jing. We have already built a prototype of the internal combustion engine, and are still perfecting the details. It will take at least 3 months, or at most half a year, for the internal combustion engine to be available, Zheng Sangwan replied. The Ministry of Industry now has several key technologies to tackle, and the internal combustion engine is one of them. However, this involves precision manufacturing, and many parts require hand polishing by an 8th level fitter. However, there is a shortage of craftsmen in China, and it is not easy to train them. The earliest industrial schools were where old craftsmen taught a group of apprentices. The construction officially broke ground 2 years ago, and was only completed this year, but even so, skilled craftsmen are still in short supply. He could only go to the military factory to ask for help with a shameless face. Come on, take me to see it. Li Yuan hadn't seen Zhu Jing for some time. In addition, he had 2 disciples, one named Feng Dabao, and the other was a new student, Niu Taiju's son, Niu Dan. Li Yuan accepted it on the day he came of age. This guy is a talented person, specializing in gunpowder and very smart. The Ministry of Industry was next to the Imperial Palace, but its research institute was next to the military factory. Li Yuan originally wanted to separate the Ministry Research Institute from the Ministry of Industry, but now there is a shortage of staff, so he can only make do with it for the time being. Soon, Li Yuan arrived at the Ministry of Industry Research Institute. At this moment, in the laboratory, a disheveled young man was fiddling with the machine in front of him. His hands were covered in oil, but he didn't care. The black work clothes were glazed under the light. But his eyes were brightened. There was some excitement on his face. Your Majesty, that kid seems to be in the right state, Zheng Sangwan reminded. If you interrupt him at this time, he will go crazy. Li Yuan nodded but did not rush, and he knew that 99% of the sweat was not as good as the occasional flash of inspiration. The difference between ordinary people and geniuses is the occasional flash of inspiration. Li Yuan waited for half an hour before he heard Zhu Jing happily muttering to himself, I understand, I finally figured it out, so this is how it is. The internal combustion engine is done. I did it, 3 years, 3 full years. I finally did it. Zhu Jing lay on the machine and cried with joy. At this time, the middle-aged man next to Zhu Jing reminded, Look who's here. Zhu Jing looked at his father in confusion, then turned around and looked at the smiling young man. He was also stunned. Then knelt on the ground. Respectfully pay homage to Your Majesty. Chapter 337, Treat him as a national hero. Li Yuan helped him up, not caring about the stains all over his body. Call me teacher. Your Majesty. Please do not overstep your authority. Zhu Chen shook his head and knelt down. Li Yuan frowned and said, We are all family here. No need to be polite. Zhu Chen looked at the young man who had ascended the throne in front of him, and he was filled with emotion. The Zhu family is a reclusive family that was once prominent more than 200 years ago. The reason why he was so prominent was because his ancestor was a great figure named Zhu Juhu. The Zhu crossbow he created changed the way countries wage war, and the wooden ox and flowing horse became a myth. But the Zhu family is a noble family that has passed down knowledge from generation to generation to generation. How can they make a living by relying on these strange and tricky skills? So he taught it while also not giving up studying the art of mechanisms. There were 2 major mechanical techniques in the world at that time, namely Lu Ban's technique and Gong Shu's technique. And the one he learned when he lived in Zhuge's house was Gong Shu's technique. It was precisely because of this that he was envied by villains, who slandered him to the monarch, and Wu Hu was accused of a crime and killed. The Zhuge family was almost wiped out, and they had no choice but to flee to Fan Wai. Later, during the 3 Kingdoms period, China expanded, their country was destroyed, and the Zhuge family also entered the big scene. Some people could not resist their ancestors' teachings and entered the court to serve as officials. During the 200 years, they were once prominent, improved the Zhuge crossbow, and forged a large number of weapons. However, some members of the tribe took advantage of their favor and became arrogant, which eventually brought disaster upon them. The Zhuge family once again fell into the crisis of extinction. But this time, the Zhuge family was not so lucky. Out of more than 3,000 clansmen, less than 100 survived. They fled to Biiliang and were rescued by Li Yuan. Later, Li Yuan became part of the research and development team, leading the craftsmen to develop all kinds of strange inventions. The steam engine was not developed by the Zhuge family alone, even the initial version of the blueprint was drawn by Li Yuan, including internal combustion engines. Li Yuan also pointed out the general direction. Now, the Zhuge family thrives in day and is respected as a national hero. Zhuge Liang was deeply moved. But the lessons from the first 2 times were too painful. He would never allow his children to become spoiled, nor would he allow him to overstep his boundaries. Zhuge Jingzhe said, "Your Majesty, teacher, etiquette cannot be abolished." Li Yuan was stunned for a moment. Hen burst into laughter, pointing at him and said, "You kid, you're playing word games with me." Zhuge Jing scratched his head and smiled embarrassed lie. Zhuge Shenshen also shook his head helplessly. "I haven't come to see you for some time. How is your research going? The last time you wrote to me, saying that you had completed the work on the piston internal combustion engine, I didn't come. Can you demonstrate it to me today?" Li Yuan asked. "Yes, the students have already mastered this technology," Zhuge Jing said. From the initial reciprocating piston, single-cylinder internal combustion engine, to now, its thermal efficiency has reached 26. It can be compressed and ignited internally, and the fuel is diesel. But airtightness is still a problem, and I haven't found a suitable solution yet. So the rotary piston engine you proposed will take some time. Yes, what he is researching now were all proposed by Li Yuan. It was also Li Yuan who opened up a new world for him. This was something Gong Shushu had never brought to him. There are many ingenious techniques in Gong Shushu, but these new technologies are definitely not inferior to the wooden ox and flowing horse. And once it comes out, the impact it brings will definitely far exceed that of the wooden ox and flowing horse. Don't be in a hurry. The most important thing in the early stage is to accumulate technical skills and complete the writing of technical theories. I'll have to trouble your father for this. Li Yuan glanced at Zhuge Shen. Zhuge Shenshen also hurriedly said, "This is what I should do once this epoch-making technology comes out. It will subvert the world." As the inheritor of Gong Shushu, he was amazed by this technology. Although he participated in the research, he was more focused on sorting out, summarizing, and finally compiling the ideas proposed by his son into a book. For example, Gong Shushu of Zhuge Liang was compiled into a vernacular textbook for industrial students to study. The idea of spreading knowledge to the world has been realized in day. Li Yuan nodded and looked at the sophisticated instrument in front of him with great anticipation. Once the diesel engine operated successfully, it would mean that day would usher in the second industrial revolution. Ships, chariots, automobiles, warships, and agricultural machines with engines will all become a reality within 20 years. "Let's start," Li Yuan said. "Your Majesty, please stand back a bit," Zhu Jing said. Li Yuan nodded, and someone in front of him stood blocking with a shield. "It's not that they are making a fuss, but it's a new machine and there is a real risk of explosion. There were many explosions of steam engines before, which was a bloody lesson." Zhu Jing stepped forward, accompanied only by Zhu Shen. Everyone else held their breath, watching Zhu Jing start the consecration. At that moment, the internal combustion engine began to operate, and the high-pressure air blew the fuel into the cylinder. Even from a distance, Li Yuan could feel a heat wave coming from the machine. "It's on!" Li Yuan's eyes were filled with envy. Looking at the machine running at a high speed, he was secretly excited. "Dad, I did it. I really did it." Zhu Jing hugged his father, his excitement beyond words. Originally, this most difficult step would have taken several months to overcome, but the flash of inspiration just now helped him solve this difficulty, allowing the machine to run smoothly without the previous obscurity. Zhu Shen was also deeply moved, thinking that this child was lucky to have met Lu Yuan. If it were someone else, it would be impossible to achieve such success. "Congratulations on overcoming the difficulties," Zhu Shen said. Li Yuan couldn't help but applaud. "Good, great." Inside the research room, everyone applauded. The machine ran for more than 20 minutes without any problems, so Lu Yuan stopped it and said, "The quality of the machine must be guaranteed. It must be used for more than 10 years, and can even run uninterruptedly for more than 12 hours before it is qualified." Zhu Shen was recording on the side, while Zhu Jingzhe said, "That will take more than half a year to debug." "It doesn't matter. I can afford to wait a few years for this technology." Li Yuan looked at Zhu Jing with admiration. You didn't contribute much to the steam engine, but you made great contributions to the internal combustion engine. What reward do you want? Zhu Jing cupped his hands and said. Students don't want any rewards, it's enough for them to be able to do what they like and support their families. You are easy to satisfy, kid. Li Yuan smiled and said, however, Day has always rewarded meritorious service. This machine will be called Zhuge internal combustion engine from now on. For every internal combustion engine sold in the future, I can give the Zhuge family 1 dividends. In addition, you should enter the Kokushian Academy and fight for me and day and night. I will definitely treat you as a national hero. Everyone present was shocked. Entering the Kokushian at such a young age? You know, there are less than 2 hands full of national scholars in the Kokushi Academy, and each of them is famous and has made great contributions. Just relying on this small internal combustion engine, Zhu Jing could enter the Kokushian Academy? Chapter 338 Steam Ship. Zhu Shen was also surprised and said, thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty. My son is too young and needs war training. Li Yuan waved his hand and said, a true genius has accomplished something that most people can only dream of in the first half of their lives. Day is a young country, and from me down, it is dominated by young people. Age is a measure of ordinary people, but not of genius. Although Zhu Jing was excited, he remembered his father's teachings and said hurriedly, Your Majesty, I still don't want to enter the Imperial Academy and become a national scholar. I am still young, not qualified to be a national hero. What the Zhuge family was concerned about was whether being too popular would bring about fatal disaster. What Li Yuan was considering was how to make these talents stay in Day wholeheartedly, instead of letting them worry about gains and losses and be anxious. Obviously, there has been a major breakthrough, which is a good thing, but they dare not accept this honor. If I say you can do it, then you can do it. Li Yuan patted his shoulder and said earnestly, over the years, the Zhuge family has been displaced, and that was not caused by you. A is destined to unify Middle-earth, and talents are needed in all walks of life. There is a vast stage for you to display your talents. As long as those red lines are not crossed, no one can touch you. This is my promise. Having followed me for so long, you should understand my character in the system of Day. I understand your concerns, but please trust me. As long as you accept from the bottom of your heart that you are a Day person, a part of Day, then you will never need to worry. Zhu Jing was deeply moved. Zhu Shen was also deeply moved. The emperor had said such things, and if he still did not understand, that would be a real way to death. He glanced at Zhu Jing and nodded calmly. Yes. Thank you very much, Your Majesty. Zhu Jing knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times respectfully. Li Yuan laughed and helped him up. You are a national hero from now on. Unless it is a major ceremony, you don't have to kneel down and bow. Just bow with your hands clasped. As a state official, you don't need to kneel and kowtow, but it is natural for students to kneel and pay homage to their teachers. Zhu Jing scratched his head and smiled innocently. You, Li Yuan pointed at him, shook his head fondly, and then said seriously, from now on, Zhu Jing will be fully responsible for the Zhuge internal combustion engine landing project, and will work with the Ministry of Military Industry to jointly develop it. But it does not include chariots, warships, industrial equipment, and agricultural equipment. We will fully promote the project and realize the development of science and technology. Zheng Sanguan, you must implement it for me? Zheng Sanguan also hurriedly said, yes, Your Majesty, I will arrange a seminar right away. Li Yuan nodded and continued. Award, Zhuge Jingji Yuoshi Medal, First Class National Contribution Medal. Award, Shaosheng Zao 15th Class Lord, enjoy full army level treatment, equipped with guards. You can form your own team. Zhu Shen for his meritorious service, is awarded the title of Zongjing the 13th level of lordship and enjoys the treatment of a full division commander. Li Yuan's reward to Zhu Jing was not reduced in the slightest because of his youth. On the contrary, he was optimistic about Zhu Jing's future. Now it's the diesel internal combustion engine. What about the future? Maybe it's a gasoline engine. The 1% dividend given is also a means of binding him recognition. He will never disappoint real scientific researchers. The father and son were also very grateful and knelt down and kowtowed. Thank you for your grace, Your Majesty. I will march forward bravely and live up to Your Majesty's disappointment. Thank you, Your Majesty, teacher. I will definitely implement the project. Li Yuan helped the 2 of them up again, then said a few more words to them before leaving. After Zhu Shen's song and Li Yuan left, he said with emotion, God has been kind to our Zhuge family. We finally welcome the Holy Lord. Yes, Your Majesty. The teacher is really good. Zhu Jing felt very motivated. Who would believe it if he told others that he was a state scholar who had just turned 19 years old? For a national hero a day. That is equivalent to a golden medal of immunity from death. We, the Zhuge family, don't need that 1 dividend. No matter how much money we have, It's just worldly possessions, we will donate it all to the court's charitable organizations. Although Zhu Chen was happy. He didn't get carried away. Zhu Jing also nodded. Their treatment was even better than that of the Shang Shutai has always been a high-paying and honest society. The annual salary was an astronomical figure. After leaving the courtyard, Li Yuan met Feng Dabao again. This guy specializes in the study of warships. He was born in the northern part of Daqian and is a famous shipbuilder. He has been obsessed with various warships since he was a child. When others fled, they took gold, silver and food, but he took various models. In day shipbuilding, except for the warship blueprints provided by Lu Yuan, most of the technology was provided by the Feng family. The Feng family played an indispensable role in the quick construction of the Second Navy's main ship. Seeing Lu Yuan, he hurriedly pulled Yimo to the lake behind the yard, where a battleship model about 3 meters long and 1 meter and 3 meters wide was docked. Teacher, look, this is the steam engine battleship I built according to your idea. Lu Yuan looked at the warship. The paddle wheel had replaced the oars. The ship was still equipped with auxiliary sails, but the whole ship was made of steel instead of wood. Feng Dabao even climbed onto the model, opened the lid, and lit the boilers. Soon the steam locomotive began to smoke and started moving forward. Once the speed comes up, it's quite fast. Li Yuan was pleasantly surprised. Zhang Sangguan, who was standing by, said, the treasure ship that the Navy is building uses this guy's boiler system. It has been successfully tested on large ships of 300, 500,000, 100, and 1,200 tons. And the experimental performance has passed the test. The speed is about 50 miles per hour compared with the fastest ship in Middle-earth, which is 25 to 30 miles per hour. Our speed is almost doubled. Moreover, the sailing distance depends on the amount of coal currently. The longest distance is about 300 to 400 miles, and coal and boiler water need to be replenished along the way. Li Yuan nodded. The internal combustion engine ship has been put into use, but until it is guaranteed to be used in military industry, it may not be used on warships within 10 years. So before that, using steam ships was a good idea. A speed of 50 miles per hour, without sails, is already the fastest in the world. If it is used on merchant ships, the time can be reduced by almost half. The monthly cargo volume has increased by at least 1/3. For freight, time is money, which is unimaginable for the economy and trade of the entire country. Li Yuan said calmly, we need to fully implement steam engine ships, and in the early stage, we will focus on main battleships. If funds are tight, we can build warships of 300 to 800 tons and distribute them to the public. The technology of steam engines is already very mature. Even if it is leaked, they don't have the ability to build it. Chapter 339, A Sudden Hat. Zhang Sangguan listened closely, nodding from time to time. At the end, he couldn't help but sigh. Your Majesty, the Ministry of Industry is very busy, and I am unable to handle it. Military products are the main focus, but there are too many projects involved. I request that the Institute be separated from the Ministry of Industry and managed independently. What does an ordinary Ministry of Industry manage? It's about military farming, fortifications, and at most some farming tools. Things like weapons were all made by the Ministry of War itself, and the Ministry of Industry could only support some craftsmen but could not do anything about it. Therefore the Ministry of Works suffers the most. But now, Zhang Sangguan can no longer manage all these. Base construction works are extremely numerous. Those laborers were busy building cities, repairing bridges and roads, and setting up military facilities. Not to mention these military manufacturing. Li Yuan looked at his worried look and said, hold on for now, I haven't chosen the right person yet. Otherwise, you can come over from the Ministry of Works, and let someone else take the position of Shangshu. Zhang Sangguan was stunned for a moment, then said, I would rather not be the minister. After being a technical leader for so long, Zhang Sangguan no longer wanted to be a contractor. Okay. At the fastest half a month, at the slowest more than a month. Soon, Feng Dabao circled the lake and asked, Teacher, how's the speed? Yes, it's very fast and runs smoothly. Li Yuan nodded. However, this kind of steel ship cannot be built with current technology, but large ships with a mass of less than 1,200 tons can be built. Unfortunately, day's steel consumption is too high. Even though several iron smelting plants have been reopened, the supply still cannot meet the demand. For the time being, there is not much steel available for day shipbuilding. Feng Dabao said a grieved lie. But teacher, didn't you say that the sea is the future? Of course the sea is the future, but the most important thing right now is not the sea. Li Yuan asked him to get off the boat and said, I have good news for you. The internal combustion engine has been developed. So fast? Then my steam ship is useless. Feng Dabao was hit hard. He worked so hard, but others overtook him. That's not the case. In the next 30 to 50 years, steam-powered ships will be the mainstream. Li Yuan comforted him. And didn't the treasure ship already use your boiler system? Feng Dabao said with some frustration. It's a pity that the steam engine is destined to be eliminated. Li Yuan shook his head. Although the internal combustion engine is good, it does not suit today's national conditions at present before the internal combustion engine technology is fully mature. A steam engine technology can improve the efficiency of private industry. At that time, we can release the technology of the steam engine and unleash the power of the people. He wants to maintain his status and be ahead of others in every aspect. Maybe your invention is not the most empirical, but it must be the most practical and can bring huge economic benefits. You are no worse than others in serving the country. Moreover, the advent of the internal combustion engine did not mean that they could create a heart suitable for use in ships. And next, internal combustion engines will be used in various projects, including ships. The several steam engine systems you have developed are sufficient. Next, I hope you can conquer the ship's internal combustion engine. It's not just 500 or 2,000 materials, it might be 3,000, 5,000, or even 10,000 materials. The bigger the boat, the bigger the heart, understand? Hearing this, Feng Dabao nodded solemnly. Student understands. I have high expectations for you. Li Yuan patted him on the shoulder and then began to reward Feng Dabao. However, Feng Dabao did not become a national scholar, but a candidate for national scholar. The treatment he enjoyed was only at the deputy division level, and he only got the title of Right Shuchang 11th level. The difference between a national hero and a candidate for national hero is not measured in miles. Feng Dabao didn't care about these rewards at all. He was just eager to learn the technology of internal combustion engines. Looking at Feng Dabao, who ran out of the yard, Li Yuan shook his head. This kid is far inferior to Zhu Jinglinglong, but he is also a real scientific research genius and does not care about the ways of the world. Li Yuan didn't care and just asked Zhang Xingwan to take good care of him. Afterwards, Li Yuan went to see an Iurden again, but this guy was very dangerous. The room was filled with various kinds of gunpowder and some dangerous liquids. This guy is a real chemical genius. Many materials must be extracted by chemical industry. The most important thing is not only to understand the process of chemical extraction, but also to write chemical engineering textbooks. This is the shortcoming of all countries. There were also some books similar to the exploitation of the works of nature. During the Three Kingdoms period, Li Yuan collected all these books and had them sorted out. It is not just about the writing process, but also about helping people understand the principles and then cultivating exclusive talents. There is a group of people who have been conquering chemistry in recent years. Gunpowder is the result of hard work. Diesel, gasoline, rubber tires, plastics, etc. all rely on chemicals. Which of these products does not result from the hard work of hundreds or thousands of people? Some of the things he brought were just abstract descriptions with some professional terms, which left them confused. But even so, these people managed to make it, and it was better than he had imagined. Or perhaps, China already had a foundation in chemical engineering, but had not undergone systematic study. Li Yuan's arrival acted like a catalyst, accelerating this process. An Iurdan played with gunpowder and studied the performance of various artillery shell. She also studied blasting fortifications. The time bomb was invented by this guy. Li Yuan did not select him as a reserve national scholar, but only gave him a 10th level position as Zuo Shuchang in the treatment of a regular brigade commander. When he develops the Katyusha rocket launcher, he will be selected as a reserve national hero. Li Yuan spent most of the day wandering around the research institute and had a general idea of what was going on. Planes and tanks are a bit difficult for the time being, but Katyusha may not be difficult. A large ship of 10,000 tons is a bit difficult, but a ship of 5,000 tons is not a problem. There have also been many scientific breakthroughs related to people's livelihood. These are the keys to ensuring the advancement of day. Li Yuan was satisfied. Once the Maxim 75 and 105 mons are equipped throughout the army and the Third Army is formed, he will let the world know what terror is. But before Li Yuan could be happy for a while, something unhappy happened to his ears. He looked at Duan and asked grimly, "Who spread the rumor?" Duan said in a panic, "I haven't found anything yet." Li Yuan's face was gloomy. Someone spread the news that Xiao Jianjia was the empress and publicized the fact that Xiao Jianjia had a child out of wedlock. The people who were unaware of the truth subconsciously thought that Princess Day was someone else's child, which caused an uproar. Li Yuan put on a hat for no apparent reason. Chapter 340, Rumors. Moreover, the rumor became more and more intense. And some people even said that Xiao Jianjia deceived Li Yuan and Lu Huan was not Li Yuan's child at all. For a woman, this is more than just slander, it is a devastating blow. Regardless of whether it is true or false, once this rumor spreads, no matter if Li Yuan clears it up or not, there will always be people who doubt Wan Huan. Who knows, one day, this incident might explode. Li Yuan smoked a cigarette. Find out who it is, catch him, and cut him into pieces. Yes, Your Majesty. Duan left in a hurry, and Li Yuan fell into deep thought. It may not necessarily be someone around Xiaoji and Jia. It is very likely to be an external force. When the three kingdoms invaded the north, they were targeting Lao Lu and Xiaoji and Jia. This means that there was a spy among them who betrayed the information. The extra territory of Day is not very stable either, and those people are still making trouble. The open battle has turned into a secret fight behind the scenes. On the other hand, Xiaoji and Jia, who was in a good mood, was thinking about whether to invite Lu Yun over in the evening after examining the patient. When I passed by a ward, I happened to hear the wounded inside chatting. Have you heard that our Day's eldest princess has a problem with her identity? How come I haven't heard about it? Now it's all spread. People outside are saying that the empress gave birth to the child before marriage. I don't know what means she used to make your majesty believe it. This empress is so shameless. Xiaoji and Jia stopped and heard someone say, "Tell me, which empress has the same name as our director Xiao, also called Xiaoji and Jia?" "No, our director is." "Shut up, our director Xiao is a beautiful and kind person, how could she be an empress? The empress is not even worthy of carrying her shoes. That woman is even engaged to the Wang family, how shameful. Your majesty must have been deceived. We at Day cannot raise a daughter for others." Hearing this, Xiao Yao's face changed and she cursed inside. "Are you too idle? You dare to discuss the affairs of the royal family, or are you looking for death?" The injured in the ward trembled with fear and shut their mouths. Xiao Yao looked at Xiaoji and Jia. "Madam." Xiaoji and Jia pursed her lips, took a step back, walked into the ward, and asked, "Did you hear that the princess is not His Majesty's daughter?" The wounded looked extremely embarrassed. Who would have thought that they would be caught in their secret conversation by Xiaoji and Jia? "Director Xiao, we are so mean, we deserve to die, can you please not expose us?" Yes, we are mean, we open our mouths." Several people kept slapping themselves in an attempt to get Xiaoji and Jia to let them go. Xiaoji and Jia said in a deep voice, "You should know what a sin it is to criticize the royal family behind their backs, but if you want me to not expose you, you can do that. Tell me, where did you hear the news?" One of the wounded breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Director Xiao, we just heard nonsense." "Has it spread outside?" Xiaoji and Jia asked again. Several people fell silent. Xiaoji and Jia's heart sank. She said, "Don't let me hear you talking nonsense again," and left, in a hurry. Arriving at the office, she looked at Xiao Yao and asked, "When did it happen?" "It was reported 2 days ago, but I didn't expect it to spread so widely. It spread throughout Liangjingdu, and the people, what do they say about me?" Xiao Yao pursed her lips and said nothing. Xiaoji and Jia smiled bitterly and said, "They said I was immoral, had a child out of wedlock, and was a slut, right? They also said I was unworthy of being a concubine and brought shame to your majesty, right?" Xiao Yao said awkwardly, "They just believe everything they hear, how could they know these?" Xiaoji and Jia shook her head, and bad memories came to her mind again. Thinking back to the humiliation and injustice I suffered during those years, I didn't expect that after coming today, the same thing would happen again. But she couldn't help being sad. She cared more about Lu Yuan's reaction. She knew the power of rumors. Few people can bear it. She immediately found Xia Hongmei to ask for leave. Xia Hongmei seemed to have guessed that she would come. "Go back to the palace. Leave the rest to me." "Thank you, Dean." Xiaoji and Jia returned to the palace as soon as possible. But after entering the palace, she clearly felt that the eyes of the people around her were not right, and some people were even whispering behind her back. The disdain and indifference in their eyes cannot be faked. Xiaoji and Jia felt as if she was on edge. She asked, "Is His Majesty in the palace?" "Your Majesty is busy with all kinds of affairs, and I'm not aware of them," a maid said unhappily. They all knew that His Majesty did not like concubine Xiao. They only knew that she was the princess's mother. But few knew her true origins. But now, they know. The Empress of Daqian gave birth to a child before marriage. It is unknown what means she used to deceive your Majesty and make him treat her child as his own. Some people even thought that Xiaoji and Jia cast witchcraft on Lu Yuan. Xiaoji and Jia did not meet them, but found Wo Bing. "Sister Wo, is His Majesty in the palace?" Wo Bing was looking at the expenditure accounts of the Moon Palace when she saw Xiaoji and Jia. She stood up in a hurry and said, "Even if His Majesty is in the palace, you should not disturb His Majesty unless it is a major event." Xiaoji and Jia suppressed her anxiety and said, "You've heard about that rumor, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a rumor or not. What matters is whether you have a clear conscience and whether His Majesty believes it." Wo Bing knew too well the destructive power of rumors for a woman. It would be absolutely devastating, but she did not comfort Xiaoji and Jia because she did not like this woman. "You don't believe me? What if I believe you? Can it stop the rumors?" Wo Bing shook her head and sat down again to look at the accounts, but she felt sorry for them, so she said, "When others say you cheated, do you have to cut open your stomach to prove that you didn't cheat? The more you explain and the more anxious you are, the more confirmed the matter becomes in their eyes. If I were you, I would turn a deaf ear and continue doing what I have to do. As long as His Majesty believes in you, it doesn't matter what those people say. Xiao Jianjia sighed. Maybe you are right, thank you, Sister Luo. Just as Xiao Jianjia was leaving, a palace maid came over and said, Empress Xiao, Xiao Yu wants to see you. Not see. Xiao Jianjia didn't want to have anything to do with Xiao Yu. The palace was relatively secluded, and only a few people in the palace knew her identity. She even suspected that these people were the ones who spread the rumor. But what good would it do them to kill themselves? But the crisis is real. In this palace, she can't rely on anyone except Huan and Ma Senbao. But what Wu Bing said was also true. Apart from Liu Yuan, she had no other man. But in order to deal with the 5 bandits' alliance in Tongshu, she pretended to marry Wang Jingzhi, which became direct evidence of her infidelity. Some people even say that Huan is the Wang family's child. Xiao Jianjia was in a state of confusion. At this moment, she felt indescribable regret. Chapter 341. Unlucky Wang Jingzhi. The one who was more panicked and afraid than Xiao Jianjia was Wang Jingzhi. Ever since he turned into a crisscross bug, he has stayed at home, never leaving the house, and has been drinking and having fun every day. On the other hand, the second brother was successful in official circles. Many brothers in the clan were given important positions, which made Wang Jingzhi very sad. He didn't expect that after drinking, sleeping and beating his concubine every day, he would still encounter such a disaster. Wang Yan, who was sitting in a wheelchair, slapped his son on the face and said, "Look at what you have done. You unfilial son." Wang Jingzhi knelt on the ground, looking aggrieved. "Dad, what does this have to do with me? All the decisions were made by us together. I got a king in the beginning, didn't you also get a title of king? What, now that we lost, all the responsibility is mine? I haven't even touched Xiao Jianjia's hand. How can I give birth to a child?" Seeing them quarreling, Wang Jingdi also had a headache and said, "All right. Stop quarreling. The most urgent thing is for my brother and I to go to the palace to explain that His Majesty is not a narrow-minded person." Wang Jing couldn't stop shaking his head. "Enter the palace? I won't go if you want me to die, just tell me." Wang Chuan also smiled bitterly. "Brother, if His Majesty wanted to kill you, he would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? He wants to recruit the Wang family." Wang Jingzhi gritted his teeth and said, "Now that you are all wearing official robes, you are naturally not afraid. You want to push me out to die? Are you still human?" The brothers all smiled bitterly. Wang An slapped him again. "It's better for you to die than for us to die together." "Why?" Wang Jingzhi asked angrily. "Just because I'm your father." Wang An was so angry that he was shaking all over. Seeing the father and son quarreling more and more fiercely, Wang Ju sighed and said, "Stop quarreling. And go to the palace now. There is still a way out. If you wait until the palace sends someone to ask, you will have no choice but to leave. By then, even if we smash our heads to pieces, we won't be able to save you." This rumor came out too suddenly. I think someone must want to deal with Xiao Jianjia. Not many people know that she is the empress. Why didn't you come earlier or later? But at this critical moment, just think about it. Wang Jingzhi snorted. "After all this talk, you want me to take the blame?" "Brother, you are confused," Wang Jingdi said with a wry smile. "What crime can you be asked to take? How can you be worthy of putting a hat on His Majesty? If you dare to plead guilty, our Wang family will be in big trouble." Wang Jingzhi used to be such a smart person. How come he has become so confused now? Don't waste your time talking to him. Tie him up and send him to the palace if he dares to resist. Break his arms and legs. Your Majesty will feel more comfortable after reading this. Wang An slapped the armrest and shouted angrily, "Someone come quickly. Is it possible that my words are no longer effective?" Wang Jingdi glanced at Wang Chuan and others, nodded secretly, then waved his hand. And several people gathered around. Wang Jingzhi was pinned down, shocked and angry. "What do you want to do? Shentenji, come and save me." "Father, stop struggling. Shentenji has already joined the army," said Wang Jingdi. Wang Shentenji was born with supernatural powers. And he always listened to Wang Jingzhi. With Wang Shentenji around, no one could touch him. You bastards." Wang Jingzhi was so sad and angry that he was tied up like a dumpling. Wang Jingdi clapped his hands and was about to carry Wang Jingzhi away when Wang An stopped him. "Wait, get Sumrat An." Wang Ju handed the whip over silently. "Son, if I don't beat you, you will die. Just bear with it." Wang An sighed, then picked up a whip and beat Wang An until he was covered in blood and screaming. "Carry him outside and let him roll a few times in the mud, then we can carry him into the palace," Wang An said. "Acting." Wang Jingdi sighed. "Brother, I'm sorry. You are not human. I don't want to enter the palace." Soon, Wang Jingzhi, covered in blood and mud, was carried into the palace by his brothers. What the brothers didn't expect was that as soon as they walked into the imperial study, more than a dozen officials from aristocratic families came out. When they saw Wang Jingdi, they all looked unhappy. Wang Jingdi's heart skipped a beat, and then he quickly carried Wang Jingzi inside. They almost threw Wang Jingzi to the ground, then knelt down and bowed. "Your Majesty, I am your humble servant." The brothers lay on the ground, not daring to even raise their heads. Wang Jingzi was so frightened that he dared not say a word, and kept glancing at Lu Yuan sitting on the dragon throne out of the corner of his eye. "What crime have you committed that you keep calling me a criminal?" Lu Yuan said inferently. Wang Jingdi smiled bitterly and said, "Recently, there have been some rumors in Liangjing that are related to the Wang family. My father has difficulty walking, so he asked me to bring my eldest brother to the palace to apologize." Lu Yuan snorted. "They all said it was a rumor. What crime did you commit?" After he finished speaking, the Wang brothers felt that the temperature around them had dropped by several degrees, and cold sweat broke out on their backs. Wang Jingzi even cried out in grievance, "Your Majesty is wise. I never knew that concubine Xiao was the empress of Daqian. So I committed the crime of disrespect. If I knew, even if I had 10 times the courage, I would not dare to attack Tongshu, let alone offend concubine Xiao. I can swear that I have never had any direct contact with concubine Xiao, and even, I still don't know what concubine Xiao looks like. Those who spread rumors should be punished. Your Majesty, please understand." As he spoke, he started to cry out of grievance. What had he done to offend anyone? He was the most promising disciple of the Wang family in Xiangbi, a role model of a young and talented person. And he was so arrogant. Now he has become as poor as a worm and has not even seen the empress, yet he has to suffer such a great sin. Is there any justice in the world anymore? Li Yuan was already upset, and he became even more upset when he heard the crying. "Stop howling." The crying stopped abruptly. "Originally, it was nothing, but you jumped out and did this. Isn't it a disguised proof that there is something?" Li Yuan looked at them unkindly. The group of officials who just left were the third group. They demanded the arrest of Wang's family for interrogation, the abolition of Huan's identity, and the execution of Xiao Ji and Jia. In this era, rumors can hurt people, and even kill people. If Lu Yuan had not traveled through time, he would have massacred the Wang family and executed Xiao Ji and Jia. Wang Jingzi's heart was in his throat. Wang Jingdi was also trembling with fear. At this time, Wang Ju bowed and said, "Your Majesty, I have evidence to prove that Wang Jingzi is absolutely incapable of offending concubine Xiao. It can also dispel rumors." "Oh," Lu Yuan said, "tell me. What evidence?" "My humble elder brother is a eunuch, a rootless person," Wang Ju said with a bow. Lu Yuan frowned. Wang Jing, who was standing by, widened his eyes, but then reacted, "Yes, Your Majesty, I am a eunuch. A man without any seed. The children born to my concubines are all borrowed." He was extremely humiliated. But he had no choice but to do so in order to survive. Wang Jingdi was also secretly amazed at Wang Ju's reaction. "That's right, my brother. You are a useless person." Chapter 342. Is there anything wrong with treating each other with respect? How could Li Yuan not know their tricks? "But as long as we can shut those people up, that's enough," he said calmly. "It's useless for me to believe it. Others have to believe it otherwise. Let your eldest brother walk around outside naked and tell everyone he meets that he is Wang Jingzi, a rootless person." The Wang family was in chaos. Wang Jingzi's eyes became dull. What was the point of him living? Not only did the Wang family lose face, but he also had no future. It's 100 times more cruel than killing him. Wang Jingdi licked his chapped lips. He didn't know whether it was because the imperial study was too warm or too dry. He understood what the emperor meant. They had actually known the truth all along, but he wanted to shut other people's mouths. It wasn't enough to just make him believe. Do we really have to let my eldest brother walk around naked in the cold wind and tell everyone he is a member of the Wang family? Wouldn't the Wang family be completely embarrassed? Wang Chuan was also secretly anxious. If they couldn't handle this matter today, they would die as soon as they left this door. Wang Ju said slowly, "Your Majesty, it is good to let my humble brother go outside with his butt naked, but it is unsightly and immoral. It would be better to let him stay by your side and keep Eunuch Wu Sun company." As soon as these words were spoken, a cold light flashed in Wu Sun's eyes. The Wang brothers were secretly amazed. Even Li Yuan was stunned. This Wang Ju was really a ruthless person. Wang Jing opened his eyes wide, shook his head repeatedly, and looked at Wang Ju with pleading eyes. "Yes, as long as my humble brother stays with Eunuch Wu Sun, all rumors will be resolved and concubine Xiao's damaged reputation will be restored," Wang Jingdi said in a deep voice. Li Yuan tapped his fingers on the table. He knew how outrageous the rumors outside were. Although Day does not have DNA, he has blood type. According to the blood type genetic table, he can roughly determine whether the child is his own. Moreover, Xiao Jianjia is not the kind of person who is not disciplined. Can? Lu Yuan gestured. Wu Sun, check him carefully to see if he is a eunuch. Yes, your majesty. Wu Sun walked up to Wang Zhu, sneered, and then asked the eunuch to carry Wang Jingzi out of the imperial study. Soon, there was a scream like a pig being slaughtered outside, followed by Wu Sun slowly wiping the blood off her hands with a white handkerchief. Your majesty, I have checked and found that Wang Jingzi is indeed a eunuch. Born without bell, she has been cleaned up, and I have arranged for him to learn the rules of the palace. Li Yuan nodded and said to the Wang brothers, in the future, you should talk about this kind of thing earlier to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Let us all go. Wang Jingzi will serve in the palace from now on. The Wang brothers breathed a sigh of relief and kowtowed repeatedly to express their gratitude. The brothers walked out of the imperial study, feeling like they were reborn. You still have more ideas? Wang Chuan looked at Wang Zhu. Otherwise, our family would be doomed. Now it's good. Not only can my eldest brother serve in the palace, but our family has also escaped a disaster. If my eldest brother rises to power in the future, the benefits will be extraordinary. Wang Jingdi said with a smile. By the way, my eldest brother's descendants. Let's go back and talk to dad. And let's adopt the child. I'll think of another way after this matter is over, Wang Jingdi said. The brothers were busy making plans. But Wang Jingzi, who had just been screwed, felt like he was dying. He was in excruciating pain and hated Wang Zhu in his heart. No, he hated everyone in the Wang family. He clenched his fists, veins popping out on his forehead. I want them to die. I want them to die. I want them to die. Soon, the news that Wang Jingzi was a eunuch and would serve His Majesty spread, blocking the next few waves of people. And this news is still spreading wildly. Li Yuan also breathed a sigh of relief. At night, Xiao Ji and Jia accompanied Huan Huan in painting its Nestinlied, and she looked extremely haggard. She wanted to find Lu Yuan several times, but she held back. She didn't know what Lu Qiuishan and Su Xiuyue were thinking, but Lu Lingzi trusted her very much and gave her a hug as soon as she got off work. This made Xiao Ji and Jia feel much better. But the most important thing is what Lu Yuan thinks. She also learned from her servants that a court official came to the emperor and wanted to banish her to the cold palace or even abolish her status as Princess Huan Huan. She was not afraid of death, she was just worried that the child would get hurt. Looking at the children immersed in happiness, she felt extremely sad. At this moment, a voice came from outside. Your Majesty has arrived. Oh, it's Daddy. Huan Huan quickly put down her paintbrush and rushed into Li Yuan's arms, hugging his neck and pressing her chubby face against Li Yuan's. Daddy, you haven't come to see me for a few days. Li Yuan pinched her face and said, sorry. Daddy has been a little busy lately and has neglected you. It's okay, next time if Daddy is not free, I will be good and stay here by myself. I will go find Daddy when he is free, said the little guy. Xiaoji and Jia also stood up hurriedly. Come. Come. Li Yuan nodded, sat down holding Huan Huan, and looked at the paintings on the table. It would be more like graffiti than paintings. Which one? Xiaoji and Jia thought that Lu Yuan would frown and speak coldly when he came in. But she didn't expect that he had a warm smile on his face, and the look in his eyes when he looked at her was not much different from before. I'm sorry, I made things difficult for you. Xiaoji and Jia lowered her head, feeling very nervous. Why are you saying sorry for no reason? Li Yuan asked in surprise. Just about the rumors outside. You said it was just gossip. What does it have to do with you? Or are you going to take it personally? Xiao Ji and Jia was stunned and shook her head hastily. No, I'm just afraid that you'll misunderstand me. Am I so petty in your eyes? No, you're not narrow-minded, you're very generous. Xiao Ji and Jia widened her eyes and stared at Li Yuan intently. And her heart was relieved a little. Li Yuan said, don't take things that don't exist seriously in the future if you have nothing to do. Find something to do for yourself. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded obediently and sat down next to Li Yuan, with only a fist's distance between them. Why are you so close to me? Li Yuan frowned as he saw her approaching. Go over there. Xiao Ji and Jia felt very aggrieved. Can't you accompany the child? Li Yuan snorted and moved to the other side. Xiao Ji and Jia was stunned for a moment, then moved to his side in a huff. And the two of them stared at each other. You are not right today. Li Yuan looked at Xiao Ji and Jia. Is there something wrong with you? You're the one who's wrong. Xiao Ji and Jia was angry, with her hands on her knees. This bastard was so infuriating. Thinking of this, she hugged Li Yuan's hand, lowered her voice, and whispered, you said that we should be respectful to each other in front of the children. Is there anything wrong with me doing this? Chapter 343. Li Yuan. I was wrong. Li Yuan reached out his hand in disgust and pushed her face away. You're spitting on my face. Then, he took out his handkerchief and wiped his face properly. Xiao Ji and Jia was so angry that her teeth were itching and she wanted to bite him, but if she got angry, wouldn't that be fulfilling his wish? Not only did she not let go, but she held him even tighter and even went a step further and rested her head on his shoulder. That's too much. Li Yuan reminded. Acting is acting, don't take advantage of me. When Huan saw her parents leaning against each other, she covered her mouth and laughed secretly, feeling very relieved. She thought, if she continued like this, her dream of becoming a big sister would surely come true. Li Yuan tried to push her head away several times but failed. You don't have to do this, we are just playing around. Xiao Jianjia's eyes dimmed. Even though she was like this, in Li Yuan's mind, it was still just an act. It seems that what I did before had indeed made him completely disappointed. She raised her head and looked him straight in the eye. What if I say this? It's not a show. After saying this, she felt her heart pounding and her breathing almost stopped. Feeling the doubt in Li Yuan's eyes, she did not retreat at all. Li Yuan, Li Yuan pushed her face away again. Just talk. Why are you glaring at me? Li Yuan, you. Xiao Jianjia was going crazy. Her cheeks puffed up, and she bit Li Yuan's shoulder. You bastard, I'm going to bite you to death. You're crazy. Li Yuan was knocked down by Xiao Jianjia. Seeing this, Huan thought that daddy and mommy were fighting. So she stopped painting and just pressed on Xiao Jianjia, stacking up. Huan, bite him. Xiao Jianjia was angry, but she didn't really bite hard. Huan got off her, hugged Li Yuan's head, then kissed him instead of biting him. Daddy, please say something nice to coax mom, and I'll let you go. No need to coax her. Li Yuan gritted his teeth, then hugged Huan tightly, turned over, and took control, pressing Xiao Jianjia underneath him. I'm warning you, if you don't let go, I won't be polite either. Xiao Jianjia stared at Li Yuan and refused to let go, with an expression that said. Li Yuan also got angry and bit Xiao Jianjia's shoulder. Xiao Jianjia cried out of pain, and then she asked with red eyes, can you really bite it? Li Yuan said, this is to respect you. If I treat you as a woman, you won't say that I look down on you. Xiao Jianjia sighed softly, pushed Li Yuan away and said nothing. She knew that Li Yuan was still brooding over it. Who could be blamed? Thank you. After a long while, she said, thank you for not listening to the rumors and thank you for not saying bad things to me. How shameless must I be to put a hat that doesn't belong to me on my head? Li Yuan shook his head. Don't thank me, thank yourself for keeping yourself clean. It can be heard that Li Yuan didn't want to have any intimate contact with her at all. Even if it was just a thank you, he ignored it completely. She gathered the hair that fell around her ears and said, I also have to thank you for always believing in me and standing by my side. I was too stupid before. I thought the world was black and white and was always unwilling to bow to you. But in fact, it was never you who forced me. Some people are obviously my closest relatives, but they never treat me as a human being. And you always supported me silently with your actions when I was most helpless. She tried to appear calm, but her hands were shaking as she said this, and even her voice was trembling. I couldn't control my tears. Slide down your cheeks. Huan hurried over and wiped her tears. Mom, why are you crying? Don't cry, Dad. Please comfort mom. She had never seen her mother cry, and at this moment, she was extremely panicked. Huan, mom is fine. Xiao Jianjia shook her head, hugged the child, looked at Li Yuan and said, I know, I used to be very stubborn, very arrogant, and very rigid. I don't blame anyone but myself for what happened today. I'm not saying this because I am not loved or because I am grateful. I just felt something I had never felt before with my heart. In the past, I was very confused and afraid. All the burdens are on me. And I'm afraid that I won't be able to do well and let everyone down. So I can't see clearly, but I dare not slack off. Until now, I am no longer the emperor. I can finally slow down, think seriously, and feel everyone around me with my heart. Some people are nice to me because they want to take advantage of me. Some people are just kind to me without asking for anything in return, just because they want to be nice to me. That's all. She sniffed and wiped her tears. Today, she wanted to say everything she wanted to say. Even if Li Yuan doesn't believe it, she doesn't care. She, Xiao Jianjia, shouldn't be like this. It's not shameful to admit your mistakes when you make them. Today so many things happened. If it were someone else, the fate of me and my child would definitely not be good. Not to mention the emperor. Even ordinary men can't stand it. Uncle Lu, although Aunt Su did not show up, they did not question me. As soon as Ling Ziyi came back, she gave me a hug. I thought you would scold me and say bad things to me. It turns out that I was overthinking it and you weren't. Even though you are cold as hell and look indifferent, you are always the first to come when I have something to do. Li Yuan, I was wrong, so wrong. Uncle Lu was right. If you really have ill intentions, there are 10,000 ways to make it impossible for me to move forward. It is me, Xiao Jianjia, who owes you. Li Yuan, not you, Lu Yuan, who owes me. Xiao Jianjia. 6 years ago you saved me from a deserted temple. Although what happened wasn't clear, I am still grateful to you for saving me from the hands of bad guys. Otherwise, I would have lived a life worse than death. A year ago, You saved me in Zongshu, otherwise, I would have died at the hands of Maitreya. Later, I returned to Ba Eugene, and it was Liasu who cleared the way for me to escape successfully. In the Battle of Shuitan County, Hawkeye descended from the sky and rescued the people in the city. You have never taken credit for anything in front of me. Because in my opinion, if I make achievements, those people will definitely come to me to ask for credit and reward. But later I realized that you are not those people, and you are not my subject. I always use old ideas to look at new things. By the time I understood all this, it was too late. I have hurt the person who was the best to me. Xiao Jianjia said with tears streaming down her face. Lu Yuan, I am so stupid. If you feel unhappy, can you just scold me? But you can't even bear to scold me. Every time he was so angry that he gritted his teeth, he was reluctant to touch me. If it really doesn't work, beat me up and vent your anger. Who made this woman so stupid? If you don't educate her, how can she become sensible? Damn it. Who dares to say this isn't sweet? Chapter 344, Sleep Together Tonight. She looked at Lu Yuan timidly, but her eyes were exceptionally firm. She looked timid, afraid that Lu Yuan would really teach her a lesson, but she held Lu Yuan's hand and said, "Let out your anger, it will make me feel better." Lu Yuan stared at her for a while. "Shenjin, I don't hit women." "And what do you need to do to calm down?" Xiao Jianjia asked again. "I'm no longer angry." "Are you not angry or have you already stopped caring? Why do you have 100,000 questions?" Lu Yuan frowned. "Lu Yuan, just tell me what you think. I'm ready." Xiao Jianjia took a deep breath. No matter what the result was, she could accept it. "Daddy, Mom has already apologized, can you please forgive me?" The little girl quickly ran to Lu Yuan and begged. "I still like your rebellious side," Lu Yuan said suddenly. Xiao Jianjia was stunned at first. Then her face turned red. She lowered her head, bit her lips, and felt her face burning. How could she not hear that Lu Yuan was teasing her? Thinking back to what she had said before, she wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. "Give me a quick death." Xiao Jianjia gritted her teeth. "Let's investigate further," Lu Yuan said calmly. "In my mind, your credibility is very low. Who knows if you just had a brain spasm and are talking nonsense? Then serious, this is all from the heart." Xiao Jianjia had never been so humble in her life, but at this moment, she also understood that it was because she had gone too far before that Lu Yuan had a stress reaction. "Whether it's true or not, only you know it anyway. I can't feel your sincerity." Lu Yuan curled his lips and immediately lifted Huan Huan up. "My girl, your grandma made you your favorite big chicken rumstick. Let's have 2 big bowls of rice with it tonight." Xiao Jianjia wiped her tears, gritted her teeth, and chased after him. She wanted to hold Lu Yuan's hand, but was afraid of being thrown away. She could only humbly hold the corner of his clothes and follow behind him, whispering, "This damn girl is getting fat too fast. We can't let her eat so much anymore." Lu Yuan ignored her and thought she was mute. Xiao Jianjia didn't dare to say anything more, knowing that he had just been pardoned from a death row prisoner to an ordinary prisoner, so he could only follow closely. There was an imperial chef in the palace, but most of the time, Suexiyue was responsible for preparing 3 meals. Seeing Xiao Jianjia pulling Lu Yuan, Suexiyue was stunned and couldn't help but look at Lu Qiushan. Lu Qiushan stroked his beard and grinned. "Jianjia, come and sit down. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Lu Lingzhi also stepped forward quickly, hugged Huan Huan and said with a smile, "Little guy, you brought your mother with you." Huan Huan said, "I didn't bring it here, Dad did." On the contrary, Xiao Jianjia felt a little embarrassed and bowed to the 2 elders. Father-in-law. "Some other, sorry for waiting." Suexiyue clapped her hands and hurriedly pulled Xiao Jianjia over. "The old man and I have been waiting for you to change your mind for a long time." The matter of Xiao Jianjia has always been a knot in the hearts of the couple. Lu Yuan has many women, but after all this time, none of them has been successful. After all is said and done, Xiao Jianjia is still a good match, so I hope the 2 of them can resolve their conflicts. Xiao Jianjia was so embarrassed that she didn't even dare to look at Lu Yuan. Glancing from the corner of his eye, Lu Yuan looked indifferent, without any expression at all. This made her feel inexplicably lost. "Please sit down." Lu Qiushan also greeted warmly. When their family reunited, the concubines were not qualified to come, and the only one who was qualified, Honggu, ran away. "Thank you, father-in-law," Xiao Jianjia said next to Lu Yuan, and Wu Sun hurriedly added a set of bowls and chopsticks. Xiao Jianjia enjoyed the meal very well from beginning to end. Lu Qiushan and his wife never mentioned the rumors outside. After dinner, Lu Lingzhi took Huan Huan away. Suexiyue said, "You go to see Li Wu. You are exciting every day. You are too partial to one." Lu Yuan said with an embarrassed face, "Mom, this matter. It's none of my business." Suexiyue put her hands on her hips and raised her eyebrows, looking as if she would teach Lu Yuan a lesson if he dared to refute her. Lu Yuan waved his hands hurriedly. "I can manage it. Are all the rumors outside G&G's fault? As a husband, you have done nothing wrong? Suxiue scolded. If you two hadn't been sleeping in separate beds, there wouldn't have been so many troubles. If you were in love, who would dare to say such nonsense? Xiao Ji blushed and didn't dare to say a word from the beginning. Li Yuan just smiled bitterly and didn't respond. He just stood there and got scolded. For him, it is a blessing to still have parents to take care of him at this age. Huan is already this old. It's time for her to have a brother or sister. Our Lu family has no offspring. Who do you want to benefit from in the future? Even if I am incompetent, didn't I still give birth to you 3 siblings? Although what Suxiue said sounded harsh, there was nothing wrong with it. Even Lu Qiushan nodded beside him. Continuing the family line is a huge obstacle that cannot be avoided in this era, especially for the royal family. The issues they have to consider are more realistic, and the issue of offspring is never concealed. Li Yuan was also under a lot of pressure and even began to doubt himself. Over such a long time, he had favored several women and worked hard, but nothing came of it. To the point that he even suspected that there was something wrong with his body. He even specially asked Blind Chen to take his pulse. Blind Chen said that he was in the best health possible and had no problems at all. Mom, please stop scolding him, I also have a responsibility. Xiao Ji blushed, as if she had made up her mind. I will serve him tonight. Li Yuan widened his eyes and looked at Xiao Ji in disbelief. Do you know what you are saying? Is there a problem? Xiao Ji asked. Do you think I'm still a 15 or 16-year-old girl who has never had any experience with anyone? No problem, it's just bullshit. Ji has said so. What are you still entangled about as a grown man? Suxiue said to Luo Bing. Sister Luo, you watch him carefully tonight. I want to check the records tomorrow morning. If I don't see what I want to see tomorrow, it will be a problem. Lu Qiushan laughed out loud. Dad, say something. Your mother is right. Lu Qiushan stopped laughing and nodded seriously. Although you are the emperor, your mother and I don't care about what decisions you make outside, but here, your mother is the most important. And I have to listen to her. Luo Bing also smiled bitterly. Yes, Queen Mother. I obey your order. It's getting late, old woman, let's go for a walk to help digest the food. It's winter and snowy, why take a walk? Lu Qiushan took Suxiue and left. In the dining room, Li Yuan and Xiao Ji stared at each other. Xiao Ji's face was burning, and even her neck was red. She said nervously. Huan's wish is to have a brother or sister. I'm just trying to fulfill the child's wish. Don't think too much. This is also part of respecting each other. Chapter 345 Xiao Yu's trouble. Xiao Ji thought to herself, am I sincere and genuine enough? But Lu Yuan said, I'm a little tired recently and want to sleep alone. Lu Yuan, you. Xiao Ji looked at him with complicated eyes. Does this man have to beg her humbly? Lu Yuan ignored her and left. Xiao Ji gritted her teeth and followed him wherever Lu Yuan went. She would go. Are you a follower? I'm just following my parents' orders. When did you become so obedient? It has changed a long time ago. If you ask for it, I will definitely give it to you, Li Yuan said with a smile. It's not like I don't have a place to go. They are not as good as me. Xiao Ji raised her head. Li Yuan once again pushed her face away. Get out of the way. Xiao Ji stamped her feet in anger, as if a kettle was boiling. Lu Yuan. You bastard. Thank you for the compliment. Li Yuan smiled and said to his grandson, stop her and don't let her follow you. Bing opened her mouth and wanted to speak, but in the end she said nothing. She didn't know why Xiao Ji had changed so much, but she could see that Lu Yuan really wasn't very interested. Sister Luo, I will rest alone tonight. You write the truth. Tomorrow morning, I will go to my mother to receive punishment, Lu Yuan said and left. Empress Xiao, please don't make things difficult for me. Wu Sun stopped Xiao Ji. Li Yuan, listen carefully. I will let you see my changes, and I will let you feel my sincerity, Xiao Ji said with clenched fists. Li Yuan returned to his bedroom. After his hopes came true, he was not as happy as he had imagined. After Honggu left, he never thought of taking a queen. As for Xiao Ji, he just wanted to maintain a superficial respect with her. Luo Bing came in from outside, knelt beside the bed and pressed Lu Yuan's legs. Their Majesty has punished you, how about I help you relieve your fatigue? Sister Luo, you've been busy all day. Oh, and rest early. Luo Bing shook her head, took off Lu Yuan's shoes, put his feet on her legs without any disgust, and rubbed the soles of his feet with her soft hands. Lu Yuan let out a long breath, feeling indescribably comfortable. Sister Luo really understands me. She always helps me relieve my fatigue when I am most tired. Ever since Honggu left, Luo Bing has been like a housekeeper, managing the entire harem in order. Lu Yuan never worried about these little things. Your humble servant. No one's here. Luo Bing smiled and then changed her tone. No matter how tired I am, How can I be as tired as your majesty? Your majesty is busy with all kinds of affairs, and I am just following the rules in the palace. The only thing I can do is to serve tea, water and snacks to your majesty when he is thirsty or hungry. When you are tired, I will give you a back massage. Anyone can do it. This woman is as gentle as water and can always nourish Liuan when he is most tired. Sister Luo, do you think what I did was right or wrong? If your majesty feels that it is pleasing, then it is right, Luo Bing said with a smile. To be honest, I was shocked by the change in concubine Xiao. She didn't know why she spoke for Xiao Ji and Jia. Perhaps she wanted to make Liuan happy to her. Personal hatred was not important in her eyes. Liuan's happiness was a big deal. A lit Julit. I think concubine Xiao is really getting better, and she speaks very sincerely. She is much better than before. Sometimes, I think that if she wasn't so strong as a woman, she would have been eaten by others without leaving any bones. Luo Bing asked Liuan to lie on the bed, and she sat beside the bed, massaging Liuan's back according to the acupuncture points. Back then, when I was fleeing from the disaster, so many people were staring at me. My husband is a scholar and has no special skills. He watched others bully me but dared not say a word. It is always said that if you are patient, you will have peace. If you take a step back, you will have a broad horizon. I almost got bullied. Everyone was extremely hungry at that time, and they wanted to capture my children as food. I picked up the knife and tried to fight them like crazy, so they didn't dare to attack me. But someone really did snatch their child away alive and throw him into a large earthen jar. At that time I understood that if I wanted to survive, I had to go crazy and become crazier than a madman. They were all starving people in order to survive. They not only ate human flesh, but also killed and cooked their own wives. They even sold them and made a lot of money. When she said this, Luo Bing's voice was choked up. Liuan turned his head to look at her and gently wiped her tears. It's all over. Yes, I was lucky. I met His Majesty, so I survived, but those who were unlucky died. Luo Bing sniffed and said, so, if concubine Xiao didn't do this, she wouldn't be able to control those people. If he hadn't been pushed into a corner, it wouldn't have happened. Now, she is no longer the emperor, and she no longer has to shoulder the mission of reviving the country. She relaxed completely. If it were me, I would have died long ago. Liuan nodded thoughtfully, then grabbed her hand, hugged her in his arms, and stroked her back without any distractions. Those sufferings will never happen again. Luo Bing's body stiffened, and then she collapsed completely. She leaned in Liuan's arms, feeling his heartbeat and pulse, her head dizzy. At this moment, she thought of her dead child and regained consciousness with her last bit of strength. She gently pushed Liuan away and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty, for your enlightenment." Liuan sighed softly, "I feel much better now, go down and rest. I'm leaving now." Luo Bing fled away. Who would have thought that he almost got himself fired, just by saying something nice for Xiaoji and Jia? She secretly warned herself not to go beyond the line, because once she did, it would be too late to take it back. The next morning, Xiaoji and Jia got up dragging her tired body. She had hardly slept the whole night. Just as I was about to go out, Xiaoyu came over. "Sis, why are you going so early? Why are you here?" Xiaoji and Jia frowned. She really didn't want to see Xiaoyu, so as to avoid Luyuan thinking too much. She knew better than anyone what was going on in these people's minds. Xiaoyu said worriedly, "It has been spreading all over the palace these past 2 days. I was worried, so I came to see you. You can see it too. I'm fine. I'll go to work if nothing happens," Xiaoji and Jia said. "Sister, can you use your brain?" Xiaoyu walked up to her coldly and blocked her way. "Do you know that if you do this it will affect me?" "How did I affect you?" "No matter what you say, you were the emperor of Daqian before, and now you are the concubine of Dai. Your improper behavior not only brings shame to Daqian, but also to me, your sister." Xiaoyu said coldly, "It was fine to have a child before marriage, but now that you are a mother, you still want to show your face in public. Can you have some moral integrity?" Chapter 346 Complaint. "What did you say?" "I say, can you please have some moral integrity and stay in the palace honestly and not go out and show your face in public? What other good woman is out there like you?" Xiaoyu sneered. "If it weren't for you, would His Majesty have stayed away from me for so long?" Since she entered the palace, Liyuan has never set foot near her. I thought it was her problem, but now it seems that the problem lies with Xiaoji and Jia. "What I do has nothing to do with you, just take care of yourself." Xiaoji and Jia pushed her aside coldly. "Also, don't come to me next time, I don't welcome you. You are such an unfaithful bitch, you have brought shame to the Daqian royal family." Bang! Before she could finish her words, she was interrupted by a slap from Xiaoji and Jia. She covered her face, the pain in her cheek made her stunned. You! This slap is to tell you that you should be polite." Xiaoji and Jia slapped her again with her backhand. "This slap is to tell you that you should be virtuous." "How dare you, a Xiaoyi, challenge me? Do you know what respect and inferiority mean?" It is true that she is no longer the emperor, but she is not someone that anyone can mess with. The slaps made Xiao Yu's face swell up. You bitch. I'm going to fight you. Xiao Yu was furious and was about to rush over with her teeth bared. Xiao Jianjia dodged and then kicked her into the pool beside her. Whop! Xiao Yu fell into the water and kept struggling. Help, save me. A trace of disdain flashed across Xiao Jianjia's eyes. The water hasn't even reached your knees. It won't drown you if you really die. It's your good fortune. Xiao Yu struggled for a while and then stopped, but her clothes were soaked and her makeup was smudged. She climbed out of the water trembling. A gust of cold wind blew and almost froze her to death. Xiao Jianjia, you are so cruel. You actually wanted to drown me. I must report you to His Majesty. Please. Xiao Jianjia left without looking back. She was very upset to encounter such a thing so early in the morning. If it was anyone else it would be fine, but it had to be Xiao Yu. This also made Xiao Jianjia more determined to stay away from the Xiao clan. If you have anything to do with them, you won't know how you died. Xiao Yu was so angry that she wrapped herself in a cloak and went to find Li Yuan in her wet clothes. Xiao Yi. His Majesty is exercising. If you have anything else to say, just tell me. Get out of here. Xiao Yu pushed away the eunuchs guarding there, and before she saw Li Yuan, she howled, Your Majesty. Please make the decision for me. Li Yuan was shirtless, holding a stone block weighing hundreds of pounds in his hand, and smoke was billowing from his body. Seeing Xiao Yu coming, he frowned and put down the stone block. Wu Sun hurriedly handed over a dried owl to wipe Li Yuan's body, and then hurriedly put a cloak on Li Yuan. Who are you? Who asked you to come here so early in the morning? Li Yuan was too busy on weekdays and had only met Xiao Yu once for a moment. He couldn't remember who she was. Xiao Yu was also stunned, and cried, Your Majesty. I am Xiao Yu. This morning, I went to visit my sister, but I didn't expect that my sister first spoke harshly to me, slapped me twice and then kicked me into the pool, trying to drown me. Li Yuan was stunned. And then Duan quickly walked to Li Yuan and whispered a few words. Li Yuan and whispered a few words. Li Yuan and realized what had happened. Why did you go to provoke her so early in the morning? I didn't provoke her. I went to visit her with some things. Based on Li Yuan's understanding of Xiao Jianjia, she would never have taken action unless this woman had annoyed her. Okay. Change your clothes first. I'll ask her when she comes back. Li Yuan didn't have the heart to exercise anymore. He wrapped his cloak tightly and went to wash up. Xiao Yu was stunned she was in such a state, and Li Yuan just sent her away with just one sentence? She hurriedly followed him in. It was warm as spring inside the palace. Li Yuan entered the hot spring pool. Xiao Yu also plucked up the courage, took off her clothes and walked in. She couldn't help but shudder when stimulated by the hot water. Your Majesty, I? Li Yuan glanced at her coldly. Who asked you to come down? Your Majesty, I? Xiao Yu was dumbfounded. She came here to serve him, and yet he was still not satisfied. Get out next time you have something to do. You must follow the rules. There are people in the harem. Just find whoever is in charge of the area you live in, and I will naturally know. Li Yuan said coldly. Although Day had no queen, it had 4 concubines. Xiao Jianjia is not in charge of things. So Li Wuyu, Xianing and Luobing are in charge of management. Reporting across levels is taboo at any time. The management of the harem must be stricter. Otherwise, those women will cause chaos. Your Majesty, I am cold. Xiao Yu said pitifully, but her makeup was all smudged and she looked like a ghost, which made Li Yuan almost impotent. Get out. Li Yuan could hardly suppress his anger. Xiao Yu was so frightened that she trembled all over and crawled out of the pool. She picked up her wet clothes and put them on. When Xiao Yu returned to her yard, she was so angry that she smashed things. Why do you treat me like this? I'm obviously the victim. The attendants wanted to be cautious. But Xiao Yu had a strange personality and the princess was very pretentious, so life was not easy for servants like them. But before Xiao Yu could vent her anger, Xianing arrived. Seeing Xianing, the people in the courtyard quickly knelt down and saluted. Greetings to Her Majesty concubine Xia. Xianing nodded and looked at the mess on the ground. What troubles have happened to my sister that makes her so angry? Xiao Yu was also startled and hurried over to greet her. Little sister greets big sister. In front of Xiao Jianjia. She dared to make sarcastic remarks, but she didn't dare to do that in front of Xianing. Not to mention, Xianing is the 4th concubine and the eldest princess of Dajing. Her status is not comparable to hers. Xianing walked to the middle of the hall and sat in the main seat, with Xiao Yu following closely behind. You are all blind. Why don't you come over and serve tea? Xiao Yu scolded. The servant then reacted. Xianing raised her hand to stop them. Looking at Xiao Yu with a half smile. I don't want them to serve me tea, I want you to serve me tea. Xiao Yu's face froze. But she didn't dare to disobey and hurriedly poured tea for Xianing. Looking at Xiao Yu who was trying to please him, Xianing drank her tea and said slowly, I heard that my sister went to complain to His Majesty today. Xiao Yu was shocked and quickly exaggerated what happened in the morning. Sister, I was just so angry that I went to find His Majesty without you, please calm down. Sister. Xi Yining chuckled and then poured the scalding hot tea on Xiao Yu, who screamed in pain. However, Xi Yining knew her limits and did not pour the tea on her face, in order to avoid disfiguring her appearance and causing Liu Yuan to blame her. I'm sorry, sister. My hand slipped and I couldn't hold the cup steady. Could you please pour me another cup? Chapter 347. You don't admit your mistake. You're just afraid. Xi Yining has a pure and harmless face. At this moment, in Xiao Yu's eyes, he was like a devil. But she didn't dare to disobey, and hurriedly poured Xi Yining a cup of tea. Sister, please have some tea. Come here. Xi Yining picked up the tea. Xiao Yu thought she was going to splash her face, so she shook her head subconsciously, suppressing her fear and saying, Sister, if you have anything to say, is it not okay to say it this way? Xi Yining said calmly. You are a princess after all, how come you don't even know the basic rules of hierarchy? No wonder she is only a concubine after marrying in, and cannot even be favored by His Majesty. She has no brains and no shame. And he looked in front of Xiao Yu and said, You have no figure, not to mention His Majesty. Even a beggar would not be interested in you after seeing this horrible look. The corner of Xiao Yu's mouth twitched. She was filled with resentment, but she dared not show it. She forced a smile and said, Sister is teaching me that I am ignorant. I will need your guidance in the future. Xi Yining sneered. And then two old maids came quickly from a distance. One grabbed Xiao Yu's ear, and the other kicked her leg. Plop! Xiao Yu fell to her knees, her ears feeling as if they were being torn apart. Sister, I was wrong. You ignorant thing. The queen asked you to possess her and you dare not do as she asked? If your ears don't listen to me, I'll tear them off. The nanny grimaced but didn't dare to kill her. If she really pulled her ears off and disfigured her, it would be quite troublesome. Xiao Yu was in so much pain that she could only cry. Her anger was so great that it could not be increased. Sister, we are all women. Why do you have to embarrass women? Do you know that I will always be Xiao Yi? Xi Yining drank tea and said calmly, Of course you are not Xiao Yi. I have discussed this with Sister Wu. You have provoked conflicts among the concubines in the harem without authorization, and you have gone to His Majesty without authorization, disregarding the rules of the harem. Now he refuses to repent. His crime is 3 times more serious. Do you know that I am responsible for this? You don't even give me face. And you still dare to threaten me? Xiao Yu awoke with a start. She was filled with remorse and knelt in front of Xi Yining. Sister, I know I was wrong, please spare me. Too late. Xi Yining said coldly. According to the harem clockwork, I will exercise my power and intend to demote Xiao Yu to a close changer. Director Wu will report this to His Majesty after His Majesty stamps his seal. A notice will be posted and sent to all the harems. Sister, please don't. I know I was wrong. Please give me a chance. Xiao Yu burst into tears. From a Xiao Yi of the second rank to a lowest ranking dresser, she would never be able to make a name for herself in her life. Judging from His Majesty's attitude towards her today, I'm afraid he will never visit her in this lifetime. Since she was not favored and loved and could not give birth to children, the rest of her life would be extremely miserable. She hugged Xi Yining's legs, trembling with fear. Sister, please spare me. I won't dare to do that again from now on. If you say east, I will never go west. I will follow your lead. Xi Yining shook his head. You are wrong. You don't need to follow my lead. There are no cliques in the harem. A day harem adopts a semi-militarized management system, and even the palace maids have to make progress and take the postgraduate entrance examination. This woman's mind is full of forming cliques and palace intrigues. Sooner or later, she will get herself killed. She gestured, and Mammy hastily pulled her away. Xi Yining brushed off the dust on her skirt and said, You don't know you're wrong, you're just afraid. In order to make you realize your mistake from now on, you will go to serve Sister Ji and Jia, and come back when Sister Ji and Jia calms down. From today on, I will take back your palace maid. When the time comes, I will see how you perform and decide on your decision. Xiao Yu was completely dumbfounded. If he went to serve Xiao Ji and Jia, wouldn't that be the same as Li Baiyu? She had secretly laughed at Li Baiyu for being stupid before. In the blink of an eye, I went to keep her company. Looking at Xi Yining's back, she sat on the ground in a daze. After a long while, she got up from the ground. It's okay, I will get up from where I fell. I must turn over. I will pay back today's revenge 100fold in the future. Xiao Ji and Jia was in particularly good shape today. Walking with a breeze, even the wounded said that she looked very healthy, and some even boldly joked that she was a woman who was nourished by her husband. Go away. Stop talking nonsense. You are going to take the postgraduate entrance examination, right? Xiao Ji and Jia put the pen back into her coat pocket and said, You can be discharged tomorrow. I don't want to see you in the hospital next time. Thank you, Director Xiao. For treating us we will always remember your kindness. The injured in the ward also bowed to express their gratitude. Xiao Jianjia likes to watch the wounded being healed by her, and then discharged from the hospital in good health. After checking the ward, she saw a familiar figure and immediately frowned. She wanted to leave, but the man saw her and walked away quickly. Xiao, Director Xiao, please stay. Xiao Jianjia had no choice but to stop and look at Xiao Chai. She felt a little bad. She was grateful to Xiao Chai but also angry at his concealment. Because he was also involved in the plot against himself. Is there something? Xiao Jianjia asked expressionlessly. Xiao Chai smiled and said, Director Xiao, I'm not feeling well. Can you give me some treatment? I've already made an appointment with you. After all, he was the Minister of Rights. He showed his identity card and was approved. Looking at the bill in Xiao Chi's hand, Xiao Jianjia said calmly, come to the office. She went not to the office upstairs, but to the consultation room downstairs. After what happened last time, she became cautious and didn't want to have anything to do with anyone from the Xiao family. Even if this person is Xiao Kai. Thank you, Director Xiao. Xiao Kai bowed and followed her. What's wrong? Xiao Chai smiled bitterly. I'm sorry to have caused you trouble with Xiao Hong's matter. It's all over. Xiao Jianjia stretched out her hand and took Xiao Cai's pulse. Xiao Chai sighed. I know I hid some things from you, but at that time, you were not the emperor yet. I am also in a dilemma. If I tell you, you will inevitably feel hurt. And it will make me look like a defaced, treacherous minister. Later on, I was determined to die. I know that perhaps there is no hope for the revival of Dakian. Thinking that even if I die. Xiao Jianjia frowned. You are considering accompanying me to face the national crisis together, which can be regarded as your loyalty. You think that Xiao Hong and others are still alive, and at least the Xiao family's incense has not been extinguished. You could have reminded me afterwards so that I wouldn't be in such a passive position. You put me on the throne and never considered my feelings. I was like a fool, thinking that I was blessed by heaven every day when I opened my eyes. I was working to revive the Dakian Empire. Every day when I closed my eyes, I was working to revive the Dakian Empire. What you did made me feel like an idiot. You did this not because you felt sorry for me, but because I, Xiao Jianjia, am the easiest to bully. Chapter 348. End of Friendship. Xiao Jianjia was upset. She thought about this matter over and over again for several nights and finally figured it out. It was as if, when she cleaned out the eunuch party, Xiao Chai did not remind himself that the eunuch party was a knife that checked the new party. He helped the newcomers to commit atrocities and was still complacent about it. Isn't it because she is the easiest to deceive? When they were doing this without telling me, they had already thought about the consequences. Xiao Chai's eyes were filled with shame, and he said with utter shame, damn it, I messed up everything. Or, just don't let me know they are like maggots popping up. So disgusting, Xiao Jianjia said calmly. You know better than me where those rumors came from. They just made up rumors about me because I don't want to have any contact with that. It may not be them. Who is that? Xiao Jianjia asked back. I've been in Day for such a long time. And this rumor didn't come earlier or later, but at this time. If it was an enemy country, it would have hurt Li Yuan even more seriously if it had been mentioned when he ascended the throne. Now, it's clearly coming towards me. If Li Yuan had been a little more petty, my fate would have been extremely miserable. How do you want me to prove that Huan is his child? Blood test to identify relatives? A science journal has long proven that it is false. Even if I drain all the child's blood, it still can't prove it. Ordinary people couldn't accept it, let alone that he was the supreme emperor of Day. How vicious must those people be to do such a thing? This is going to kill both us, mother and daughter. Xiao Jianjia felt a chill in her heart. Who did I block to deserve such treatment? When I was a princess, no one respected me. When I became an emperor, everyone lied to me. Even after all this, you still want to push your luck. Do I have to die so that you can be happy? Xiao Chai lowered his head. I just think that there is strength in numbers. You are alone in the palace with no one to help you. That's enough. They just want to influence Li Yuan through me. In fact, with Li Yuan, they can return to Bianjing without any effort and enjoy their wealth and glory. If they don't leave, they can also become royal relatives and act as they please in Liangjing. What do I need them to help with? They don't come to harm me. I live more comfortably than anyone else. Xiao Jianjia pulled back her hand, suppressed the anger in her heart and said, when you go back, tell me that from now on, I, Xiao Jianjia, will not have anything to do with the Xiao family. Whether I live or die in the future has nothing to do with them. If you dare to provoke me again in the future, I will show no mercy. That's all I have to say. Take care of yourself. Also, you are in good health. Just take care of yourself and rest. Walk slowly. I won't see you off. When she looked up, the anger on Xiao Jianjia's face had disappeared. Xiao Chai was stunned for a moment. I was wrong. I will take your words to heart from now on. I don't need to bear those things anymore. From now on, live a good life? He stood up and bowed to Xiao Jianjia with an extremely complicated look in his eyes. Not to mention a woman. Even a man, after knowing all this, would probably not be as tough as her. After Xiao Kai left, Xiao Jianjia felt relieved. From now on, she would never live for anyone again. She just wants to be an ordinary woman and live an ordinary life. After get off work, Xiao Jianjia returned to the palace, feeling a little uneasy. She had beaten Xiaoyu during the day and didn't know what would happen. But what she didn't expect was that as soon as she returned to her own little courtyard, Xiaoyu knelt down at her feet, crying, "Sister, I was wrong, I won't dare to do it again. If you still have anger in your heart, just scold me and beat me up." Xiao Jianjia looked down at Xiaoyu, who was crying, and stepped aside. "I can't accept your gift. Sister, I was blinded by greed during the day and said those words. I'm such a bad mouth." Xiaoyu slapped herself on the face, making popping sounds. "You all saw it, she did it herself, it has nothing to do with me." Xiao Jianjia said, "It's incomprehensible," and walked in without looking back. Seeing that Xiao Jianjia was indifferent, Xiaoyu gritted her teeth, quickly chased after her, hugged her thighs, and cried even harder, "Sister, although you and I are not from the same mother, we are blood relatives, and even if our bones are broken, our tendons are still connected. My sister knows she was wrong and will never do it again." "Chen Jin," Xiao Jianjia pushed her face away and said, "If an apology is useful, what is the point of the government? Don't come to my place anymore, you are not welcome. We will keep our distance from each other in the future, and I don't want to have anything to do with you." Xiaoyu was filled with hatred in her heart. This bitch deliberately wanted to humiliate her, but she didn't dare to show it at all. If Xiao Jianjia doesn't forgive her, there's no point in her dying here. However, Xiao Jianjia closed the door, and she did not dare to rush in. She just knelt outside. Her face was frozen by the ice and snow. Xiao Jianjia asked the palace maid, "What's wrong with her?" After the palace maid explained it to Xiao Jianjia, she finally understood why Xiaoyu was so humble, and she couldn't help but find it funny. "I was a little nervous at first, but now I feel much better." She took a shower, changed her clothes, thought about it, and took out her favorite set from the closet. She, who never liked to dress up, now put on facial cream and even rouge on her lips. "Your Majesty, you are so beautiful." The maids were stunned. Xiao Jianjia looked at herself in the mirror and blushed inexplicably. "I wonder if that bastard will look at me twice." She pushed the door open and walked out without even looking at Xiaoyu. "Sister, I'm cold." "If you're cold, oh, back to the palace, no one's stopping you," Xiao Jianjia replied from a distance. "Mitch. Or, you shall die a horrible death." Xiaoyu was so cold that she couldn't stand it anymore and wanted to get up, but if she got up, wouldn't her kneeling be in vain? "Okay, if you have the guts, let me kneel and die here, so that everyone can see your cold and mean character. I don't believe that His Majesty won't hate you if he knows about it." Xiaoyu thought so, rubbed his stiff hands, and kept blowing air on them. When Xiao Jianji arrived at Huan Huan's yard, before she even entered the door, she heard the little girl playing with Lu Yuan. At the door, Ma Sanbao was delighted to see Xiao Jianjia coming. "Your Majesty is playing with the princess." Xiao Jianjia nodded and walked in. "Why are you here so early today? Aren't you busy? The new year is coming soon. I have finished all the work that needs to be done. All the meetings and reports that need to be made have also been sorted out. I can have a good rest in the next few days," Lu Yuan said. Xiao Jianjia nodded and sat down next to Lu Yuan calmly. "Thank you for what happened today. What's up? Xiaoyu's matter?" "Oh," Lu Yuan nodded, looking nonchalant. "She doesn't know the rules, she's not venting her anger for you. Don't think too much about it." Xiao Jianjia had just mustered up the courage to hug Lu Yuan's arm, but when she heard this, her teeth were about to break. "It doesn't matter if you don't say the rest of your words." Chapter 349, Lu's Arrival. "Of course I have to tell you so you don't think too much. Lu Yuan, you're so irritating, why didn't I see it before?" Xiao Jianjia said angrily. She felt that her new clothes and makeup were all in vain. "I've always been like this," Lu Yuan said. "You can understand this as exposing my true nature. Do I have to wear a mask every day? That would be so tiring," Xiao Jianjia said. Lu Yuan glanced at her sideways, which gave him an illusion he couldn't help but look at her twice more and said nonchalantly, "New clothes, why haven't I seen you wear them before? It's old and I've worn it many times. You just didn't notice it." "Oh, it doesn't look good, so I'm not impressed." Lu Yuan curled his lips. Xiao Jianjia's fists hardened. "I will wear it next time." "You're wearing makeup." "No," Xiao Jianjia stared at him, and was secretly delighted in her heart this bastard had indeed discovered it. "I still like you without makeup. It looks like this." "Doesn't it look good?" Xiao Jianjia asked expectantly. Lu Yuan groaned. "It's okay, just so." Xiao Jianjia almost vomited blood. The clothes she carefully selected did not look good. She hadn't worn makeup for 800 years, but for the first time ever she put on makeup, but she didn't get a single good word from Lu Yuan. She suddenly felt a little aggrieved and wanted to say she would not put on makeup anymore, but then she changed her mind and said, "Then I will put on makeup every day from now on." Li Yuan quickly retracted his days. "You work outside every day, why do you need to put on such beautiful makeup?" Xiao Ji and Jia snorted, "No one will see me putting on makeup. So I can only put it on for others to see." "Whatever. Li Yuan, I want to bite you to death." Xiao Ji and Jia was so angry that her teeth were itching. "I remember you were not born in the year of the dog. I can't bear it any longer." Xiao Ji and Jia pounced on him angrily. Li Yuan was caught off guard and fell to the ground. When their eyes met, they were both stunned. Looking at Li Yuan's face that looked like it had been cut by a knife or an axe, Xiao Ji and Jia gritted her teeth and bit down directly. Huan, who was playing with clay, covered his eyes quickly after seeing this. Ma Sanbao walked over quickly and picked up Huan. "Little ancestor, let's go." "It hurts, it hurts." The pain on his face made Li Yuan gasp. "Xiao Ji and Jia. You tiger woman, do you want to bite me to death?" Xiao Ji and Jia let go, looked at the saliva and teeth marks on Li Yuan's face, and said arrogantly, "If you have the guts, bite it back." "If a dog bites me, will I bite the dog back?" Li Yuan asked back. "I'll bite you to death." Xiao Ji and Jia originally wanted to slowly let Li Yuan feel her sincerity, but now, she just wanted to bite this bastard to death. As she said that, she bit Li Yuan's other cheek again. "Iger girl, if you don't let go, I'm going to attack you. Come on, hit me." Xiao Ji and Jia let go and said provocatively. Li Yuan grabbed her collar and lifted her off him like a chicken, and turned over and pressed her hands tightly on her head, then touched her face and said, "Look, this is all your saliva. Saliva has a disinfecting effect. Haven, tu read Day Medical Journal?" Li Yuan was so angry that his nose was crooked he turned her over and said, "Iger woman. Pain." Xiao Ji and Jia lay on the ground, feeling pain from behind. "Are you going to bite me?" "Bite." Li Yuan was also furious, and his attacks became increasingly severe. But Xiao Ji and Jia refused to give in and refused to bow her head no matter what. Li Yuan also felt that he had hit her too hard, so he turned her over like a flipping fish, and found that this woman's cheeks were red and there were tears in her eyes. He pretended to be fierce and said, "Next time you bite me, I will beat you out of the hanging door." "Beat me, I owe you this. Beat me to death and that's it." Li Yuan pinched her face. That smooth and tender face softened as he loosened his hand, walked to the mirror, and screamed, "How can I face people with such obvious teeth marks? If my officials see it, won't they laugh me to death?" Seeing Li Yuan like this, Xiao Ji and Jia couldn't help but laugh. "Just say you fell." Li Yuan glared at her fiercely. "If it happens again, What do you want?" Xiao Ji and Jia walked up to him. "Are you going to hang me up or beat me to death?" Li Yuan brushed away that unbelievably beautiful face and said, "I will draw a turtle on your face and make you stare at the turtle while you go to work. A woman's face is a man's face when I go out. It's your face that's embarrassing. If you don't feel embarrassed, then why should I be afraid?" Li Yuan was so angry that he laughed. "Why didn't I see before that you were so eloquent? I guess your cold and stern appearance before was all fake." "Yeah, I don't wear a mask now. Are you not used to it?" Xiao Ji and Jia came closer. Li Yuan was so angry that he stretched out his hand and pinched her cheek fiercely, then walked out quickly. "I won't go to dinner today. You take Huan to dinner. My mother and the others are waiting for you. If you ask me, I will say, I have eaten it." After saying that, Xiao Ji and Jia's wild laughter was heard, making Li Yuan so angry that his teeth itched. This tiger woman really had the guts to bite. What will happen if this continues? I must go to Li Wuyu to consolidate my Taoism. In the blink of an eye. It's New Year's Eve. Early in the morning, he went to the Taimao with Lao Lu to worship their ancestors, but he ordered that the court officials were not allowed to enter the palace to worship, but were asked to rest well at home. The palace was decorated with lights, and even the laborers were given a day off. There was also an extra meat dish on the menu and a new set of clothes. Li Yuan did not want to exploit these laborers to death. These people were the key to exempting them from corvée labor. So, he even established labor hospitals and labor schools. Give those workers who are willing to make progress a chance to be human beings. Li Yuan also sent his blessings to the people of the city through the radio. After all the busy work, it was already afternoon. But before Li Yuan could catch his breath, Duan came in hurriedly. "Your Majesty, the Lu family has arrived outside the city." After much anticipation, the Lu clan finally arrived. Li Yuan hurriedly called Lu Qiushan over and went outside the city to greet him. Firstly, he didn't want to cause gossip, lest they think that the Lu father and son had become rich and looked down on their fellow clansmen. Secondly, Li Yuan also wanted to see what kind of people these people were. A Lu family is not a prominent family, but they were wealthy a few hundred years ago. Later, due to the change of dynasties, it gradually declined. But the entire Lu family has 2,000-3,000 people. This is definitely a big clan. If there is a fight for hegemony, these people will be the biggest help. And Li Yuan knew very well that accepting the Lu family was only a temporary compromise. It also sends a signal to the whole world to stabilize the local area. Dad, don't be too excited, Lu Yuan said. Lu Qiushan smoked a cigarette and said, if you don't return home in brocade clothes, it's like walking in brocade clothes at night. Who can resist the temptation of opening the family tree? Chapter 350, The Stubborn Old Man. At this time, outside the city, a large group of Lu family members were waiting outside. Second uncle, will Brother Qiushan come? Asked a middle-aged scholar. How dare you? He is the Emperor Emeritus. The octogenarian in the lead paused with his cane and looked at the people behind him. Listen carefully, this is day. Not Kion. When you see the Emperor Emeritus, you must kneel down and pay your respects. Anyone who dares to be impolite will be punished according to the clan law. All the Lu clan members nodded in agreement. We walked 2 or 3,000 miles and spent several months sleeping in the open air. Plus, the climate in the north is cold. So it's inevitable that some people would complain. Lu Xuanwen nodded. From the devastation of the north to the prosperity of the center of day, he was extremely excited. The Lu family had been in decline for hundreds of years, and finally a figure like Lu Qiushan emerged. Everyone thought it was the beginning of the Lu family's rise, but they almost brought ruin to the Lu family's rise. Now, Li Yuan has established making the Lu family the strongest clan in the world. Even if he dies, he will have the face to meet his ancestors. The people behind him were also a little nervous, as if a poor relative had met a rich relative, but this relative had become extremely wealthy. While they were envious, they couldn't help but feel proud of him. Just then, Lu Qiushan and Li Yuan arrived. Your Majesty, the Emperor has arrived. Kneel to welcome him, the guards shouted. Crash. All the soldiers clasped their fists and knelt on one knee. Your Majesty, the Emperor. On the carriage, Li Yuan helped Lu Qiushan get off the carriage. Stand up, everyone stand up. When Lu Xuanwen saw the two men in black and red dragon robes, he was also very excited. I am here to see your Majesty. Behind him, 2 or 3,000 members of the Lu clan also knelt on the ground, but each of them could not suppress their curiosity and looked at the two most promising father and son of the Lu clan. Uncle, get up quickly. Lu Qiushan also trotted over and hurriedly helped Lu Xuanwen up from the ground. Aren't you embarrassing me? Your Majesty, etiquette cannot be abolished. Lu Xuanwen was determined to give Lu Qiushan a great gift. Was so excited that even tears welled up in his eyes. Kishui, Kishu. QIM and all of you hurry up and get up. Lu Qiushan was also excited when he looked at his brothers in the clan. Children, the ground is cold, hurry up and get up. You are home now. From now on, you don't have to live a life of displacement anymore. Thank you, Your Majesty. Hearing this, everyone wanted to cry for no reason. The Lu family had not had a good life in recent years. The words "I'm going home" made many people burst into tears. Li Yuan didn't have much affection for these people, but seeing this scene, he couldn't help but sigh and said, get up quickly, it's cold outside. Follow us into the city. I have prepared a house, new clothes, new shoes, steaming ginger tea and a reunion dinner for you. Thank you, Your Majesty. Everyone shouted again. Uncle, this is Shuoan, the one you held in your arms when you were a child, Lu Qiushan said while pulling Lu Xuanwen. Lu Xuanwen looked at Lu Yuan and nodded continuously. Okay, great, my Lu family has produced a true dragon. Li Yuan also bowed. Hello, second uncle. I dare not accept it. Lu Xuanwen quickly stepped aside and said sternly, you are the Emperor of Day, how can you bow to me? Li Yuan smiled and said, today, there is no emperor, only family members. Lu Xuanwen nodded excitedly, holding Lu Qiushan's hand, and said with tears in his eyes, over the years, our Lu family has been torn apart and our clansmen have suffered humiliation. Now it's good, no one will dare to bully us anymore. Lu Qiushan patted the back of his hand and said, second uncle, don't say anything now that we have come to Liangjing. This will be the ancestral land of our Lu family in the future. My Lu family's sons and daughters. Follow me into the city. Thank you, Your Majesty. Lu Qiushan pulled Lu Xuanwen into the carriage. The carriage was warm as spring, and through the bright glass he could see the streets of Liangjing. I thought Biaoyang city was already prosperous enough, but I didn't expect that Liangjing's prosperity is more than 10 times better. This is all thanks to my son. I'm just sitting back and reaping the benefits, Lu Qiushan said with a smile. Lu Xuanwen nodded and said with some shame, Your Majesty, for so many years, you have been fighting alone in Biaoyang County, and our clan has not helped you at all. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Besides, the old man has an unwelcome request. Uncle, stop talking like that. You don't know anything either. After knowing the truth about the Lu family's migration, Li Yuan no longer bore it even ants try to survive, let alone a large clan with thousands of members. If the Lu family had been a little more stubborn, these 2 or 3,000 people would not have survived. Your Majesty and the Emperor are role models for my Lu family. After learning that Day had established a country, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep well all night. However, there is an old saying that goes, only by sharing adversity can we share wealth. No one from the Lu family has ever helped your majesty and the emperor. Let's not even mention the past just to talk about the founding of day. The Lu family did not contribute anything at all. I beg your majesty not to be too kind to Lu. Lu Xuanwen said sincerely, when the Lu family has established a firm foothold with its merits, I will reward you separately. Li Yuan looked at Lu Qiushan in surprise. He had not expected Lu Xuanwen's words and did not know how to answer for a moment. Second uncle, my mother died early and my father is in poor health. I have been studying and writing with you since I was a child. If it weren't for your dedicated cultivation, how could I, Lu Qiushan, be where I am today? Lu Qiushan said, if there were no cause yesterday, how could there be the result today? Lu Xuanwen said seriously. You have been smart and studious since you were young, and your achievements today are all due to your own efforts. I'm just a guide. You are a grateful person. And the old man is happy. But this kindness cannot be attributed entirely to the Lu family. As the saying goes, if the name is not right, the words will not flow, and if the words are not flowing, nothing will be accomplished. There are 260 people in the Lu tribe. If all of them are counted on you, it will be a huge pressure. We have not accomplished anything. But we have been living off the people's hard-earned money. When people mention us in the future, they will only look down on us. When I moved away, I was unable to take care of you and your son, and that is a knot in my heart that I cannot get over. If I still feel at ease enjoying all this at this moment, I will feel guilty. My ancestors would also poke my spine and call me, Lu Xuanwen, a piece of shit. At this point, Lu Xuanwen paused and said, when I came here, I had already made 3 rules with the tribesmen. The Lu clan is lucky enough to have a place to settle down in day. And we will never become a burden to you. Only when people are self-reliant and strong can they be respected by others. The Lu clan is not worthy of the title of royal family yet. At this point, he bowed again and said, Your Majesty, please forgive the old man's willfulness. Looking at this stubborn old man, Lu Qiushan was also filled with emotion. Second uncle, you haven't changed at all. Chapter 351 New Year's Eve. Li Yuan was also stunned and changed his opinion of Lu again. This old man was definitely not playing hard to get, but his words were sincere. In him, Li Yuan vaguely saw the figure of his father. His grandfather was bedridden for many years and it was impossible for him to educate his father. However, this old man, who was over 70 years old, opened a clan school and asked the whole clan to contribute money to support those helpless children. His father was one of the beneficiaries. Uncle, let's not talk about this for now. The day is New Year's Eve, the day for the whole family to reunite this year. We will celebrate together as a family. Lu Yuan smiled and said, there's an old saying that goes, if one person succeeds, everyone in the family will benefit. So you can put your mind at ease. Lu Xuanwen smiled and shook his head without saying anything. Lu Qiushan also changed the subject and introduced him to the streets of Liangjing. The gathering place of the Lu clan is located in the new city, next to the imperial palace. It's just a separate workshop. Compared with those royal relatives and royal clans, the Lu family's gathering place can only be considered ordinary. All of them are 3-story townhouses. There is a huge clan archway and gathering place in the middle of the market. It is also the Fang's High Square. Lu's ancestral hall. Looking at the magnificent archway, Lu Xuanwen was extremely excited. The Lu clan members also have unlimited expectations for the future. Someone will take you to the house. The house is simply decorated, but it has everything it needs. It has heating, new mattresses, and new clothes. After you wash up, go to the ancestral hall in the middle to gather, Li Yuan said with a loudspeaker in his hand. The Lu clan members were also very satisfied. And the house where Lu Xuanwen lives is also the best. Uncle, your house is a small villa with a separate entrance and a garden in front and back. Go in and see if you like it. Lu Qiushan took out a bunch of keys and handed them over. Then he said to Lu Xuanwen's sons, a house is designed for a family of 5. You brothers can discuss this house. Whoever wants to serve uncle can live here. Lu Qishui said hurriedly, I'm the eldest, I'll take care of dad. Brother, I'm here. The 3 brothers all rushed to grab it. Li Yuan also nodded secretly. Apart from anything else, the clan style of the Lu clan is still very good. These people did not rush to grab the good houses, but just waited for whoever was next in line to get one. Okay, stop fighting. Lu Xuanwen waved his hand. Boss, follow me. You guys go choose a house by yourselves. Remember, leave the good ones for others. Then he said to Lu Qiushan, they are all connected together. And I am the only one living alone. Isn't it too? Uncle, this is my intention. It has nothing to do with them. Lu Qiushan smiled. On the way here, you have seen that the houses in Liangjing are generally like this. There are no big houses. This villa is small, but it has all the functions. Lu Xuanwen nodded. In just a few years, such a large city can be built. If we build those big houses, how big a city would it take? Liu Yuan also laughed. This old patriarch was really insightful. No matter how good this building was, could it be better than a villa? No matter how good a villa is, can it be better than a manor? However, looking down on Liangjing from the sky, the entire Liangjing is actually no smaller than any of the three kingdoms, because the buildings are tall and the streets are wide, and there must be a community and supporting facilities within a district. In terms of area, it is larger than any of the three countries. However, the city of Liangkyoto is like building blocks, spreading outward bit by bit. And it was not built all at once. When Lu Xuanwen opened the door, what caught his eye was the marble floor tiles. The interior was bright, and all the furniture was available, as well as green plants. Even in the coldest days of winter, the house was warm as spring. Great, that's great. As long as you like it. I'm sorry to have cost you so much money. Building so many houses will cost a lot of money, said Lu Xuanwen. These were all built by the laborers, and the materials are not worth much. Li Yuan explained with a smile. Lu Xuanwen heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. By the time everyone had chosen a house and changed into new clothes, it was almost evening. Li Yuan has already set up an annual banquet in the ancestral hall. Everyone looked at the sumptuous meal on the table and drooled. But no one picked up their chopsticks. After Lu Qiushan and others were seated, he took his seat at Lu Xuanwen's reminder. Li Yuan raised his wine glass and said, after coming here, everything before is over. Day is a place full of infinite possibilities, but those who have talents can recommend themselves like second uncle. I will arrange an exam at that time, and those who pass it will be properly arranged. Day has many rules, which are different from Daqian, and it takes some time to adapt. Finally, Happy New Year. Li Yuan drank the wine in one gulp. This caused the crowd to applaud. This father and son are approachable and down to earth, and they treat their children very well. At this moment, all dissatisfaction disappeared, leaving only gratitude. Lu Qiushan was also stroking his beard with a smile on his face. When the Lu clan arrived, those clans dared not speak loudly. Nothing else. Someone is available in Lu Yuan. Anyone who dares to think highly of himself will be replaced in minutes. The father and son drank a few glasses of wine and left. The day is New Year's Eve, and they must stay in the palace. On the way back, Lu Qiushan leaned against the carriage. Smiling, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking of some strategies. Li Yuan was lying on his side, holding his head with one hand, and said lazily, looking back now, I was indeed too radical. Some things cannot be done in one go. Governing a big country is like cooking a small fish. Lu Qiushan said, Luz will be your best helper. The father and son looked at each other in silence. Inside the palace, Su Xiue prepared a reunion dinner. This time, Li Weiyu and Xi Aning also came, but the concubines below the four concubines could only eat outside, and they were not qualified to enjoy Su Xiue's cooking. Lu Qiushan and Su Xiue sat at the top, while Li Yuan sat on the left. Ji and Jia, take the child and sit next to Shuoan, Su Xiue said. Li Weiyu and Xi Ane sit at the bottom obediently. Lu Ling Zhi sighed, it would be nice if my second brother was here too. Su Xiue's eyes dimmed. Li Yuan said, it won't be long before Xiaoyang comes back, and then it will be the day for our family to reunite. Real? Lu Qiushan also cast an inquiring look. Yes, we have reached an agreement with Emperor Xia, and we will be back after the new year. Lu Yuan smiled. Don't worry, Xiaoyang will not be the only one coming back this time, your sister-in-law and your nephew will also be here. That's great. Su Xiue clasped her hands together, her face full of joy. Only a hint of worry flashed across Lu Qiushan's face. He knew very well that Emperor Xia would never let anyone go so easily. Li Yuan said it so easily, he must have paid a huge price to replace him. Chapter 352. Competition for Beauty. After the New Year's Eve dinner, the family watched the fireworks on the city wall. Li Yuan looked at his parents, then at Xiaoji and Jiu and others. Wan pointed at the fireworks in the distance in his arms and exclaimed. At this moment, happiness seems to materialize. When the fireworks faded, Lu Ling Zhi carried Huan away. These attendees were so close that they were like wearing the same pair of pants. Li Weiyu and Xi Aning looked at Lu Yuan eagerly. Xiaoji and Jia calmly took Lu Yuan's hand, as if swearing sovereignty, and whispered in Lu Yuan's ear, this is a part of respecting each other like guests. Li Yuan looked at her with a half smile, then said to the two girls, you two, follow me. Xiaoji and Jia raised an eyebrow, what do you mean? If you want to follow me, just follow me. Li Yuan did not explain and returned to the Palace of Tranquil Longevity, where he usually lived. Maybe because of the wine, Li Yuan was in a good mood. Yu, dance, Eninger, sing a song. As he spoke, he had the screen removed and got into the bathtub. Wo Bing also sighed softly, picked up the bath towel and went over to rub Li Yuan's back. Xi Yining was singing an opera, so Li Wuyu changed his clothes and started dancing. Li Yuan enjoyed the directness. Only Xiao Ji and Jia stood aside, feeling uneasy. She can neither dance nor sing. She made up her mind and wanted to help Li Yuan take a bath, but when she thought about how Li Yuan chased her away last time, she became hesitant. Oh whoa, Sister Whoa, let me do it. Oh Bing hesitated for a moment, then took off the bath towel with a smile. Your Majesty likes a little more force. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded and told herself that since she already had the answer, there was no need to be pretentious anymore. Li Yuan can be good to her, so I should be twice as good to him. Let me help you bathe. She squatted beside the bathtub, looking a little nervous. You can't do that, I still like Sister Luo to wipe it for me. Li Yuan lay on the edge of the bathtub, and Luo Bing hurriedly handed him a grape grown in a greenhouse. Your Majesty, everything has a process. You must give your Majesty a chance to grow. Li Yuan glanced at Xiao Ji and Jia and said nothing more. Luo Bing quickly gave a wink, and Xiao Ji and Jia took a deep breath and stretched out her hand. However, something seemed wrong as Xi Yining sang. Reaching out my hand to touch my sister's face, dark clouds flew halfway across the sky. My forehead was full of attics. This, what is this singing about? Xiao Ji and Jia blushed. Xi Yining's voice was so soft that not only a man but even she felt tingling in her heart when she heard it. Looking at Li Wuyu, his dancing posture changed completely. Xi Yining finished singing. Li Wuyu possessed a piece of fruit and brought it to Li Yuan's mouth. Xiao Ji and Jia exerted force suddenly, and Li Yuan cried out. It hurts, who told you to use so much force? Xiao Ji and Jia immediately put on an innocent expression. You like it to be stronger. Is yours bigger? You're using all your strength to suck milk. Li Yuan pushed her hand away in disgust. Don't wipe me anymore, Sister Luo. I forbid her to wipe my bath anymore. Luo Bing looked at Xiao Ji and Jia helplessly. I gave you a chance, but you are useless. Li Wuyu said, Your Majesty. May I serve you? Li Yuan nodded, then leaned back in the bathtub and closed his eyes to rest. Li Wuyu entered the water. Xi Yining couldn't help it. Your Majesty, Brother Eninger is coming too. Li Yuan raised his hand slightly, and Xi Yining understood and took off the restraints. This huge bathtub doesn't seem crowded at all even with 3 people in it. Xiao Ji and Jia blushed when she saw this. Luo Bing didn't dare to look the whole time, she just stared at the ceiling in a daze, but the voice in her ear made her feel weak all over. A tyrant. Xiao Ji and Jia clenched her fists, now she finally understood what Li Yuan meant. No, he did it on purpose. If I leave, it will be exactly what he wants. Xiao Ji and Jia thought so, and then mustered up the courage to say, I'll come too. Li Yuan opened his eyes and said, No thanks, the tub is too small to hold you. Am I a pig? Such a big position can't accommodate me? Xiao Ji and Jia said angrily. Li Wuyu and Xi Yining burst out laughing. This bastard was deliberately trying to piss her off. Don't come down, you are not allowed to get close to the bathtub from now on. Li Yuan looked at her warily. If you don't want to come closer, then don't come closer. Xiao Ji and Jia sat aside angrily, sticking out her chin. Staring at Li Yuan, wishing she could kill him with her eyes. After a while, Li Yuan stood up contentedly. The 2 women hurriedly took a bath towel and wrapped Li Yuan in it. Shameless, Xiao Ji and Jia couldn't help but say again. Luo Bing held her forehead with her hand. Empress Xiao, you're not going over? In a word, Xiao Ji and Jia was in trouble. Because at this time, the 3 of them had already gone to bed. Was she going to sit here and watch all night? After asking this question, Luo Bing took out a small notebook to take notes. Your Majesty, I have been doing some leg exercises recently, take a look at how they are. Li Wuyu showed it off generously. Li Yuan checked it and said, Not bad, the exercise is very good. Li Wuyu was also very happy to hear Li Yuan's praise, and then asked, Your Majesty, do you want to see my performance today? After hearing this, Xi Yining was unwilling to be outdone and said, Your Majesty, Brother Ning has been practicing hard recently. Don't you want to check Ninger's results? I can do the splits and bend my back. Li Yuan nodded, Don't worry. The night is still long, show them one by one. And he said to Luo Bing, Sister Luo, I'm going to bed, please drive everyone out. Luo Bing smiled bitterly and looked at the troubled Xiao Ji and Jia. Your Majesty, there are no outsiders here. Xiao Ji and Jia clenched her fists when she heard the words outsiders. She didn't know where she got the courage from. And rushed to the bedside. If they can do it, I can do it too. What has the big deal? Why are you being so sarcastic? But after she finished speaking, she felt like a deflated ball, feeling extremely guilty. Being alone is already the limit. Do I have to perform together with Li Wuyu and Xi Yining? Don't worry about her. Let's have our own fun. Li Yuan patted the 2 girls and pulled the bed curtains. It's getting late, go to bed early, tomorrow morning is 8 o'clock. Chapter 353. There must be something hateful about pitiful people. The bed curtain is just a layer of gauze, through which you can clearly see what's going on inside. Xiao Jianjia, a half-experienced person, recalled the year when she came of age. Wobing leaned against the pillar and wrote down. In the first year of Yi, on New Year's Eve, the person who slept with him. And I looked at Xiao Jianjia again. Luke Yuishan uses the name, Xianwu. However, Li Yuan directly used, years high, as his reign title. He did not like posthumous titles. Believing that there was a problem with posthumous titles such as sons discussing fathers and ministers discussing monarchs. Xiao Jianjia's face flushed, as if she was drunk at this moment. She even lost the ability to think, and subconsciously said, tomorrow is the first day of the Chinese New Year. I will rest. Behind the bed curtain, Li Wuyu and Xi Unning were both stunned, and looked at each other and tried their best. She didn't expect Li Yuan to be made queen, but if she was competing for favor, she couldn't just let Xiao Jianjia interfere. Whoever can conceive a dragon's seed at this time will be the hero of day. Go back, the bed is too small and I don't like crowds. Li Yuan ordered them to leave again. Hearing this, the courage that Xiao Jianjia had finally mustered was shattered. Li Yuan saw clearly how panic-stricken she was. For some reason, Xiao Jianjia's tears suddenly flowed out. She quickly turned her back and looked up. He put his hands on his hips and took deep breaths. Only now did she understand that belated affection was lighter than grass. Li Yuan, like all men, is lustful. But he will like women he is interested in. Even if she gave it to him for free now, Li Yuan wouldn't want it. Xiao Jianjia glanced at Wobing. Wobing also shook her head helplessly and whispered, Empress Xiao, please go back. Xiao Jianjia nodded mechanically and fled from the bedroom stung by the cold wind. She could no longer hold back and began to sob. She wiped her tears as she walked, and when she reached her yard, she had stopped crying. The conflict with Li Yuan has a long history and cannot be resolved in just a few days. After all, she hurt Li Yuan too deeply. She also didn't think that Li Yuan was taking revenge on her. If you really want to take revenge on her, you should not allow her to leave the palace to work, nor allow her to see her children. Just lock her up in the yard and make her a bird in a cage. On the other side, Li Yuan looked at the two women who had fallen asleep and quietly got out of bed. He drank the ginseng soup handed to him by Wobing out of habit. Sister Awo, go to bed early. Wobing nodded, and before leaving, she couldn't help but say, she cried so hard just now, she cried all the way back home. Li Yuan shrugged and said calmly, there must be something hateful about pitiful people. Wobing knew in her heart that the conflict between these two people would not be resolved by just one of them admitting their mistake. The deeper the love, the deeper the hatred. The more you cared at the beginning, the more determined you are now. I will take my leave. After Wobing left, Li Yuan was not sleepy. Yuan happened to hand him an urgent intelligence. Your Majesty, this is an urgent report from Diaxia. Li Yuan put on a cloak to cover his muscular upper body, took the intelligence and started reading it. He couldn't help but sneer. It's New Year's Day, and you won't let me sleep well. The urgent report said that the Xiongnu and Diaxia had established diplomatic relations. The most interesting thing was that Diaxia had signed a secret agreement with Dajing, and this secret agreement was Dajing, and this secret agreement was even more interesting. In the future, Diaxia will provide weapons support to Dajing, including but not limited to muskets and gunpowder. In other words, Diaxia not only cracked the problem of gunpowder, but also possessed muskets and even cannons. As early as 2 months ago, Diaxia reformed and almost copied Day's system. At that time, Diaxia really made Li Yuan alert. So far, Diaxia is still the largest country in Middle-earth with such a huge size. It is easy to reform if it succeeds. The power that will be unleashed is unimaginable. Diaxia's operation of using Li Yuan to change the cement formula awakened Li Yuan, and he had to speed up his actions. He even wondered whether Diaxia would also provide the Huns with gunpowder. If this is true, 5 million cavalrymen will be an epic reinforcement. These people have forgotten their roots and colluded with foreign enemies. They are ready to die. Li Yuan tapped his fingers on the table and said, find a way to deepen their cooperation. Yes, Your Majesty. On the other side, Li Jing. Inside Prince Yi's mansion, Li Yuan got dressed in Qiao Shaoyang and waited until late at night. Li Qian's belly was already showing. She was wearing ordinary women's clothes and had taken off all her hair accessories. Are you sure we can get out? Li Yuan didn't know how many times he had asked this. Before daybreak, the people who collect swill will come from the back door, then we can hide in the swill bucket and leave the city. Now is a happy occasion, and the city defense control is not as strict as before. I have property outside the city, and someone will pick us up when the time comes. We should hurry along the way without stopping, and we will be able to leave within 20 days. If we disappear, they will definitely go crazy looking for us. Li Yuan glanced at Li Qianzhen's belly. He didn't care. But could Li Qianzhen withstand the running around? In fact, not only Li Qianzhen, but his 2 concubines were also pregnant. But Lu Yang could no longer care about that. Tomorrow, your father will definitely send someone over. Let's follow the smuggling caravan. These people are very powerful and those people won't dare to make things difficult for them, Li Yanzhen said. Lu Yang looked at Li Yanzhen. How do you know this? Because I also have a smuggling business, which nobleman in the capital doesn't do smuggling business. Before the war with Day, when the borders were closed, didn't someone risk the execution of his entire clan to send supplies today? Now though, it's easier for the two countries to trade with each other. My caravan has registered in Day, so these people will not dare to be strict with us, so you can just put your mind at ease. Li Qianzhen took his hand and covered her stomach. You and I are husband and wife, would I lie to you? Li Yang frowned slightly, but finally nodded. Well, I believe you this time. Soon, it was time to leave as agreed. And the two hid in the stinky swill bucket. Lu Yang had received rigorous military training, and could tolerate this level of training. But Li Yanzhen had some morning sickness and was very sad at the moment. Especially when he was leaving the city and was stopped and searched. Li Qianzhen vomited in the slop bucket. Lu Yang's heart jumped into his throat. Fortunately, we got out of the city safely. After leaving the city, Lu Yang hurriedly carried Li Yanzhen out. Looking at Li Yanzhen's blue face, he hurriedly washed her face with clean water. I'm fine, husband. The person who will pick us up is just ahead. We can change our clothes. Get in the carriage and leave. Li Yang didn't say anything, he just held her the whole time, even when she changed clothes. He changed them by himself, thank you this time. Chapter 350. For Lu Yang returns to Beijing. Silly husband. Why are you thanking me? Li Yanzhen smiled happily. As long as you are happy, I am happy. Lu Yang helped her change her clothes and said, when we get to Day, I'll introduce my parents, big brother, and sister to you. Li Qianzhen nodded, leaned on Lu Yang, and said tiredly, husband, I am a little tired. Li Yang hugged her and stroked her back. Go to sleep. I'm here. The convoy did not go directly today, but passed through Dajing and then entered Hengshan County from the hinterland of Dajing. The caravan moved very fast, traveling day and night. After Li Yang escaped, all the important roads were heavily guarded. Lu Yang was also very nervous. Fortunately, there were no dangers along the way. Half a month later, we arrived at Dajing. From then on, the journey was smooth. We took another half a month by boat before arriving at Hengshan County. I'm back. I'm finally back. Lu Yang was extremely excited after the caravan entered Songshan County. He settled Li Yanzhen and immediately went to the government office of Hengshan City, which was promoted from a county to the provincial capital, to report. As soon as Lu Yang showed up, Hengshan City Prefect Wang Yang and Governor Cheng Ji put down their work and rushed over. These two people were originally the county government's staff. In addition to the Tiger of Biaoyang, Liyuan also has a think tank team of no less than 20 people. In the heart of Day, the core area, the top leaders of the three provincial capitals, formerly Biaoliang, Enshan, and Songshan, and the provincial top leaders all come from the staff team. I am here to see His Royal Highness Prince Heng. Cheng Ji recognized Li Yang at a glance and bowed hurriedly. You have suffered. Mr. Cheng, please send someone back to deliver the letter in advance. Li Yang said. Yes, Your Highness. Cheng Ji also sent someone back to Beijing to report the news as soon as possible, and then asked how Lu Yang escaped from Lijiang. Because of the exchange of cement formula, Li Yuan deliberately tricked Euraxia and sold the formula in several parts to dozens of countries, making millions of tiles of silver. Base currency flows to Middle-earth, but it does not recognize the currencies of other countries. Transactions must be made either through barter, settlement with gold and silver, or by exchanging currency at Day National Bank. This resulted in the fact that the cement formula was used to exchange for Lu Yang's return not being made public. Cheng Ji didn't know, so Lu Yang naturally had no way of knowing. After gaining a general understanding of what had happened, Cheng Ji personally escorted Li Yang back to Liangjing as soon as possible. At this time, inside Yongping Palace, at the beginning of the new year, Li Yuan was busy for a whole month. When the ice and snow melt, A will usher in the busy farming season, and Li Yuan will be even busier. And Yuhan has already cultivated enough seeds to promote planting on a large scale. After this year, Day will no longer have to worry about food. Besides this, there is good news. Li Wuyu and Xiang both carried dragon seeds. This made Lu Qiushan and Su Xiue very happy. The status of these two women skyrocketed, and Su Xiue protected them in all aspects. There is no other reason. It's just that Lu Yuan has too few descendants. Li Yuan also breathed a sigh of relief and immediately announced the news at the court meeting, and all the ministers offered their congratulations. He could clearly feel that the people's hearts, which had been a little restless, had now calmed down. If one of these two children is a boy, he will definitely attract a lot of attention. However, Su Xiue gave a strict order not to allow Lu Yuan to touch either of them. So these days, Lu Yuan also symbolically visited a few people. His relationship with Xiaoji and Jia stagnated again after New Year's Eve. Your Majesty, good news, His Royal Highness Prince Heng is back. Yuan hurried in and said with a happy face. King Heng? Li Yuan was stunned for a moment, then stood up suddenly. Chao Yang is back? Da Xie sent him back so soon? But then, he frowned. Didn't I tell you to send someone to bring him back? Could it be that Emperor Rexai wanted to save face and secretly sent him back? No, it seems that His Royal Highness Prince Heng was not sent back by the envoy of Diaxia. Duan repeated the situation. Li Yuan was puzzled. Could it be that the boy didn't know that we had made a deal with Diaxia, so he sneaked back? I don't know. Duan also looked confused. Never mind about that, I'll know when the time comes by asking. Li Yuan immediately found old Lu and told him the news that Lu Yong had returned. Lu Qiushan was still writing after hearing the news. He acted very calm. But the ink on the paper began to betray him. It's good that you're back. Your mother and Ling Zhi will be very happy if they know. He arrived in the afternoon and brought his wife back with him. Okay, I understand. Lu Qiushan nodded. I need to write a manuscript. Please go out first and don't disturb me. Li Yuan looked at old Deng in surprise. He was really calm. But when he walked out of the office, he heard Lu Qiushan's laughter from inside. Lu Yuan laughed. This old Deng is really good at pretending. Suexai Yui also received the news. And Lu Ling Zhi took a special leave to come back from the greenhouse to greet her. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Cheng Ji's convoy arrived in Bianjing. Don't be nervous. My parents, brother, and sister are all very good people. Li Yong held Li Yanzhen's hand. After these days of escape, his relationship with Li Yanzhen has eased a lot. At least, he is no longer as cold and sarcastic as before. Li Yanzhen nodded, looking at the majestic city in front of him. His heart ached. I'm afraid they don't like me. After all, it was my father who forced me to marry you. That's true, but you are my wife. I recognize you, and my parents will recognize you too, Lu Yong said after thinking for a while. Li Yanzhen was stunned, then her eyes turned red, and she choked up and said, "This is the first time you said that I am your wife. Great, you finally recognized me." Li Yong sighed and patted her back gently. Don't cry. My parents will think I'm bullying you if they see it. You just bullied me. Li Yanzhen lay in Lu Yong's arms and cried bitterly, constantly beating his chest. You know how wronged I have been these days. I thought your heart was made of stone, and I couldn't warm it up no matter what I did. Li Yong could only comfort her softly. When the convoy was about to arrive at the city, Cheng Ji hurriedly jumped off the car and said, Your Highness Prince Heng, the Emperor, the Queen Mother, Your Majesty, and the Princess are already waiting outside the city. Li Qianzhen stopped crying abruptly, and then kept wiping away tears. It's all your fault. I must be very ugly now. Your parents must not like me. Lu Yong smiled bitterly, and had no choice but to let her vent her anger. She had indeed suffered a lot of grievances these days. When you see your parents, if you have anything that makes you unhappy, just come to me, okay? Li Qianzhen nodded, then got out of the car with Lu Yong. When Li Yong saw his relatives, tears welled up in his eyes. He rushed to his parents, knelt down and kowtowed. Dad, Mom, the unfilial son Lu Yong is back. Chapter 355, Diaxia, I will destroy it. Li Qianzhen also knelt down and saluted to Lu Qiushan and his wife. Lu Qiushan took a deep breath and said, I'm glad you're back. Suexai Yui hugged her son and said, My son, I was so worried you are not that injured, are you? Come on, get up and let me take a look. Li Yong kept shaking his head. Mom, I'm fine. Second brother, welcome home. Lu Ling Zichai also cried uncontrollably. Lu Yong patted his sister's head and said, It's been so long since we last met. You, V grown taller. Finally his eyes fell on Li Yuan. And then his expression became serious. He walked in front of him and knelt down with a plop. Brother, I am incompetent and have caused you trouble. Li Yuan helped him up, his eyes slightly red as he said, You and I are brothers, why bother saying this? It's good that you're fine, but if you're in trouble, I'll drag the entire Diaxia down with you. Li Yong knew that his elder brother was really capable of doing such a thing. I'm so useless. He slapped himself hard on the face, feeling extremely annoyed. Li Yuan held his hand and said, A general died in 100 battles, but the warrior returned after 10 years. The 100-man team guarded Shuangfeng Mountain, killed nearly 10,000 enemies, and even killed the main general. You have made great contributions. Such heroic deeds are rare in the entire day. If it weren't for the lack of firepower, they would never have been able to cross Shuangfeng Mountain. Moreover, Day does not have enough troops. The coalition forces of the three countries have 3 million troops and are surrounded by enemies on all sides. They really cannot spare too many troops to support you. A battle of Shuangfeng Mountain was reviewed and investigated. After interrogating the prisoners, it was learned that in that battle, Li Yong's company held off the main force of the Great Xia army for nearly 2 hours. He also killed the main general and several descendants. Of a casualty ratio of 1 to 100, it is the best among all the other weapons. Therefore, Li Yuan was not angry, but was just proud of Lu Yong. If he had escaped at that time, he would definitely not have been captured. He was obviously prepared to die. Li Yong burst into tears. After a while, Li Yong calmed down with the comfort of his family. Then he said, "Oh, by the way, let me introduce you to him." He walked over and took Li Yanzhen's hand. "Her name is Li Yanzhen, she is my wife. And she is pregnant now, and has been pregnant for nearly 5 months. This time I was able to escape from Diaxia, all thanks to her." He recounted in general terms how he had escaped. Suexiyue, who didn't understand why, liked this daughter-in-law whom she had never met before more and more. Li Qianzhen also saluted to Lu Qiuishan and others obediently. The daughter-in-law greets the father, the queen and the emperor. Lu Qiuishan stroked his beard and said, "Your 2 sisters are in the palace, so you won't be lonely here. There are not too many rules for joining my Lu family. They just want harmony and happiness." Suexiyue was even more delighted and pulled Li Qianzhen. "Great, that's great. Today is really a double happiness." Lu Lingzhi also came over. "Sister-in-law, thank you for your hard work." Li Qianzhen was also very sweet-talking, but when she saw Lu Yuan, who didn't say a word, she felt very nervous. Until Lu Yuan smiled and said, "Since you are here, make the best of it. I will ask Wu Yuan by you to come and see you later. Let's go back to the city." He now understood how Lu Yuan came back, and he didn't need to tell Lu Yuan that he was exchanged back, so as to avoid him thinking too much. Lu Yuan simply didn't believe that there was no conspiracy behind this. "You think it's easy to bully my brother because he is kind-hearted? Wait, we will slowly settle this account," Lu Yuan thought to himself. The news of Lu Yang's return to Beijing quickly spread. This excited all the officials and people. But Lu Yuan refused to allow those people to enter the palace to pay homage. Just a family eating together. Suexiyue personally took charge of the dinner. After Xiaoji and Jia learned the news, she immediately asked for leave and returned to the palace to help. Bo Bing also helped. Li Wuyu and Li Baiyu accompanied Li Yanzhen. Xi Yining was pregnant and wanted to help, but Suexiyue wouldn't let her in. Xi Yining set aside, cracking melon seeds, and called it chatting. Xiaoji and Jia felt a little sad, thinking about how she had been treated coldly and wronged when she was pregnant. And no one cared about her. Same person, different fate. Of course. She doesn't blame anyone. Eat less melon seeds, it's easy to get angry. Suexiyue washed a cucumber. The Nader lucidum, peel it and send it to your sister-in-law. She is pregnant now, so she needs to supplement more vitamins. Vitamin C, Lu Lingzhi reminded. The only thing is vitamin C. After saying that, Suexiyue felt something was wrong again, so she picked up a washed cucumber, peeled it herself, and handed it to Xiaoji and Jia. "My girl, you must have been very busy in the hospital. Eat a cucumber first to fill your stomach. Dinner will be served soon." Xiaoji and Jia felt warm in her heart. "Thank you, mother." "Silly girl. Why are you being so polite to your mother?" Suexiyue smiled, and then continued to prepare the dinner in a hurry. Xiaoji and Jia ate the cucumber and found it particularly sweet. Although Li Yuan did not forgive her during these days, Li Wuyu and Xi Yining became pregnant one after another, but Suexiyue did not favor one over the other. As long as they have it, Xiaoji and Jia must have it. Just like this cucumber, it proves that Suexiyue is thinking about it in her heart. She had been in the Daqian Palace for more than 10 years and had never been treated like this. Even her own mother, in the end, just schemed against her and used her. Ji and Jia, Ling Zhi, serve the dishes. Suexiyue instructed while reminding Xi Yining, the kitchen floor is slippery. So go slowly. She did not look down on anyone. She treated these children as her own family and ordered them around without restraint. Soon, the food was served. Everyone took their seats. Lu Qiuishan drank his wine with smiles in his eyes. Suexiyue picked up the dishes one by one, leaving no one behind. Looking at Lu Yang, who was wolfing down his food, he said, "Slow down. No one is going to snatch it from you." "Mom, it's delicious, so delicious. I miss the food you cook day and night when I'm in Diaxia," Lu Yang said. "Uncle, I'll give you my chicken leg too," Huan said. Li Yang pinched Huan's little nose, his eyes full of pampering. "Keep it for yourself. The more you eat, the longer you will grow." Li Yuan smiled. Perhaps this was the happiness he had always been pursuing. It would be even better if Honggu was here. That would be a real family reunion. After the meal, Lu Yuan personally asked Duan to escort Lu Yang and his wife out of the palace. Lu Yang missed the founding ceremony, but he received all the titles and rewards he deserved. Although he didn't have a mansion, Lu Yuan built him a big villa with all the necessary things ready. Li Baiyu helped Li Wuyu back to rest. Xi Yining also became sleepy. The bustling scene suddenly became deserted. Lu Qiuishan called Li Yuan to the study. "This is not right. There is something wrong with Li Qianzhen." Li Yuan smoked a cigarette. "It's a bit wrong. But now she has ruined our Lu family's child. It's not good to expose her at this time. I'm afraid that she will take advantage of Xiaoyang." and then it will cause disaster. Luke Huishan said solemnly. Dad, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. How can she turn the world upside down by herself? Li Yuan smiled. Xia, I will destroy it. Chapter 356, Xiao Pass is in danger again. February arrives quietly, the ice and snow melt, and all things come back to life. Li Yuan arrived at the planting base, and baskets of potatoes and sweet potato vines were sent down the mountain. Last year, A's greenhouse planting base expanded to 10,000 acres, storing 3 to 4 million kilograms of potatoes alone if these potatoes are used as seeds. The output this year may exceed 1 million kilograms. There are also staple foods such as sweet potatoes, cassava, and corn. According to conservative estimates, it is more than 3 million stones. But this is still not enough. The main reason is that Day has too many people. The latest census shows that Day has a population of over 12 million, while the official census shows around 9.9 million. The remaining 2 million or so are all illegal residents who evade taxes. Li Yuan thinks that this number may be even higher, including rice, wheat and broad-leaved wheat. This year's grain production will definitely exceed 30 million shi. Brother, the potato and sweet potato virus-free technology has now reached the second stage. Lu Lingzi walked up to Li Yuan and whispered. As long as the experiment is successful, we won't be afraid of outsiders stealing our seeds. Li Yuan nodded. The environment in Middle-earth was very bad. The Little Ice Age was getting worse this year. Even the winter in the south had dropped by 3 to 5 degrees compared to previous years. Not long after the beginning of spring, a rainstorm hit Liangjing, which almost caused flooding in the Jingyang River. Li Yuan was so frightened that he allocated funds again to reinforce the river embankment. Therefore, it is crucial to secure food in the future. However, the news about large-leafed, high-yield grain crops could not be concealed, and someone would definitely steal the seeds. Sweet potatoes can be planted on a rainy day, which is very simple, just need to cut off a section of the vine. Li Yuan also thought of this. He didn't mind if these crops were spread around. If it could help save more lives, it would be considered a good deed. Sweet potatoes that have not been detoxified will have reduced yields or even a total loss within a few generations. The same is true for potatoes. After 3 generations, the yield and virus resistance will be greatly reduced. Therefore, detoxification technology is crucial and is the key to ensuring the yield of large leaf grains. Tell your boss, don't push yourself too hard, we still have time. Li Yuan said, and began to collect the potatoes. He has been craving this thing for a long time, and now all he can think of is beef briskets stewed with potatoes, potato chips and the like. And sweet potatoes, I had to roast too. I don't know if corn can be used to make popcorn. He kept 3 acres of land for himself, all of which he cultivated on weekdays. He would come here to weed and loosen the soil when he had nothing to do, and the harvest was very good. Brother, are these black eggs really as delicious as you said? Asked Lu Yang, who was working hard. After he was captured, he was too embarrassed to return to the army, so these days, he has been reading books and preparing for the exam. Preparing to enter the Royal Military Academy in the future, he should switch to a civilian position in the military, or choose internal affairs. This thing is both a staple food and an all-purpose side dish. Li Yuan couldn't stand it just thinking about it. At this moment, Duan quickly walked up to Li Yuan and whispered, Your Majesty, there is an urgent report from Da Qian. Li Yuan patted the dirt off his hands, walked to the side, opened the urgent report and started reading. Not long ago, Yang Ji handed over the second letter. This old guy was smarter than he thought. However, this time, what came was Yang Ji's letter for help. The Xiongnu invaded Xiao Pass and are about to push to be a Yujingji. Li Yuan sneered, knowing that Da Qian is a vassal state of Day. They still dare to invade so openly. It's obvious that they want to test Day's bottom line. Yuan said in a deep voice, according to the spies ahead, the Xiongnu seem to have used gunpowder, and most of the troops under Yang Ji's control are around Beijing. Biu Jingji has long been relegated to second rate and is no longer valued. The Xiongnu advanced 500 miles with almost no effort. Then, they burned, killed and looted along the way, trying to replicate what happened in the western part of Dajing. Li Yuan said something to Lu Yang and left in a hurry. Soon, all the military personnel arrived. When everyone learned that the Huns were attacking Da Qian, they were all extremely excited. Your Majesty, I am willing to lead the troops. Wang Debiao was ready to fight. They had been idle for half a year, and finally there was a war to fight again. Wang Mazi, you're already the commander of an army, can't you leave some chances for your brothers? Ji Ermi curse? The others also shouted with excitement. A's military merit system destined this group of people to be warmongers. Even a cook wants to be a general. Li Yuan pressed his hand, and the originally noisy combat meeting room suddenly became quiet. Everyone sat upright, without looking around. The Xiongnu are the barbarians of the past. They share the same bloodline as the barbarians, but they are different from other nomadic peoples. They learned it from past lessons and traveled all the way from Mobii to the Agubi Empire thousands of miles away from us and established a huge country. That country had a vast territory, almost twice the size of Middle-earth. The number of people under his rule exceeded 40 million. And they have over 5 million soldiers. Although they do not know how to produce, the people within their territory know how to farm and produce. Even in the Shang New Kingdom, they gave peasants a very high status. All the Huns only needed to do one thing, which was to train their soldiers and turn every man, woman, young and old into soldiers who could kill people. It took them only a dozen years to build this huge empire. We can never judge them by common sense. Everyone present nodded even though they did not take the Huns seriously at all. They had practiced this strategy countless times behind the scenes. They had already made a thorough analysis of the Huns through the existing information. Since Yang Tao's letter for help has been delivered to me, this battle is inevitable. Li Yuan glanced at everyone. But now there is a very serious problem. The territory of the north is vast so far. We have only nominally occupied it and have not allocated too much energy and manpower to govern it. The Ministry of Revenue estimated that it would take 3 to 5 years to fully take over the north. In addition, the disaster is so severe that there are no people within 100 miles in many places. Once troops are sent out, they will have to cross thousands of miles, and logistics support will be a huge problem. Your Majesty. If I remember correctly, we seem to have established a transit station in Xianbi. If we temporarily requisition Xianbi as the base camp, we can at least shorten the battle line by 1/3. Wu 6 I said. Li Yuan made a gesture, and someone took out the map of the entire Daqian territory and spread it on the ground. Li Yuan stepped forward and pointed from Xianbi to Xiao Pass. From here to Xiao Pass, it's at least 4,000 miles. But the battle line of 4,000 miles. Just transporting the baggage was a problem. Although Daqian can be responsible for food, during the war, if you can avoid eating external food, you must never eat it. The march will take at least a month. Therefore, this battle will not be easy to fight. At this time, Shang Wei stood up and said, Your Majesty, I have a method that may work. Chapter 357. It seems like I lost, but in fact I won. Speak. Li Yuan made a gesture and sat back in the main seat. In this battle, the Yanjing should be the leader. On the other hand, Daqian is not completely without room for fighting back, but they have concentrated all their forces in the Jiangdan area. A is the Celestial Empire, so it naturally has the responsibility to protect its vassal states. But that doesn't mean that Daqian can sit back and relax. Shang Wei snorted coldly. They have a good plan, regardless of anything. Just hoping that Day will send troops to help them recover the lost territory without having to spend too much time on it. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone nodded. Before this, They had treaties with various countries and established garrisons in various countries. Now, we can send the garrisons into Bianjing. Let Bianjing send out troops first. And we will provide support from the rear. As the saying goes, people won't cherish things that come too easily. If Bianjing doesn't suffer a little, how can they know how great the kindness of Day sending troops is? General Shang is right, these people should be made to suffer. Damn Yang Ji. This old man is unwilling to let go of these troops. He is extremely afraid of death if he stabs us in the back. Won't we become a joke? Lu Yuan nodded. This plan is feasible. Anyway, it was Daqian that was invaded, not Day, so why should he be anxious? And let the Honglu Temple go and negotiate, and select 20,000 people from the three armies. I also need someone to stay in the concession who is willing to go. Li Yuan asked. Wang Dabiao, who had been the most aggressive, asked weakly. Your Majesty, can't you come back after the battle? I've already said you'll be in charge, so you have to stay there for at least 3 years. Lu Yuan said. Wang Dabiao immediately cried, although the merit is good, but I have been in Daqian for 3 years and cannot always follow His Majesty and enjoy His Majesty's grace. It is better not to have this military merit. Everyone immediately looked at him with contempt, but they did not despise Wang Dabiao for being timid, but they despised him for being so damn good at flattering. For a moment, boos broke out in the room. Go away. You know nothing. I want to make progress only by constantly bathing in the grace of God. Can I make progress, do you understand? Wang Dabiao didn't think he was wrong at all, but was proud of it. These people know nothing the reason why the king can have his current status, not only because he is good at fighting, but also because he always follows His Majesty's steps and never leaves her side. Wang Mazi, that's enough in Day. Military merit is the most important thing. Being the first to climb the ladder, breaking through the enemy's formation, beheading the generals, and seizing the flag. This is the real job. Zhou Irma scolded. Wang Dabiao said inferently, yes, you are right, but I still want to follow His Majesty. Li Yuan was also itching to do so, and couldn't help but stepped forward and gave Wang Dabiao a slap on the face. If you don't want to go, shut up. If you keep talking, I'll ask you to fire 1,000,000 rounds of ammunition. Wang Dabiao covered his head, pursed his lips, and shook his head with a look of grievance. Everyone laughed, but Wang Zhonghu and others were extremely envious. Even though Wang Dabiao was beaten, there are few generals who are worthy of your majesty's beating. It seems like I lost, but in fact I won. At this time, Shang Wei thought about it, stood up and said, Your Majesty, I am willing to go. He is the deputy army commander. But he only relies on his long acquaintance with Lu Yuan. He has been in Day for such a long time but has not made any great contribution. Some people laugh at him behind his back and call him a stupid army commander. He must wash away the shame on himself. If you go, who will lead the team? There are other deputy commanders, but I must go to the battle of Daqian. No one knows the situation in Daqian better than me. If you fail to defeat the Huns, I will come to you with my head on my head. Shang Wei was also ruthless and directly issued a military order. There's no need to come here with your head raised. If you lose, you'll just go to the recruit camp to clean toilets and stand guard for a year, Li Yuan said. Yes, your majesty. Shang Wei saluted and thought to himself, this is more embarrassing than coming here with your head carried. Shang Wei, listen to my orders. I am here. I appoint you as the military commander of Day stationed in Daqian. You have the power to execute first and report later. You are in charge of the military affairs of the concession when necessary. You can ask the various departments of Day stationed in Daqian to cooperate with your work. I will give you 3 divisions. Help me win this battle. I'm waiting for your good news. Li Yuan said. I accept your order. After everyone left, the court officials had been waiting outside the palace for a long time. Li Yuan only asked people from the Honglu Temple, the Ministry of War and the Ministry of Revenue to stay. He briefly talked about the support for Daqian. Xi Yuan was the first to step out. Your Majesty, this year the Ministry of Revenue allocated about 10 million alls of silver to the military, which is about 100 million YEBE. So the military expenditure is sufficient. However, the cost of supporting Daqian cannot come from the military. The money must be paid by Daqian. Ever since Xi Yuan took over as the minister of the Ministry of Revenue, he has been dealing with money every day. He is very stingy and haggard. Don't worry about this, Du Chun. This is your responsibility. In the Honglu Temple you have to negotiate the details of the garrison with Daqian, including the cost of this aid, Li Yuan said. I understand. Du Chun stepped out and said, the Daqian envoy is in Liangjing, and we can talk at any time. Whether we can send troops to help in time depends on the sincerity of Daqian. That's the truth. Niu Danjin nodded. Niu Dajian. Your mission is very simple. You must ensure that all cities across the country are well defended and select as many city defenders as possible from among the wounded soldiers. The north is such a large territory that we cannot leave it alone any longer. We also need to negotiate with the Ministry of Industry. If there is no time to fight against the disaster, the main roads should be built first, and there should be no loopholes in the connection between the main cities. I have asked the military to discuss the deployment of defenses in the north, and a plan will be put forward within 2 days. The Ministry of War must cooperate throughout the process. The Ministry of Revenue should also stop being so stingy. Spending more is also for the good of the country. Niu Dajian's mouth was full of bitterness. He used to be the boss of the Ministry of War, but now he has become the second in command of the military. Even the Ministry of Industry is above him. If the Ministry of War had not been responsible for urban security and cooperated with the Honglu Temple, it would probably be ranked last among the 6 ministries. The world is becoming more corrupt and people's hearts are no longer the same as they used to be. Your Majesty, the Ministry of Revenue is poor, Xi Yuan cried. There are so many more people in the country. All of a sudden some are exempt from tax and some are exempt from co-RVE. I also have to take care of the food, drink, and toilet of hundreds of thousands of laborers, and spend a huge amount of money every day. That's fine, but it all costs money, and no matter how much money you have, you can't afford to spend it like this. Stop crying poor to me. From the end of last year to now, I have made a lot of money just from minting coins, not to mention trade. In addition, there were compensations from various countries, and the military also handed over a lot of looted gold and silver. I only intercepted a small part of it, and most of it was put into the national treasury. Do you want me to take money from the treasury? Li Yuan gritted his teeth. Xi Yuan touched his chin and said, it's not impossible. How about I borrow some money from your majesty first, and then return it to your majesty when the Ministry of Revenue has eased? Du Chun and Niu Dajian almost died of laughter when they saw Li Yuan's gloomy face. But they did not dare to laugh out loud. They could only lower their heads and laugh secretly. This is only Xi Yuan. If it were anyone else, who would dare to be so naughty with Li Yuan? Chapter 358 Xi Yuan's grievances. There are thousands of people in my palace including the imperial guards and so on, and they don't have to eat. Where is your conscience? Li Yuan angrily slammed the table. Xi Yuan lowered her eyebrows and said, this is not difficult. You too. What are you laughing at? Get out. Li Yuan was furious. Du Chun and Niu Da quickly shut up, said goodbye and left. Come on, come up, Li Yuan pointed at Xie Yuan. Xie Yuan walked up to the Golden Throne Hall, and Li Yuan pulled her over and gave her a beating. Now that you're a minister, you dare to argue with me. It's been a while since I last dealt with you. You ray so proud of yourself, aren't you? Xie Yuan lay on Li Yuan's lap, blushing and saying, Your Majesty, I am a woman, I don't have a little tail. You have to pay this money, understand? And said, for a country, money is not saved, and you, the Minister of Finance, can't be petty. You have to cooperate with me, of course. If other people want money, you can block them however you want, but I can't block them. Xie Yuan didn't say anything either. Just lay there without saying anything. This is also a tiger lady. Li Yuan couldn't do anything with her. He couldn't just kill her now. That would be inappropriate. If that kind of relationship really happened, she would no longer be suitable to be the Shang Shu. I know that the expenses are high recently. Repairing the Imperial Palace, building infrastructure, expanding the Imperial City, and paying for the military all cost money. You are under a lot of pressure, but isn't there anything you can do about it? Think about it. If we win this battle, we will make money, and the pressure on the Ministry of Revenue will be reduced, right? Li Yuan whispered. Xie Yuan kept silent, not because she was shy, but because she felt aggrieved. She has never had a good night's sleep since she became the Shang Shu. Every day in the blink of an eye, that's money. Every day, countless people come to her with plans and ask for money. Bei is rich from the international conference, sports games, trade, war exports, and arms sales. He earned nearly 200 million last year. However, last year's founding ceremony cost over 1 million tiles of silver, and several million tiles were distributed to reward officials. More than 1 million tiles of silver have been spent on building the Imperial Palace. There is also infrastructure. Last year there was a big flood, disaster relief, military spending, food purchases, etc. More than half of the 200 million was invested directly. At the beginning of this year, there was not much income, but tens of millions of tiles of silver were spent. How long has this year passed? Can we survive the next 10 months? Over the years, A has made money, but he spends money better than anyone else. Do you really think that Day's prosperity just appeared out of thin air? That was all built with pure selling. All the high welfare benefits are bought with money. I have no money. That is, I have no money. Xie Yuan refused to give in no matter what. But Xie Yuan, please give me some silver don tea. Keep your eyes on the money in my treasury. Your Majesty, stop lying. You get dividends every year. I do receive dividends, but I don't take money from the national treasury. All the expenses in the palace are supported by my own money. Li Yuan said helplessly. It was so difficult before, but we managed to get through it. Now that we have money, we are afraid to take risks. Xie Yuan also sighed quietly. I'll give you 3 million at most there. Ask no more, otherwise, don't celebrate this year. That's enough, 3 million is enough. Li Yuan also hurriedly poured her tea and water. Come, have a sip of water. My day still depends on your hard-earned money. Xie Yuan felt better at this point, and without being polite, she picked up the teacup and drank. Your Majesty, even if it's you who's going to do this, if you don't give me a plan, I won't be able to approve money anymore. Yes, I understand. Li Yuan said seriously. I promise I won't waste money anymore. After seeing off Xie Yuan, Li Yuan also breathed a sigh of relief. Behind the exemption of grain tax is the high-yield crops, which are produced by high commercial taxes. The exemption from corvée labor was the result of the efforts of hundreds of thousands of laborers. If Day wants to develop rapidly, it must plunder and use resources to build a great country. Day has almost reached its limit with its existing means. Next, if it wants to develop rapidly, it can only rely on war. At this time, Daqian Bianjing. When Yang Ji received the letter from the Huns, he couldn't help but sneer. That rebellious son has already asked for help. Day he will certainly come to support. But so what? Yang Ji burned the letter. He knew that he had no hope of becoming emperor. Lu Yuan was a ferocious tiger that would eat people without leaving any bones. He wanted to take over Bianjing without any effort, and he even wanted to give up the power in his hands. But if he gives up power, his rebellious son will kill him. Since there is no way out by joining Day, the only option is to join the Huns. The Xiongnu had many soldiers and generals, and their territory was vast, making them stronger than China. But 5 million armored soldiers, he didn't believe that he could not defeat Day. Just wait for the arrival of Day reinforcements, and then use internal and external forces to capture these people as a token of our surrender, so that we can survive well in the Xiongnu. Before leaving, he beheaded the rebellious son to vent his hatred. Just as he was thinking, a servant came over quickly. Prime Minister, the young master is back. What young master? He is a rebellious son, Yang Ji scolded. The servant looked bitter and slapped himself in the face. I am a rude person, please calm down, sir. Is he the only one? No, he also brought the fourth and fifth wives. Yang Ji was very angry. He knew that his rebellious son was just trying to irritate him, and was deliberately causing trouble in order to find something to hold against him so that the Day soldiers could shoot him to death. How could he fulfill his wish? Just say I'm not feeling well and I don't want to see you. Yang Ji waved his hand. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Tao's arrogant voice came from outside. Dad, I'm back with my new wife, don't you come out to see her? Yang Tao kicked open the door of the study and put his arms around two charming women, one on his left and one on his right. Yang Ji looked at the three people coldly. I have seen it, you can leave now. Don't be impatient. Dad, a new daughter-in-law is coming home, shouldn't you give her a red envelope as a token of your appreciation? Yang Tao patted the two women. Why don't you go over and pay your respects to my dad? The two girls knelt in front of Yang Ji, daughters-in-law greet father-in-law. Yang Ji's hands, hidden in his sleeves, were clenched blue, his nails dug into his flesh, but he didn't show it. He even smiled. You two are great, I'm very satisfied. Then, he asked his servants to wrap two big red envelopes and handed them over. You two should get pregnant soon and give birth to many children for Yang Ji. He was referring to his own name here, not the Yang family. Yang Tao's face changed, and before he could speak, Yang Ji said again, you two must serve well. The two women knelt there, both feeling a little embarrassed. Yang Tao was also furious. He didn't expect that this old man was so afraid of death. Chapter 359, Slave Killing Order. Seeing Yang Tao unhappy, Yang Ji felt even happier. Son, Dad has already visited these two daughters-in-law for you, just relax and enjoy them. The corner of Yang Tao's mouth twitched. This old man has completely lost his shame. Dad taught me well, Yang Tao sneered. Because Dad loves you. Yang Ji smiled more and more as he spoke. Yang Tao's mentality collapsed, and he changed the subject. Xiao Pass has become a living hell. When will you send troops to help? Are we going to watch the Huns slaughter our Daqian people? Yang Ji spread his hands and said helplessly, you know the situation in the country. There are natural disasters and man-made disasters. We have lost many wars. Our troops are stretched to the limit, and we can only defend Jiangnan. If we send troops to help, Bianjing will be in danger. Aren't you a Day official? We should hurry up and ask Day to send troops to help us. You don't even send a single soldier. Yet you still want Day to help you. Do you really think Day is stupid? Yang Tao sneered. Aren't you afraid of being defeated? Yang Ji sighed. There are also hundreds of thousands of troops over there. I have also sent 50,000 troops to help them. We can't just sacrifice the general to save the chariot. How dare you say that? Those 50,000 people are old, weak, sick and disabled. They are just going to die. Yang Tao was furious. He had used this trick to shut up Dajing and Diaxia before, and now they dared to use the same trick again. No wonder Dajing and Diaxia have joined forces to denounce us and cut off trade. We lost too much. The casualties were too great. 9 out of 10 houses were empty, and I have done my best to find more than 50,000 old, weak and sick people. Yang Ji said with a smile. Are you sure you're not going to send troops? Hasn't the troops been dispatched yet? Okay, this is your own choice. You will have to bear the consequences at your own risk. Yang Tao flicked his sleeves and left with the two women. I'll take you there. Yang Ji even sent them away, and waited until the three of them disappeared from his sight before turning back. You rebellious son, I will let you run rampant for a while. In fact, this battle was not only an invasion by the Huns, but even Dajing participated. Dajing claimed that Daqian had broken his promise and disregarded the alliance, so he demanded an explanation from Daqian. In this case, Day has no choice but to leave. He was wondering when Day's reinforcements would arrive. As for Bau Jingji, he didn't care at all. The place had already been completely plundered by the Xia Jing coalition forces, and the Huns wouldn't be able to extract any benefits from it even if they went there. On the other side, 4 or 5 bodies of tortured girls were dragged out of Chequ's tent. Cheku walked out contentedly this time. He was able to vent all the anger that had accumulated in his heart for the past 2 years. All the women within a radius of 500 miles were plundered after the soldiers were satisfied. Some of them stayed behind to join the Zhengkun camp. The other part is transported back to Dajing for more people to enjoy. To the Huns, women were a resource and their only mission was to give birth. He had seen hundreds of birthing camps on the western east side. The women there can only leave in peace if they have no husbands and are pregnant. For a long time, women from the western east, even married women, had to give birth to children for the Huns if they wanted to escape their slave status. Only in this way can their family become superior people. This is also the reason why the Hun population exploded in just over a decade. General, we will arrive at Baojingji in 2 days. This is a letter from Bianjing. After taking the letter, Chequ checked the sealing wax and made sure there were no signs of opening. Then opened it and started reading. The letter was written by Yang Ji. who asked him to slow down the pace of attack and wait for the arrival of reinforcements from Day. At that time, according to the original plan, we will cooperate inside and outside to capture Day's reinforcements and break through Bianjing in one fell swoop. He put the letter away, wrapped it in brown paper and said, "Send it to Dajing." He finally begged Xia Yang for the opportunity to lead the expedition, although Xia Yang only gave him 20,000 Xiongnu cavalry and the rest were miscellaneous Western Yi troops. There were also Central Earth cavalry among these people. Moreover, there are also muskets, grenades and other items. Isn't it because of this that I was suppressed by Day before? He believed that it would not be long before the Huns would have their own muskets and artillery. Li Yuan, just wait for me. It won't be long before I can break through Biaoyang Pass. Just when Chiqu was wreaking havoc in the west of Daqian, causing public outrage, a slave-killing order suddenly came out of Daqian. It is said that this slave-killing order was issued by the Emperor of Day, Lu Yuan. This slave-killing order has 3 articles in total. First, anyone who dares to use weapons among the 6 barbarians inside and outside the country will be killed. Second, those who share the same heart with the Middle-earth will stay, and those who do not will be allowed to leave. Third, if a Chinese kills a Hun, he can get a reward with the Hun's head. The first one was very domineering. No matter whether they were ruling within or outside the country, any Hun seen holding weapons would be killed. The second rule is that those who agree with Middle-earth can stay, and those who disagree can get out of this land. Article 3. There is a reward for killing someone. It took only a few days for the order to kill slaves to spread throughout Daqian, like a hurricane passing through a land, causing a huge reaction. First, the indifferent people were ignited with a desire for revenge. Then there was the burning, stealing and looting in the western part of Daqian, and the people were slaughtered for no reason. After the order to kill the slaves was issued, they retaliated almost crazily. There was even a force that gathered these people and formed an army to snipe at the lone cavalry. Some people even threatened to kill the western barbarians. The impact of this slave-killing order went far beyond this. It spread from Daqian to Dajing like a virus, and spread throughout the entire Middle-earth in less than a month. Cheku was furious when he saw the casualties among his men. He ordered his troops to advance, and the pace of the advance was greatly accelerated. It took only 5 days to capture Biaojingji. Biaojingji was once prosperous, and its population had long dropped to less than 1 million, but it still had a population of 500,000 to 600,000. But on this day, Cheku ordered the women to be abducted, and then began to massacre the city. The Huns massacred these 500,000 to 600,000 people for 5 days. And the prosperous Biaojingji was covered with blood. In his opinion, Daqian was weak. This so-called slave-killing order was just a trick spread by someone using Day's power to mislead the people. Since they love to resist so much, just kill them all. Until there is no one left who resists on this land. As the news of the massacre in Biaojingji spread, the whole country of Daqian was shocked. Before this news reached Day, the matter of the slave-killing order also reached Li Yuan's ears. An order to kill the slaves. He raised his eyebrows. When did I issue these 3 orders? He looked at Duan, his eyes full of confusion. These 3 orders made him a little stunned except for the second order. They were almost identical to the order to kill the Hu people. Could it be that there is another time traveler? Chapter 360. Everyone can kill slaves. Duan smiled bitterly. Yes, it's Honggu. Honggu? Li Yuan's face was full of strangeness. Did she spread the order to kill the slaves? Yes, she also took out all the money she had saved over the years and entrusted it to the Anbu people to pay out the bounty. Li Yuan thought for a while. Then he remembered that he had told Honggu the story of killing Hu Ling. I thought someone was trying to trick Day. Your Majesty, doing this will not? Li Yuan waved his hand. No, the people of Middle-earth must be self-reliant and cannot rely on others. The slave-killing order is a good thing. And this account will be counted on Day. The people of Middle-earth will only be grateful today. He drummed his fingers on the table and said, I take 1,000 no, 5 million taels from the treasury to pay out bounties, 10 alls of silver for each Xiongnu head. I'll give one to each one that comes. I want to see whether the Huns have more people or I have more money. Honggu arbitrarily issued a slave-killing order in Day's name, but Lu Yuan was not angry. This woman was a very heroic person. If you encounter something like this, it would be strange if you could resist taking action. Your Majesty, do you want to confirm this matter? Li Yuan nodded. This money will be spent on Daqian. As he was speaking, another piece of urgent information was delivered. After reading it, Li Yuan was furious. How dare you? He knew that the Huns were brutal, but he never imagined they were so brutal. First, more than 300,000 people were killed at Xiao Pass, and then more than 30 mausoleums of human heads were built outside various cities. Afterwards, they attacked all the way and captured Biaojingji with almost no effort. The defenders of Baiyujingji were like paper, they fled as soon as they received the news. 5 or 600,000 people were left behind. After the Huns entered the city, they abducted all the women and began to massacre the entire city. The intelligence said that after the Huns entered the city, some citizens hanged themselves. Some jumped into wells, some jumped into rivers, some had bloody faces, some had broken limbs. Some were chopped but not dead, but their limbs were still moving, and their bones and flesh were in disarray. The women were brutally abused. If they encountered resistance, the army would nail the resisting women's hands to the door panels with long nails and then humiliate them. The massacre did not end until the corpses blocked the river and dyed the groundwater red. Duan looked at Lu Yuan's furious expression and had a bad feeling in her heart. "Your Majesty, what happened?" Lu Yuan handed the information to Duan with a terribly gloomy expression. After reading the letter, Duan also took a deep breath and said angrily, "These bastards are hated by both humans and gods." Lu Yuan felt very upset. He had experienced countless wars, big and small, but had never massacred unarmed people. Even if they are barbarians, they are just used as waste in work until they die. At this time, the Huns killed the unarmed civilians, regardless of whether they were old, weak, women or children. He was thinking, if there was no day today, he would not have come into this world. But the Huns' brutality, the entire Middle-earth would probably be wiped out without a single survivor. That's another 5 barbarians invading Middle-earth. Wang Dachong. I'm here. Wang Jingzhi, who had changed his name, walked quickly forward and knelt at Lu Yuan's feet after living with a catheter for more than a month. He pulled out the catheter a week ago, officially ending his career as a eunuch. During the days of recuperation, he has also been learning the rules of the palace. Usan was really cruel. The cut was so clean, deep and fierce that he had to stay in bed for more than half a month. So much so that even now, I am still a little dazed. Send this information to the 6 ministries and the military department, Lu Yuan said. Yes, Your Majesty. Wang Dachong took the letter with both hands and left in small steps. He didn't dare to walk fast for fear of leaking urine. Soon, all departments of the imperial court knew the news of the massacre in Baiyujingji. All departments held emergency meetings. Lu Qiushan also received the news and started writing immediately. Also coming along were Lu Yuan's souvenirs. After seeing the content of the souvenir, Lu Qiushan read it over and over again for a long time before he understood what Lu Yuan meant. The unanimous answer given by various departments was to annihilate the Huns, repay the blood debt with blood, and kill the Western barbarians until the Huns are extinct. Lu Yuan was very satisfied with their reaction now. It was no longer a question of whether to aid Daqian or not, but it had gone to a higher level and risen to the level of racial justice. If Day wants to dominate the Central Plains, it must stand out in this regard. That afternoon, Zhang Wei inspected the troops of 3 armed divisions, all of which were fully armed. In addition to conventional combat weapons, there were 200 mortars, including 20 75-centimeter mortars, including but not limited to grenades, white phosphorus grenades, and thermite bombs. Explosive arrows were also completely eliminated and used for foreign trade. Because the 105-centimeter bag was too heavy and not many people survived, the troops did not carry it this time. But the real highlight is the NIU heavy machine gun. These days all departments of Day heavy industry have been cooperating with NIU Taizhou and working hard to produce this thing. More than 1,000 were built. Heavy machine guns are expensive and have a unique caliber of bullets. The cost of a heavy machine gun, converted into silver, is about 300 taels, which is extremely expensive. According to military regulations, a battalion machine gun company is equipped with 6 heavy machine guns, an infantry regiment is equipped with 18 heavy machine guns, and an infantry division 3 regiment system can be equipped with 54 heavy machine guns. Lu Yuan was generous and waved his hand, directly giving 180 guns. There were 1 million rounds of bullets alone. Those people in the military were so distressed that they drooled. Having a lot of people is nothing. What's really cool is if someone has a lot of equipment. Who wouldn't be envious of Zhang Wei's configuration? You know, who in the military doesn't keep an eye on these equipment? They are counting the days on their fingers. Wang Dabiao also made offline appointments with several deputy army commanders to fight. And whoever wins gets to pick the first fight. As a result, Lu Yuan found out and punished them to clean the toilet for a whole month. If anyone has a heavy machine gun, all the heavy cavalry will be made of paper. Every single Hun must die. Your Majesty, please take care. Zhang Wei knelt on one knee on the ground. Lu Yuan helped him up and said, on your way to Bianjing, there are many dangers. Although you have weapons, people's hearts are unpredictable, so be careful. If there is a problem, it is better to kill someone by mistake than to take the risk alone. Yes, I will definitely remember your Majesty's teachings. Zhang Wei nodded heavily, and mounted his horse and left Liangjing with 3 armed divisions. The day after Shang Wei left, the latest edition of the Liangjing Daily focused on the slave-killing order. On its headlines below the order was the brutal behavior of the Huns, which aroused the anger of countless people. There was also a plan to form an army in the newspaper. Anyone who killed a Hun could, in addition to receiving money, also take away a musket or a grenade. I will set up an army to kill the Hu people in the areas invaded by the Huns, and anyone with aspirations in the world can join. Chapter 361. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Base plan to dispatch troops and form an army spread at a rapid speed. After Xia Cheng found out, he just sneered, "I thought you wouldn't take the bait. You're not even the ruler of the world, but you're putting yourself in such a high position. This time, I want to see how you win." After knowing this, Yang Ji also smiled meaningfully. "We can start the plan now, just wait for them to fall into the trap." At this moment, Emperor Xia was feeling smug about having obtained the cement formula these days. He had ignored worldly affairs and was only focused on reform and weapon production. Now, the cement plant has been built and the cement has been fired. The first thing he did was to reinforce the imperial city. The city wall of Liangjing was 9 shang high and 2 shang deep, while his was 10 shang high and 3 shang deep. He wanted to see who could break through. After learning that Dai had sent troops to aid Daqian and fight against the Xiongnu, he was only happy. Yes, that's it. The more intense the fight, the better. And the longer it lasts, the better. He thought about it and called a few confidants over after the Daxia reform. The first person to be affected was the Prime Minister. Wu Xiang Shangying also resigned from the position of Wu Ziyi and now serves as the general. He is also the only general in Daxia at present. Above the general is the marshal. This position belongs to Emperor Xia. Yangshu will be in charge of internal affairs, and will no longer interfere in military affairs, and the civil and military affairs will be completely separated. Send more weapons to Dajing, and through Dajing, deliver them to the Datian front line, Emperor Xia said. A military official hesitated and said, "Your Majesty, the Huns are a foreign race after all. Doing this, are you really helping the slaves to commit atrocities?" Emperor Xia snorted coldly. "I dare not," the man continued. "According to reliable information, Dajing has also cracked the gunpowder formula and has made some progress. But these are not something to worry about. The worst outcome is to maintain the status quo. But once the Huns crack the formula of gunpowder, the consequences would be disastrous." The territory of the Xiongnu kingdom was twice the size of China. Although half of it was grassland and desert, the population was not small. At their size, it is easy for them to catch up with us. At that time, it will be a disaster. The Xiongnu are brutal by nature, burning, killing, and looting. Are you trying to say that even if Dai is ferocious, he is still a Middle-earth native, and the meat should be enjoyed by his own people after it is rotten in the pot, right? Emperor Xi said coldly. "I dare not." The man knelt on the ground in fear. "It's just that Taiziyu has long established the clan law that we cannot fight with other clans. Let alone the Xiongnu. You know, the Xiongnu are the enemy of all of us." "Shut up!" Emperor Xia shouted angrily. "You are short-sighted. I just want to use the Xiongnu to hold Dai back. Is Dai so easy to defeat? As long as you give me a few more years, I will be able to wipe out the national humiliation and take back the glory that belongs to Daxia. When I defeat Dai and unify the Central Plains, it will be time for the royal army to march west to encircle and suppress the Huns. By then, I will establish an extremely large country and accomplish eternal great achievements. Whoever dares to stop me, I will not forgive him." The man fell to the ground, not daring to breathe. "I am a stupid and ignorant official. Please forgive me, Your Majesty." Shangying sighed inwardly. Actually, he was right. In the face of such a serious issue, how could they collude with foreign enemies? Li Yuan sent troops to provide assistance, which was the protection of the suzerain state to the vassal state. Once the order to kill slaves and the order to kill the Hu army were issued, they seemed to be the common ruler of the world. Whether in terms of etiquette or in the hearts of the people, Dai is a well-deserved leader. What's more, Daxia is making progress, and Dai is making even more progress. Your Majesty, I think that the most urgent thing is to stockpile military supplies first, and Daxia should not get involved in these matters. The case in BMA state is enough to keep Dai busy. No matter how the war goes on outside, the Huns cannot reach Daxia. If Daqian and Dajing are invaded by the Huns one day, they will always be at the forefront. If Your Majesty wants to be the common ruler of the world, you must follow the trend and obey Dai. Even, we have to agree with Dai. It is better to gain a good reputation for yourself than to help the enemy. By then, the Huns will be defeated and the vacant land will be ours. This is a way of retreating in order to advance, and it is also the best way to expand territory. Emperor Xia frowned and began to think. Before this, he was only thinking about how to plot against Dai. After hearing Shangying's words, I realized that I was narrow-minded. This is no longer just a war, it's a contest to win over others. It's me. I was wrong. Emperor Rek'Sai glanced at the person kneeling there. Stand up. Thank you. Your Majesty. The man hurriedly thanked him, stood up, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and then he found that his back was soaked with cold sweat. In fact, this was exactly what he wanted to say, but he just gave Xiang Ying a heads up on purpose. And according to you, what should I do? Denounce the brutality of the Huns, set up a slave-killing army, and provide them with weapons. We can even imitate the slave-killing order and set up a Wu-killing order to win over the hearts of the people, Xiang Ying said in a deep voice. This is a great plan. Emperor Rek'Sai clapped his hands, and his previous unhappiness had long since disappeared. In this way, your Majesty will not only win the hearts of the people, but also follow the general trend, and at the same time expand the territory. Of course, your Majesty can also secretly support Dajing or Daqian, even the Huns, in order to drag down Day and buy more time for Diaxia to develop. This kills 3 birds with 1 stone. Xiang Ying smiled faintly. Okay. Emperor Rek'Sai said 3 okays. In one breath he was very satisfied with the plan. You are really my right-hand man. Without you, what will I do? It was your Majesty's words just now that reminded me and gave me an epiphany. Moreover, this is all my job, Xiang Ying said humbly. Okay. And you will take care of this matter. Emperor Rek'Sai nodded with satisfaction. Besides that, cement has been mass-produced. Owen reinforce several important military towns with cement. Make sure to complete the construction of the main roads within this year. Xiang Ying smiled bitterly. This matter still requires the cooperation of the Ministry of Industry. Don't worry, I will arrange it. After Xiang Ying and others left, Emperor Rek'Sai wrote a letter, summoned specially trained carrier pigeons, and sent the letter out. After a long journey of about a month, the Day army finally arrived in Bianjing. Seeing the Day army armed to the teeth, Yang Tao couldn't help but be delighted and quickly went over to greet them. General Shang, I've finally been waiting for you to come. Shang Wei smiled and nodded. Yang Ji, who was standing by, also stepped forward with a smile and said, General Shang, we haven't seen each other for many years. I have become an old man now, but I didn't expect that you were still so heroic. This time, you brought a large army to help us on behalf of the entire Daqian. I would like to thank you. I have already prepared a banquet in the palace, and I hope General Shang will do me the honor of moving on. Shang Wei shook his head. Forget about that. I'm not here for a feast. His Majesty has given orders, and Yang Ji must obey. Chapter 360 to Seizing Power. Yang Ji was stunned for a moment, then he knelt on the ground hurriedly. Your humble servant obeys my order. He felt so aggrieved in his heart. The Shang Wei in the past was like a beast of burden that could be slaughtered at will. If I had known this would happen, I should have killed him. Your Majesty has ordered that. Effective immediately, Yang Tao be ordered to lead the 3 armies to resist the Xiongnu, with the left Prime Minister Yang Ji as his assistant. Your Majesty hopes that you, father and son, will work together with one heart and one mind, and your strength will be enough to achieve your goals. Anyone who disobeys the order will be killed without mercy. Shang Wei said calmly. Yang Ji was furious, but he didn't dare to show it. He saw those soldiers with guns pointed at him. If he dared to say anything against it, he would be killed. He also didn't expect that the first thing Shang Wei did after entering the city was to help his rebellious son seize power. When Yang Tao heard this, he was overjoyed and knelt on the ground. Thank you, Your Majesty, I will obey your command. Shang Wei asked, Left Prime Minister, you are not accepting the order. Are you dissatisfied with the order of His Majesty? Yang Ji shuddered all over and didn't have time to say anything. Shang Wei moved quickly, pulled out a pistol from the gun bag at his waist, and fired a shot. Bang! After a gunshot, a bloody hole appeared on Yang Ji's forehead. The fear in his eyes had not yet dissipated, but his focused gaze gradually became empty. He knelt on the ground with his hands drooping, his head falling backwards unconsciously. Tick-tick. Yellow and white brain matter slowly flowed from the hole in the back of the head to the ground. Daqian officials around were so frightened that their faces turned blue and their bodies trembled continuously. Plop. I don't know who was kneeling on the ground. Immediately afterwards, everyone knelt on the ground. Don't kill us, we surrender. We surrender. Master Shang, do you still remember me? I invited you to drink before. Yang Tao also sucked in a breath of cold air, looking at Yang Ji, who died with his eyes open, in astonishment. He had thought of using all kinds of cruel means to kill this old man, but he never thought that he would die so easily in front of him. Shang, General Shang. This, Yang Tao couldn't help but feel a little scared and started stuttering. You are so bold as to disobey the imperial edict. I am in charge of all military affairs of Day's office in Daqian. With the special permission of His Majesty, I have the right to execute first and report later. This Yang Ji deceived the emperor and did not respect the holy monarch. He should be put to death. From now on, Yang Tao will lead the 3 armies of Daqian. Anyone who dares to resist will be killed without mercy. From now on, our army will take over the defense of Bianjing until the danger to Daqian is resolved. Xiang Wei glanced at everyone. The first thing he did when he came near was naturally to seize power, although His Majesty did not say it. Killing Yang Ji would make it easier for Dai to take over Daqian without bloodshed. Only with Yang Tao can the subsequent procedures be completed smoothly. Moreover, there is solid evidence that Yang Ji was still a traitor and had close contacts with the Huns. Yang Tao also reacted and was overjoyed. Yes, I obey your command. He was trembling with excitement. He had always wanted to seize power, but that old man was impenetrable and he had no idea where to start. Unexpectedly, Xiang Wei solved the most difficult problem as soon as he arrived. From now on, Bianjing will enter a wartime state. People can only enter but not leave. Everyone disperse. Xiang Wei waved his hand. Everyone scattered like birds and beasts, wishing they had more legs, for fear that Xiang Wei would go back on his word. Yang Tao walked up to Xiang Wei with a flattering look on his face. Master Xiang, I have set up a banquet at my house, please see. Prime Minister Yang, there's no need to attend the banquet. I want to know where the Huns have reached now, and how many troops Daqian has compared to Jiangnan. Xiang Wei asked. Yang Tao thought for a while and said, the Xiongnu have now reached Xiling, which is the last barrier from Jiangnan to Shiguan, and there are about 70 Zaro troops stationed there. A few days ago, Yang Ji sent another 50,000 old, weak, sick and disabled soldiers over. In total, there should be 130 Zaro troops including conscripted laborers. There should be about 180,000 people. At present, Daqian's military strength should be around 700,000. The dragon riders are said to have 300 soldiers, but I don't know how many there are actually. Yang Ji has been guarding against me. Now that Yang Ji is dead, I am afraid there will be changes. Give the order now to exchange the city defenses within 1 hour. I will take over the entire Bianjing. After 1 hour, anyone who dares to disobey will be killed without mercy. Xiang Wei made a gesture, and all 3 armed divisions loaded their guns with bullets. NIU's heavy machine guns were mounted on the specially made carriages. The military supplies they brought were enough to fight a war involving millions of people. Moreover, Dai began to manage the Northland. While they were on the march, they received news that post stations and military warehouses had been set up from Liangjing to the southernmost part of the Northland. Supplies will continue to be delivered over the next month, with logistics guaranteed. Xiang Wei is not afraid of anyone. Sir Xiang, if we are so tough, will it provoke these people to rebel? Yang Tao asked worriedly. I'll give you 500 people to protect you. Your mission is to incite these people to revolt. Xiang Wei said with a smile. Yang Tao was stunned for a moment, then he understood another layer of meaning in Xiang Wei's words. Yes, Sir Xiang, I promise to complete the task. Then Yang Tao, in an excited mood, left under the escort of 500 people. A news that Dai's army entered the city and killed Yang Ji quickly spread throughout Bianliang. Some people applauded. But there were also poor scholars who knew nothing about the world, slapping their thighs and shouting, the Xiongnu are thieves, Dai is also a thief. Bianjing is in danger. And there were also dangers lurking in Bianjing. There were Hun spies lurking in Bianjing who spread the news as quickly as possible. However, the 200,000 Imperial Guards and 100,000 Dragon Riders in Bianjing City were extremely restless at this moment. After Yang Ji was killed, they were leaderless. As the chief instructor of the 200,000 Imperial Guards, Yang Chong was also feeling uneasy at the moment. Uncle, I didn't expect that you would be killed by that unfilial son so soon. He always called Yang Ji uncle, but in fact, he knew better than anyone that Yang Ji was his father. His father is not good, otherwise he wouldn't be the only son. He also learned about this incident accidentally from his parents' quarrel. Otherwise, he would not have been able to take the position of chief instructor of the 200,000 Imperial Guards. In the military camp, the soldiers and generals were all terrified. Master Kochiang, what should we do now? Prime Minister Yang is dead, and Xiang Wei is probably going to seize power. We can't just sit there and wait for death. If all else fails, we have to fight our way out and establish ourselves as kings. Yang Chong was also shocked when he heard this. Declaring himself king, Xiang Wei brought 3 armed divisions, more than 30,000 people, all armed to the teeth. I defeated an army of 3 million with only 100,000 people. What can we use to fight back? Or do you want me to go to the Xiongnu and be scolded by others? If it doesn't work, let's go to Dajing, to Diaxia. Yang Chong sneered. Thousands of miles away, with so many people, we were stopped before we even got there. Besides, if we go, will they dare to accept us? In name, Daqian is already a vassal state of Dai. If they just say they don't respect the suzerain state, they can crush us to death. Chapter 363. Push forward all the way. Prime Minister Yang was killed in the street by Xiang Wei just because he disobeyed the imperial edict. Yang Chong was extremely frightened and anxious at the moment. At this moment, a subordinate came to report, "Coach Yang Tao is here." Inside the tent, everyone's expressions changed drastically. Yang Chong's heart also skipped a beat facing this accomplice who murdered his father. He felt both fear and anger before this. Yang Tao had approached him several times trying to win him over. But he never agreed. Could it be that he is here to take revenge now? He forced himself to calm down. Just him? No, he also brought 500 soldiers. Yang Chong's heart sank. He didn't dare to pretend anymore and said hurriedly, "Everyone, follow me to welcome Prime Minister Yang." He chugged along, and soon saw Yang Tao, who was guarded by soldiers. "That arrogant look makes me want to bite you. I pay my respects to Prime Minister Yang." Yang Chong took the lead in saluting, and the people behind him followed suit. Yang Tao was very happy at the moment when he looked at the humble Yang Chong. He remembered that when he looked for him before, this kid relied on the troops he had and was so arrogant. He snorted. And without letting them stand up, he said coldly, "I have received news that someone in the Imperial Guard camp is colluding with the Xiongnu, so I came here to check it out." Yang Chong's heart skipped a beat and he said hastily, "Prime Minister Yang, this is completely false. Please understand my words. What do you mean by open or secret? Don't give me that." Yang Tao said angrily, "Call all the officers of the 100 flags or above in the Imperial Army camp to come here for verification." After hearing this, everyone was angry but dared not say anything. Yang Chong suppressed his anger and said, "Prime Minister Yang, according to the rules without the king's decree, no one can arbitrarily interrogate the generals of the Imperial Guards." Yang Tao sneered, "Your Majesty, there is no decree, but is your Majesty's decree enough?" He took out the Imperial Edict and said loudly, "This is the Imperial Edict written by His Majesty the Emperor of Day. It is not only stamped with the seal of the Emperor of Day, but also the seal of Da Qian." Yang Ji disobeyed the Imperial Edict and was killed in the street by Lord Shang. "From now on, I will be in charge of Da Qian's military affairs, and everyone must listen to me. Otherwise, it would be disobeying the Emperor's order." Everyone was shocked and angry, but when they saw the clear Imperial Edict, they all shrank their heads and dared not say a word. Yang Chong's face was extremely ugly at this moment. He really wanted to kill Yang Tao at worst. He could just escape. However, seeing the soldiers armed to the teeth, they were wearing camouflage uniforms and no armor. But the special bulletproof vests on their bodies had protective capabilities that were no less than armor. The steel gun in his hand glowed coldly under the sunlight. He recognized it at a glance. It was a peepish, which could hold dozens of bullets. There are 500 people here, and they can fire tens of thousands of bullets in an instant. They won't even have a chance to resist. Yes, I will call all the generals here right away. Remember, bring the roster over here. If there is one person missing, I will hold you accountable. Yang Tao threatened unscrupulously. Soon, Yang Chong brought all the rosters and called all the generals and officers over, hundreds of them. Yang Tao called out the names one by one, then nodded. "Everyone present, follow me and accept questioning." Some people who were not convinced asked, "Why do we have to be questioned? Even if it is murder, there needs to be evidence, right?" Someone reported it. "And I am just following the rules. Even your head coach is going with me. What qualifications do you have to bark here?" Yang Tao sneered. "You can choose not to go, but you will bear the consequences at your own risk." Click, click. The soldiers loaded their guns and pointed them at them. At that moment, everyone felt creepy. The black muzzle of the gun is like the gaze of a devil. Yang Chong could hardly bear it any longer. He knew very well that if he left the camp, he would end up in a miserable state. Yang Tao's attitude did not show any intention of winning over others. He just came here for revenge. Therefore, if you want to survive, you must kill Yang Tao. Could it be possible that Shang Wei would kill them all for Yang Tao? By then, he can definitely become the next Yang Tao. What Yang Tao can do, he can do too, and what he can do better. Just consider it as revenge for my cheap father. He suddenly gestured with his hands behind his back. Yang Tao was showing off when he suddenly felt a chill on his back. The next second, a black shadow flashed through the crowd and rushed straight towards his door. The arrow hit him right on the head. Yang Chong was overjoyed. At this time, Yang Tao also felt a headache. He wiped his hands were covered in blood. His pupils trembled violently. Someone is trying to assassinate me. Yang Chong was shocked. He was shot in the head, and yet he could still shout. Looking again, the arrow just grazed Yang Tao's scalp and embedded itself into his hair. It was at this time that the soldiers beside Yang Tao opened fire. "No, don't shoot!" Yang Chong screamed in fear. However, it was still too late. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Flames spewed from dozens of gun muzzles. The high-speed spinning bullets hit these generals without any warning. At that moment, the armor on his body felt like paper. The inner armor was vulnerable to such close-range shooting. In an instant, these hundreds of generals and officers were beaten into sieves and fell to the ground. Yang Chong was beaten into a pool of rotten flesh, his entire head exploded, flesh and bones rolled out, and he died without any dignity. By the time the gunfire stopped, the entire camp was in chaos. Everyone, keep the hell quiet. Whoever dares to run around will die. Wang Dayanji, the battalion commander under Shang Wei, fired 3 shots into the sky. The entire Imperial Guard camp suddenly fell silent. Okay, stop howling, you won't die. Wang Dayanji looked at Yang Tao, who was holding his head and wailing, and pulled out the arrow. Kill them all. Yang Tao was so scared that he hid in the crowd and dared not show his head again. If the arrow had gone a little lower, he would have died. Wang Dayanji shook his head helplessly. This idiot was really afraid of death. Everyone, squat down with your hands on your heads. Whoever shot the arrow just now, please stand up. If anyone knows who it was, please report it. However, no one dared to speak. Yang Tao gradually suppressed his fear at this moment, put on the helmet given to him by a soldier, and walked forward. You also saw that someone shot an arrow at me. Is there a spy in this camp? These people did not die unjustly at all. And now, as the highest official in Dakian, it is my responsibility to lead you to defeat the Huns. So effective immediately, I will be reassigning all general officers. Not only that, all soldiers will have their salaries increased by 30. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's eyes lit up and they looked at Yang Tao with increasingly fanatical eyes. Chapter 364, Battle of Bianjing. On the other side, the Dragon Guard camp. General Yang Wei also received the news that Yang Ji had been killed. But he did not act rashly, but waited and saw what would happen. After Yang Tao led his men to the Imperial Guard camp and killed hundreds of generals, he finally could not sit still anymore. It won't be long before Yang Tao brings people to his side. He will kill himself. Originally, Yang Ji discussed with him that when the Day army entered the city and the Huns arrived in Bianjing, they would join forces inside and outside to kill him. But the people of Day did not play by the rules. On the first day they entered the city, the first thing they did was to kill Yang Ji. After Yang Ji's death, Dakian was in complete chaos. As a member of the Yang family, how could he have a good ending? Yang Tao is a rebellious son who has forgotten his root. Show, can we forgive him? So, there is only one way now. And that is to fight out. Attack Shang Wei by surprise. A dragon cavalry guards were the elite among the elite of Dakian, but with the decline of Dakian's national strength, the dragon cavalry guards that once boasted of having 500,000 top-tier soldiers are now only able to gather 200,000, even though Yang Ji claims to have 300,000 soldiers. He knows exactly how many people there are in reality. There are 150,000 dragon guards, and the rest are ordinary cavalry. Just supporting these people had emptied the national treasury. Even though Yang Ji had been embezzling money over the years, he still couldn't afford to support 300,000 dragon cavalry guards. However, the 100,000 dragon guards under his command are truly top-notch combat power. The outside world has spread rumors that Day is a deity, but he doesn't believe it. Even if Day is very strong, this is Bianjing. Not a plane. As long as we hold up our strong shields and charge forward, we can defeat them. That's my military order. Everyone wear armor. Yang Wei also put on the heavy chainmail and picked up the big knife. All the dragon guards put on their armor silently, checked their weapons, and put heavy armor on their horses. Inside the camp, everyone has lined up. Under the blazing sun, the armor felt dull. Yang Wei raised his saber high and said, "My lords, follow me and kill the enemy." Everyone just raised their swords, and with Yang Wei's command to charge, they rushed out of the camp. Meanwhile, Yang Tao in the Imperial Guard's tent was feeling complacent about his successful seizure of power. Looking at the generals kneeling below, Yang Tao was also satisfied. He supported his confidant to the position of chief coach, and now he just needed to do the same. But at this moment, a soldier quickly walked up to Wang Dayanji and said, "Tent. The dragon riders are rebelling." Wang Dayanji's face changed drastically after saying something to Yang Tao. He left behind 100 people and hurried away. Yang Tao was also terrified. If 100,000 dragon riders rebelled, 200,000 imperial guards would not be enough. For a moment, he didn't know whether he should go to help or stay where he was and watch the show. However, this is a good opportunity. He gritted his teeth and said, "Yang Wei has rebelled. Everyone, put on your armor, take up your weapons, and go to defend the imperial city." As he said that, he rushed out first. Yang Wei would definitely not come to the Imperial Guard camp, so he had enough time to massacre the palace. Today, there is one person from the Xiao family who is still alive, and his name is Yang Tao. And Yang Wei, just as he said, went straight to Shang Wei. Little did he know that this was the moment Shang Wei was waiting for. His men had already climbed onto the city wall, and the NIU heavy machine gun had been set up. Even the people around were driven out, and there was no one around except the houses. The whole city of Bianjing shook with the sound of galloping horses. Charge, don't hold back, Yang Wei shouted loudly. He had more than 3,000 muskets and tens of thousands of grenades in his hands, and he didn't believe that he couldn't kill the day's soldiers. The cavalry came from all directions. However, Jiang Wei was not panicked at all. On the east gate tower, Jiang Wei looked at the dragon guards through a telescope and sneered, "I'm waiting for you. Report to the army commander. The 1st Division has been deployed. The 2nd Division has been deployed. 3rd Master, get ready to attack the enemy." Jiang Wei made a gesture. The city walls on all 4 sides have been closed. He wants to see where Yang Wei can escape to. If it were on the plains, he would have to be cautious after all. The power of the heavy cavalry charge was very terrifying. Although the Pa Posha was powerful, its long-range attack in the heavy armor did not have much lethality. The battle in which Eagle Eye rescued Shuitan County has been reviewed repeatedly. They relied on white phosphorus grenades and thermite bombs to wreak havoc. In addition, they were consumed by multiple forces in the early stages, and the fierce fighting and rapid marches in recent days made both the soldiers and horses extremely tired. Therefore, we were able to win that battle thanks to some luck. And street fighting can demonstrate the power of submachine guns to the greatest extent. The NIU heavy machine gun is the nightmare of all cavalrymen. Fire! Accompanied by Shang Wei's roar. The Battle of Bianjing officially began. The flames spewed out by hundreds of NIU heavy machine guns were extremely terrifying.